Covering Saturday's culinary skills on several occasions, she had become thoroughly impressed. With a hearty laugh, Yichuan promptly took out 5 portions to trade with Zhao Feiyu and the others. Upon receiving the seafood soup, Zhao Feiyu immediately stated, "I have an idea I would like to discuss with you. Feel free to share. I will assist you in any way I can." Yichuan replied without hesitation. "You are aware that battles are imminent," Zhao Feiyu continued. "I acquired a medium-sized sailboat yesterday and was wondering if we could coordinate our efforts to face the enemy together. That is certainly feasible, but there is one issue. We are unaware of each other's locations." Yichuan responded, "Unless, of course, we possess a super locator. This morning, I retrieved 2 supply boxes, and fortuitously, one contained a super locator." Zhao Feiyu replied, "That is precisely why I had this idea. Do you know how to operate a submarine?" Yichuan inquired suddenly. "In this natural setting, within the military, I belong to a versatile branch, proficient with any weapon, tool. Whether airborne, terrestrial, or aquatic, I am capable." Zhao Feiyu responded, "I possess a small submarine over 40 meters long, with a range of 3,000 nautical miles. You may pilot the submarine directly to me." Yichuan replied, noting its sole drawback. "It carries only 4 torpedoes." "You actually have a submarine?" Zhao Feiyu inquired incredulously. "A submarine is not just any vessel. It cannot simply be operated at will. Yet, Yichuan not only produced the blueprints, but also constructed it. Such luck seems almost divine. With someone like this by one's side, perhaps it is indeed possible to defeat foreign regions." Immediately, Yichuan activated a tripling enhancement card, transforming the submarine into 3, and subsequently traded 1 to Zhao Feiyu. "It is fully charged, with a range of 3,000 nautical miles. I am confident you will reach me and then recharge. I have already pinpointed your location with a super locator. We are over 500 nautical miles apart. Calculating at a speed of 15 knots, factoring in rest and other unknown variables, I estimate it will take about 7 days to reach you." Zhao Feiyu promptly replied. Yichuan sent back an OK emoji. "Feel free to contact me whenever necessary." Having said that, he exited the room. Friday approached. "Brother Chuan, I have completed the harvest of the 3 types of fruit, but these cannot be stored in the cold room as it would compromise their flavor. All right, let us temporarily store them in my inventory." Yichuan patted Friday's shoulder. "That's the spirit. Pursuing a girl is indeed important. But one must not forget one's responsibilities. Otherwise, finding you a wife would be meaningless. Don't you agree?" "You speak wisely, Brother Chuan." Friday nodded repeatedly. "And as for the coconuts, they should mature in about a week. I will ensure they are harvested on time. You need not report this to me. Just manage it as you see fit." Yichuan nodded in approval. Upon entering the greenhouse, he stored all 3 types of fruit in the system's inventory and took the opportunity to explore other greenhouses. They all look good. The miraculous tree, over 30 meters tall, has grown another 10 meters, though it is only as thick as an adult's finger, just as it was initially, with a few tender buds appearing at the very top, making it the tallest plant on Turtle Island. After completing these tasks, Yichuan arrived at the turtle's head, where 3 little ones were just landing with 3 supply boxes. Upon seeing Yichuan, they rushed over to nuzzle against his legs. "Oh, I have been so busy these past few days that I nearly forgot to give you some dried fish," Yichuan lamented, promptly bestowing generous handfuls of dried fish upon the 3 little ones, who joyously began to feast. After providing the turtle with 800 pounds of krill, Yichuan opened the numerous supply boxes, 15 wooden planks, 10 metal sheets, 3 bottles of cola, 20 metal sheets, 10 pieces of cloth, and 15 bottles of mineral water. Not only had the quantity of resources increased, but the likelihood of obtaining food and beverages had also significantly risen, along with their quantities. Indeed, the spring of the Zhejiu region is upon its people. By the way, I haven't checked in yet. Yichuan suddenly recalled this matter and promptly declared, "Check in. Check-in successful. Congratulations to the host for receiving 1,000 evolution points and 1 evolution value gift pack, 1 kitchen materials gift pack. Goodness, even the system has become this generous, bestowing upon me 2 wonderful items at once." Yichuan immediately opened the kitchen materials gift pack, 500 g of sugar, 2 L of soy sauce, 2 L of vinegar, and 200 g of Sichuan pepper. Impressive. It seems that the supplies at the Saturday side might be running low, and the system has thoughtfully delivered these materials, saving me the trouble of acquiring them myself. Yichuan chuckled to himself and then opened the evolution value gift pack, receiving 10,000 evolution points. Currently, he possessed a total of 28,000 evolution points, without even considering the 3 little ones. This would at least allow me to elevate both my turtle and dolphin to the next level. As the impending battle with the foreign region looms, each level gained proves advantageous. At that moment, Yichuan promptly utilized 12 000 evolution points to elevate the sea turtle to level 11 and subsequently open the sea turtle's information panel. Chapter 178, Ascending to Level 11. Zhao Feiyu encounters Danger Island Master. Yichuan type, Sea Turtle level, 11, 014000, skills, Water Bomb, intermediate, Backflow Technique, intermediate, Absolute Gravity, 1500 tons. Talents, Longevity, Rapid Healing, Crawling. The Backflow Technique was upgraded to intermediate level, with a cross-section width of 10 meters, a water thickness of 4 meters, and a flow rate of 20 milliseconds, doubling its previous capacity. Meanwhile, Absolute Gravity was enhanced from 1,000 tons to 1,500 tons. Quite impressive. Subsequently, Yichuan allocated another 6,000 evolution points to elevate the dolphin to level 11. The dolphin then approached Yichuan, who watched in awe as its body gradually enlarged. He quickly opened the dolphin's information panel. Name, Dolphin Noble Virtue, 100100 level, 11 evolution points, 07000 skills, Sonic Interference, intermediate, Absolute Impact, intermediate, Shared Vision, 15s. Talents, Deep Dive, 2,100 meters. Note, Absolute Impact allows the dolphin to strike with its head, with an intermediate impact equivalent to a collision force of 2,500 pounds. Sonic Interference can launch a sonic attack on all entities within a 120-meter range, disrupting their actions. As with the previous occasion, there were no new skills or talents. But Sonic Interference, Absolute Impact, and Deep Dive received enhancements. Dolphin upgrade complete. Congratulations to the host for elevating the contracted beast to level 11, receiving an upgrade gift pack. Would you like to open it? At this moment, the system's voice resonated. Yichuan rubbed his hands together and promptly replied, "Open. The upgrade gift pack is opening. Please wait. Congratulations, host. You have received 1,000 growth points, 20 corn pancakes, 6 A-grade bananas, and 1 weapon enhancement card, applicable only to small weapons. Capable of doubling weapon power. Another weapon enhancement card has been drawn." Yichuan's expression shifted. The last weapon enhancement card was utilized on the rotating crossbow, doubling its power. To his surprise, yet again, he had received another enhancement card. It appeared that it was time to enhance the large blade. Yichuan promptly took out the blade and used the weapon enhancement card. The originally hefty blade, weighing 56 pounds, astonishingly increased to double its weight, while its length extended by 10 centimeters, making it 60 centimeters long. Its width, however, decreased by about a centimeter, and the blade's edge retracted, seemingly harboring a potent energy within. Yichuan wielded it in his hand and swung it lightly, producing a sound that split the air. Feeling as though the weight suited him even better than before, he searched around and eventually crafted a hefty long knife from metal sheets, striking it fiercely against the blade in hand. Crack! Accompanied by a crisp sound, the long knife was unexpectedly cleaved in two, with the surface being remarkably smooth and even. It could slice through hair and sever iron like mud, a fine blade indeed. Examining the long knife, Yichuan couldn't contain his excitement and burst into hearty laughter. He handed over the kitchen materials and food he had received to Saturday before making his way to the little dragoness side. "How is it going, big brother?" "Today the ice has nearly all melted, making the catch much smoother. We've already netted 7 catches. The little dragon replied exuberantly before lunch. "We should be able to catch 3 more. All right, with Friday helping you, the speed will certainly increase." Yichuan chuckled, patting the little dragon on the shoulder. "If all goes well, your mission could conclude tomorrow. I will do my best." The little dragon exclaimed, visibly thrilled. The feeling of being a carefree manager is wonderful. Yichuan laughed heartily, returning to lay on the sofa, enjoying a movie with blueberry jam while instructing the dolphin to dive to the seabed. Once again employing the same pupil transmission. However, this time, no useful minerals were discovered. Only some stones and peculiar sea fish were encountered. He did spot a few great white sharks, but they could only be classified as D-grade marine creatures. If they dared to provoke the dolphin, they would quickly meet their end. At noon, Saturday prepared tomato beef brisket, served with pancakes, and for dessert, strawberry pie. In the afternoon, Yichuan assisted the little dragon with fishing. With Yichuan's participation, the catch in the morning and afternoon was nearly equal. By the end of the day, they had astonishingly netted 20 catches, and Yichuan also helped sell 5,000 pounds, which were swiftly snatched up by the island's inhabitants shortly after dinner. The system timely issued a reminder before the meal. "Attention, 83 of the host's hidden mission has been completed. Please continue the efforts." Due to the near-total melting of the ice layer, Lu Shuai diligently cast his net multiple times, ultimately capturing 8 in total, demonstrating his unwavering dedication. A day was spent in a fulfilling and joyful manner. Yichuan and Xiao Feilong enjoyed a session of Guo Xiaozhang's comedic performance, and by 10 o'clock that night, they had not returned to the public chat room, instead drifting off into slumber. In recent days, the public chat room had been abuzz with discussions about the contents of supply boxes, yet nothing of value had emerged. At this moment, Zhao Feiyu was piloting a submarine, having advanced over 200 nautical miles towards Yichuan's location. After setting the course, he intended to retire for the night when suddenly, the radar emitted a series of alarming beeps. Zhao Feiyu's brow furrowed slightly, and he promptly turned back. The radar warned of a massive object approaching from 500 meters ahead, with an impending collision expected in 3 minutes. What could possibly lurk 500 meters beneath the ocean's surface? Zhao Feiyu pondered, resolutely loading a torpedo into the launch tube, awaiting the encroaching entity. 2 minutes later, Zhao Feiyu finally discerned the monstrous creature approaching at a rapid pace. It was a colossal octopus. Each of its 8 tentacles measured over 10 meters in length, and its enormous head instilled a sense of dread. Although he had previously heard of Yichuan's encounter with a giant octopus, only upon witnessing it firsthand did Zhao Feiyu grasp the sheer terror it evoked. After a brief moment of shock, he swiftly aimed at the giant octopus and pressed the launch button. A mere 10 seconds later, the torpedo collided with the giant octopus, unleashing a powerful shockwave in the water that even shook the submarine, though fortunately, it remained intact. The giant octopus, however, suffered severe injuries. 2 of its massive tentacles were blasted off, and a small crater formed in its head, yet it did not succumb to death. Instead, it charged furiously towards the submarine. Is it still alive? Zhao Feiyu gasped, realizing that reloading was no longer a viable option. The giant octopus, now gravely wounded, was determined to fight to the death. Retreat was no longer an option. Without hesitation, Zhao Feiyu cranked the submarine's speed to maximum and launched a fierce assault against the giant octopus. In that instant, the submarine collided violently with the colossal creature, causing the vessel to tremble violently, nearly toppling Zhao Feiyu to the ground. Subsequently, the giant octopus, with its remaining 6 tentacles, clamped down on the submarine, seemingly intent on crushing it with its immense strength. Although the submarine was robust, the continued assault could lead to disastrous outcomes. Observing the giant octopus shifting toward the launch tube, Zhao Feiyu rushed into the torpedo compartment, loading a second torpedo into the launch tube. As the octopus adjusted its angle, he immediately pressed the launch button. The colossal octopus distinctly sensed a surge of bubbles erupting forth and immediately opened its maw in that direction, intent on not letting any suspicious entity escape. Boom! In an instant, a massive torpedo plunged directly into the creature's mouth, the searing pain driving the giant octopus into a frenzy, causing its tentacles to abandon the submarine, flailing wildly. Seizing this moment, Zhao Feiyu swiftly maneuvered the submarine backward. Just as they retreated a mere dozen meters from the giant octopus, it exploded in a cataclysmic burst, severed limbs and debris scattering in all directions. A powerful shockwave surged forth once more, causing the submarine to tremble uncontrollably. However, as the vessel was in the process of retreating, it did not collide with the shockwave, resulting in minimal damage. Ultimately, they emerged unscathed. Finally, Zhao Feiyu exhaled a long sigh of relief, collapsing into the command chair. Remaining silent for 3 to 4 minutes before regaining composure, he pondered how Yichuan had managed to slay the giant octopus. Reflecting that it had taken 2 torpedoes to achieve such a feat, he murmured to himself, gathering his wits to set a new target location before retiring for the night. Detected that the host has not yet checked in. Would you like to check in? As the clock's hands reached 6 o'clock, the system's voice echoed as expected. Yichuan rubbed his eyes and promptly replied, "Check in. Check-in successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 1,000 evolution points, a lucky blind box, and a feather fragment. Note: 3 feather fragments can be exchanged for an angel feather, which may lead to unexpected occurrences." Since the system had begun to bestow favorable rewards, Yichuan mused to himself that the contents of the blind box would surely be fortuitous. He then declared, "Open the blind box." Opening blind box. Congratulations, host. You have obtained a triple amplification card. Oh, this is rather splendid, having just used one, and now another has appeared. However, this triple amplification card cannot be utilized on the small submarine. Yichuan decided to save it for acquiring more formidable items, or perhaps to use when upgrading the small submarine to a medium-sized vessel. Island upgrade complete. Congratulations, host. Your island has been upgraded to level 11. You have received an upgrade package. Would you like to open it? Stowing away the triple amplification card, Yichuan stepped out of the room, gazing at the expanding forest in the distance when the system's voice chimed in again. "Give me something good," Yechuan muttered, promptly commanding, "Open." Opening. "Congratulations, host. You have received 2,000 growth points, 6 A-grade bananas, 9 medium nutrient solutions, and 1 upgrade blueprint for a 2-bedroom apartment. The house can be upgraded again." Yechuan's expression shifted as he inquired, "System, what will this upgrade blueprint enhance in the 2-bedroom apartment?" The system promptly responded, "The current 2-bedroom apartment will be upgraded to a spacious 150 square meter residence featuring 4 bedrooms, 2 living rooms, and 2 bathrooms, complete with exquisite furnishings. The host may choose to retain existing furniture and appliances. Note: if any one item is retained, the corresponding upgrade will no longer be available." Transitioning directly from 2 bedrooms to 4, along with an additional living room and bathroom, is indeed impressive. Yechuan chuckled heartily and immediately began to delve into the upgrade process for the 2-bedroom unit, which required 1 blueprint for the 2-bedroom upgrade, along with 2,000 nails, 1,000 stones, 600 wooden planks, 300 metal sheets, 200 plastics, and 100 glass pieces. In essence, the material requirements had roughly doubled, which was understandable given the transformation into a 4-bedroom, 2 living room, 2 bathroom configuration. Furthermore, with abundant resources at his disposal, who wouldn't he desire a more spacious abode? Yechuan decided to retain the toilet and 2 water purifiers, then summoned the blueberry jam out of the house before presenting the resources to initiate the renovation. Accompanied by a soft glow, the original 100 square meter house instantly expanded to 150 square meters, and the exterior walls became even more aesthetically pleasing. The blueberry jam's eyes sparkled with astonishment. "Oh my, brother, what kind of magic did you use to make our house so much larger?" "It's simply a matter of transforming it into a 4-bedroom, 2 living room, 2 bathroom dwelling," Yechuan replied calmly. The blueberry jam dashed into the house, witnessing the splendid changes unfold. Everything exuded luxury, adorned with numerous decorative elements. The television had grown by at least 5 inches and now came equipped with a USB drive, boasting a plethora of films, arts programs, and music videos, making it exceptionally user-friendly. Since Yechuan opted to retain everything in the bathroom, the additional bathroom was graciously allocated to one of the bedrooms, resulting in a configuration of 4 bedrooms, 2 living rooms, and 3 bathrooms. "Brother, I want to stay in this room. That way, I can have my own bathroom," the blueberry jam exclaimed sweetly, pointing to one of the rooms. "And it even has an electric heater in the bathroom. So thoughtful." "Certainly." Yechuan nodded slightly, understanding the sentiment, as he recognized the perspective of a woman. Meanwhile, upon waking, the little flying dragon was eager to catch some fish, but upon seeing the grand house, he let out an excited squawk and rushed inside. "Big brother, the house has turned into 4 bedrooms and 2 living rooms. Does that mean I can move in too?" "Of course," Yechuan affirmed. "You may reside in the innermost room. Is that agreeable?" "Not merely agreeable, but exceedingly so." The little flying dragon laughed joyfully. "I have my own room. I have my own room. Haha, isn't it just a room? What is all the fuss about?" Yechuan muttered with slight exasperation, observing the little dragon's nearly manic excitement as he exited the house. He turned to glance at the small hill behind the dwelling. At this moment, the small hill stretched approximately 150 to 160 meters in length and rose to a height of 60 to 70 meters. In both dimensions, it had grown by nearly 50% since the 10th level, now standing as the pinnacle of the island. Yechuan promptly ascended the hill, eager to observe the development of the spring water. Chapter 180, Absolute Defense. Recoverable device. The fissures from which the spring water flowed had significantly widened compared to before, with the water now as thick as an adult's thigh, akin to the girth of an adult's arm. Taking a sip, he found it exquisitely sweet. The evolution of Turtle Island was truly remarkable, yielding such delightful spring water. Indeed, the power of nature is unparalleled. Yechuan wasted no time in channeling this spring water directly to his doorstep, utilizing it for cooking and daily consumption. The previously installed pipe that funneled spring water into the seawater purification bucket was returned to the water collector. By the end of the night, the ice layer on the sea had completely melted, and the temperature had risen to 2 or 3 degrees above freezing. Yechuan even felt that his attire was becoming overly warm. He surmised that in a few days, it would be time to bid farewell to his winter coat. Before preparing breakfast on Saturday, Yechuan reinstalled the water collector, allowing the water to flow into the channel and subsequently into the large barrel, where it would be transformed into potable water for washing. Fortunately, the channel was sufficiently long. Even with the increase of 2 levels, its length remained adequate, sparing Yechuan from devising another solution. After breakfast, Yichuan handed a nutrient solution to Friday and began assisting the little dragon with the seafood. Once Friday and Saturday finished their tasks, they joined in, and within the morning, they managed to complete a total of 13 nets. Just as the little dragon finished displaying all the seafood, the system's voice chimed. Attention, host hidden task has been completed 100%. Completed? Yichuan's expression shifted. Yesterday, they were still 17% short, but with his 13% completion and Lu Shuai's 4%, the task was fully accomplished. Detected that the host has aided the Novice Island Master task has reached 100% completion, receiving surprise gift pack. Would you like to open it? In the next moment, the system promptly inquired. Delighted, Yichuan snapped his fingers and exclaimed, Open. Surprise gift pack opening. Congratulations, host has received Evolution Value Pack 1. Resource Pack 1, Absolute Defense 1 System. What is Absolute Defense? Yichuan inquired, momentarily taken aback. Absolute Defense is a circular protective shield that can envelop the entirety of Turtle Island, providing a single defense. The system replied instantly. Capable of withstanding the impact of 10 long-range missiles. Wonderful. Yichuan snapped his fingers, nearly bursting into laughter with joy. For over a month, he had only acquired offensive weapons. This was the first time he received a defensive item, essentially granting Turtle Island an extended lifespan. It was simply exhilarating. Upon opening the Evolution Value Gift Pack, Yichuan acquired 10,000 points of evolution value, bringing his total to 24,000 points, thus allowing him to enhance his 3 small companions. Without hesitation, Yichuan summoned the trio and directly infused them with the evolution points. Their bodies began to undergo a gradual transformation, prompting Yichuan to promptly access their information panel. Name: Albatross Level 9, Growth Stage. Evolution Value 5,000 Skills: Diving Talents, capable of lifting objects weighing 150 kilograms. Flame Feather Arrows, 9 in total. Talents: Diving, Fish Catching, Flying, Long-Distance Navigation. The weight capacity for lifting had increased by 30 kilograms, and an additional arrow had been added, which was quite satisfactory. Albatross Upgrade Complete. Congratulations. The host pet has leveled up to level 9 and received an upgrade gift pack. Would you like to open it? Albatross Upgrade Complete. Congratulations. The host pet has leveled up to level 9 and received an upgrade gift pack. Would you like to open it? Subsequently, the system's voice chimed in, to which Yichuan immediately responded, Open all. Congratulations, the host has received 1,000 growth points, 20 wooden planks, 15 metal sheets, and a selection of 6 out of 13 hoodie sets. Congratulations, the host has received 1,000 growth points, 17 plastics, 13 glasses, and a manufacturing blueprint for a recycling device. Congratulations, the host has received 1,000 growth points, 19 metal sheets, 12 stones, and 20 kilograms of Jinhua ham. These 3 rewards were quite impressive. However, Yichuan was particularly intrigued by the recycling device and promptly inquired, System, what is this recycling device? The recycling device allows for the reclamation of unused items. Simply place them into the device, and various resources can be exchanged in return, the system replied directly. This is indeed a remarkable item. Yichuan's expression brightened as he immediately crafted the recycling device and positioned it next to the fragrant grass in the inner courtyard. Its exterior was entirely green and unremarkable, yet the most striking feature was the 2-meter-wide entrance. With a sense of curiosity, Yichuan tentatively tossed a furnace inside. In a mere 3 seconds, 2 metal sheets and 1 stone were ejected. Yichuan was taken aback and then threw in a set of cotton clothing, which resulted in a third of a fabric piece being returned. Yichuan understood that whatever one places inside yields materials corresponding to the creation of that item, which pleased him greatly. Moreover, he conceived a secret to wealth. However, it would take a couple of days before this secret could be set into motion. Having completed these tasks, Saturday's lunch was prepared. A simple yet exquisite beef bone soup, enhanced with pepper and MSG. The flavor was simply divine. Additionally, Saturday had specially baked a dozen or so flatbreads, which paired wonderfully with the beef bone soup, making for a delightful meal. Yichuan traded the beef bone soup and flatbreads to 5 individuals and simultaneously messaged Lu Shuai. No need to continue posting seafood for free. My task has been accomplished. Excellent. Lu Shuai replied succinctly. Meanwhile, Yichuan glanced at the messages in the public chat room. Now, the temperature has completely risen. And with the increase in salvaged supply crates and resources, our good days have finally arrived. I must admit, today I managed to procure a semi-automatic fishing net. It's electric. And as for what I found, I haven't even mentioned that I discovered an attack-capable medium-sized sailing ship. Isn't it common knowledge that one should not flaunt their wealth? With such resources, wouldn't it be much easier for us to contend with the foreign districts? Naturally, my confidence is growing by the day. Observing these messages, Yichuan felt a sense of relief. The items everyone was salvaging and the speed of development seemed to surpass even that of the foreign districts. In just 3 weeks, it would be quite feasible to challenge them, wouldn't it? At that moment, Zhao Feiyu received food and replied, "The journey has indeed been perilous. Last night, we encountered a giant octopus attack, and now a massive python has ensnared the submarine. Thankfully, the vessel is quite sturdy. Otherwise, I might not have made it." "A python?" Yichuan frowned. "Indeed, I estimate it's over 20 centimeters in diameter, wrapped around the submarine," Zhao Feiyu stated gravely. "It's utterly terrifying. The strength of this python surpasses that of the giant octopus." Yichuan analyzed, "How long has it been coiled?" "About 5 minutes," Zhao Feiyu replied. "For now, there's no need to worry, but I believe you should leave the submarine and eliminate this beast from the outside." As he spoke, Yichuan immediately placed the diving suit and electric stun device in the trading slot. The stun device had not been used since the last encounter with the mermaid and still held ample charge, enough to incapacitate the python. "All right, I will give it a try." Zhao Feiyu accepted the items, quickly donning the diving suit, gripping a dagger in one hand and the stun device in the other, and exited the submarine through the torpedo launch tube. While visibility from inside the submarine was limited, once outside, Zhao Feiyu felt the true terror of the python, which was at least 20 meters long. The python was still focused on the submarine, and without hesitation, Zhao Feiyu thrust the stun device towards the creature and activated it. A powerful electric current coursed through the python's body, causing it to tremble violently and release its grip on the submarine. However, within seconds, before Zhao Feiyu could retreat, the python detected him and lunged with its gaping maw. Fortunately, the diving suit provided sufficient oxygen, and Zhao Feiyu was quick to evade, extending the stun device toward the python's mouth. The python, bewildered, received another jolt of electricity, but its massive tail quickly coiled, and soon its entire body forcefully wrapped around Zhao Feiyu. In the next moment, caught unawares, Zhao Feiyu found himself ensnared by the python. Fortunately, Zhao Feiyu's short blade thrust directly forward, piercing through the body of the giant python. As the serpent began to writhe and coil, the wound on its body gradually widened. In just over a minute, a gash over a meter long appeared on one side of the python, blood streaming forth. Severely injured, the giant python lost all interest in targeting Zhao Feiyu and ultimately released him, hastily retreating to a nearby area. It was only then that Zhao Feiyu finally breathed a sigh of relief and swam back to the submarine. After a good 5 minutes, Zhao Feiyu noticed that his hands were still trembling, despite being a seasoned warrior on land. This was his first encounter battling a giant python at a depth of 500 meters underwater, and he had emerged victorious. This was certainly a tale he could boast about for a lifetime. On Superflat, Yichuan sent a flurry of private messages, to which Zhao Feiyu finally replied, "10 minutes ago, I successfully repelled that giant python. Rest assured, that's good to hear." Upon receiving Zhao Feiyu's message of safety, Yichuan finally exhaled a long sigh of relief. "Make sure to stay safe, and contact me immediately if anything goes wrong." "Got it." Zhao Feiyu responded with an affirmative emoji. Although the ocean world welcomes 30 million new novice island masters every 3 years, the expanse of the open sea is boundless, especially with the existence of danger zones. What lies in the deep ocean remains a mystery to all, even though the novice zone is relatively safe, since entering hell mode. No one knows what might happen in the next moment. Zhao Feiyu's ability to survive 2 ordeals was partly due to his strength, but one cannot overlook the significant role that luck played as well. After lunch, Zhao Feiyu once again set off in the direction of Turtle Island, following the guidance of the superlocator. Meanwhile, Yichuan, accompanied by the little dragon and Friday, ventured into the woods that had expanded to nearly 4,000 square meters. Originally, Blueberry Jam had wanted to join them, but given the unknown dangers of the newly expanded woods, she was advised to stay behind. "Brother Chuan, your skills are impressive now, yet you still want me to tag along? I'm busy watering the fruit trees." Friday began to grumble impatiently as they entered the woods. "What kind of danger could there possibly be? You're coming with me because you serve me, not the fruit trees," Yichuan retorted sharply. "What if a formidable beast appears and I get killed? Then you would be reclaimed and miss out on the thrilling life." His words left Friday speechless, leading her to follow obediently behind Yichuan. Whoosh! After delving 50 meters into the woods, a shadow darted past in the underbrush with such speed that even Yichuan failed to catch it. What was that just now? For a moment, everyone was taken aback. It was too fast. All I saw was a dark silhouette. Friday replied, Goodness, so mysterious. It wouldn't be another hyena, would it? Yechuan murmured softly. The crossbow bolts already prepared. Whoosh. Moments later, accompanied by a sudden sound, a multitude of creatures surged forth from the woods. Yechuan immediately released 6 steel bolts, and soon, a dozen birds fell to the ground, evidently startled from their hiding by some unseen force. Under the ferocity of the 3 small creatures, the remaining birds scattered in a frenzy, and the forest once again plunged into an eerie silence. It appeared that these animals possessed a certain intelligence. Yechuan gripped his blade tightly, contemplating. Friday, now you understand why I brought you along. Do you believe we can contend with whatever lies ahead? Brother Chuan. The crucial issue is that we still do not know what we are up against, Friday replied, raising his hands in exasperation. You see, the unknown is the most fearsome of all. Let us press on, Yechuan declared after a moment's thought. Thus, the trio, accompanied by their 3 avian companions, ventured forward for approximately 50 meters, nearing the heart of the forest. Suddenly, a long, haunting howl reverberated through the air, and over 30 gray wolves emerged from all directions, encircling the group. Leading them was a colossal white wolf, measuring over 2 meters in length and about 1 meter in height. Its emerald eyes fixed intently on Yechuan before issuing a command to attack. The pack of wolves split, 7 targeting the trio while the remainder lunged towards the 3 small birds, their movements orchestrated as if preordained. The little creatures soared skyward. Yet a reckless gray wolf leaped and seized one of them by its claw. Before it could revel in its triumph, it was struck by a flaming feathered arrow, howling in agony as it plummeted from the sky. Immediately afterward, a flurry of arrows rained down mercilessly upon the gray wolves engaged in combat with the trio. Chapter 182, Terrestrial Creatures of Rank. In the midst of peculiar cries, the entire pack of gray wolves unexpectedly turned and retreated, the arrows landing harmlessly on the ground and trees, none striking the wolves. Mere moments later, the wolves returned, their gaze predatory as they fixated on the 3. Brother, it seems something is commanding them, the little dragon whispered. Among the trio, the little dragon was the most vulnerable, fortunately. It had consumed a fair amount of A and S grade freshwater, endowing it with superior physical attributes and strength, which spared it from injury during the previous onslaught. Could there be a tiger lurking in the shadows of the woods, with these wolves obeying its command? Yechuan speculated, though the sounds did not resemble those of a tiger, leaving him perplexed. At that moment, under the white wolf signal, the pack launched another assault on the trio. The 3 small birds dove from the sky, snatching 3 gray wolves and soaring to a height of 100 meters before releasing them, sending them crashing to the ground in a splatter of flesh. Immediately thereafter, the trio descended once more from the heights, yet this time, the peculiar sound echoed once again. In an instant, 5 or 6 wolves charged simultaneously toward an albatross, resulting in the creature managing to seize one gray wolf, while the others latched onto its body, weighing over 150 kilograms, rendering the albatross unable to ascend into the skies. Witnessing this scene, Yechuan promptly launched 6 steel spikes, thereby alleviating the predicament of the trio. However, the trio, chastened by the encounter, refrained from further reckless actions, circling above in search of a suitable opportunity to strike. Meanwhile, more than 20 gray wolves ensnared Yechuan and his companions. Yechuan spoke in a low voice. These are merely foot soldiers. We must eliminate the formidable presence behind them to dispel the crisis. Can the 2 of you hold your ground? Brother Chuan, have no worries. I shall protect the little dragon, Friday replied without hesitation. Good, Yechuan declared, having dispatched 2 more gray wolves before charging towards the source of the sound. In less than 5 seconds, he felt a gust of wind rush behind him and swiftly sidestepped, only to find a colossal white wolf blocking his path, bearing its sharp fangs. You are but a lackey. I demand to see your master. Yechuan coldly retorted, you lack the right to impede my passage. The white wolf, whether due to an incomprehension of Yechuan's words or a sheer disregard, let out a piercing howl and lunged at him. Yechuan furrowed his brow, gripping his great sword and meeting the beast head-on, striking fiercely at the wolf's head. Yet, with a resounding impact, the wolf's paw struck the sword, deflecting it aside, while the other paw aimed directly for Yechuan's cheek. Fortuitously, Yechuan's agility was remarkable, allowing him to evade the blow. In a swift motion, he thrust a kick into the wolf's abdomen, propelling it nearly 5 meters away. The white wolf, however, merely rolled over and stood up again. Goodness, not only can its claws withstand my long sword, but it can also rise immediately after taking a kick. This white wolf appears to be even more fearsome than a tiger. Yechuan exclaimed in astonishment, before inquiring, System, is this a wolf? Chasing Wind Wolf, D-class terrestrial creature. The system promptly responded, ruthless and bloodthirsty. No wonder. This was the first D-class terrestrial creature Yi Chuan had encountered aside from the trio, and its combat prowess was formidable. If he were to face a B-class or A-class terrestrial creature, he would likely not stand a chance. As Yi Chuan contemplated this, the creature struck once more, seemingly fueled with greater vigor and speed than before. Yi Chuan swiftly evaded and unleashed an air bullet, striking the chasing wind wolf squarely in the face, prompting it to involuntarily shut its eyes. Seizing this fleeting opportunity, he launched the final 6 steel spikes, only to be taken aback by the unexpected resilience of the D-class creature's fur, which proved impervious even to the upgraded spinning crossbow bolts. It was precisely due to this oversight that the wind-chasing wolf had adjusted its stance and had now crouched down. Yi Chuan felt a twinge of regret. The level 11 water bomb possessed considerable power. Even though it had only been partially reflected back at him, it was still quite formidable. Regrettably, on land, the water bomb transformed into an air bomb, its potency halved, rendering it little more than a mere annoyance to the wind-chasing wolf. As the creature lunged at him once more, Yi Chuan muttered a curse and engaged in combat once again. 3 minutes later, seizing an opportunity, Wang Kai suddenly swooped down from above, gripping the fur on the back of the wind-chasing wolf. The wolf, engrossed in its struggle with Yi Chuan, momentarily overlooked the aerial threat and was yanked into the air. Wang Kai, you are the coolest. Yi Chuan laughed heartily, bending his body to launch himself skyward as Wang Kai conveniently released the wind-chasing wolf. The wolf, claws bared and teeth gnashing, faced Yi Chuan. However, being suspended in midair, it could not regain control and was struck hard by Yi Chuan's long knife, landing on the ground with a pained howl, unable to rise. This is my island. With a D-level intelligent creature like you around, will I ever have peace again? Yi Chuan snorted coldly, striding forward to deliver a powerful blow with his knife, cleaving the wolf's head in two. Afterward, Yi Chuan directed his attention toward the source of the peculiar sound. Before him stood a creature with a pointed snout and shiny, short fur, its forelimbs almost non-existent, roughly half the size of a typical gray wolf. Now gazing at Yi Chuan with an innocent expression. Was this the source of the strange noise? Yi Chuan murmured in disbelief, then inquired, System, what is this creature? Beiki, a sea-level terrestrial creature, remarkably intelligent and capable of commanding others, the system promptly replied. Beiki is in colluding together? Yi Chuan was taken aback. He had only known the term, but had never encountered such a creature before. He had thought it merely a figment of imagination, yet here it was in reality. Moreover, it was a rank above the wind-chasing wolf, a sea-level terrestrial creature. This meant you pose an even greater threat than the wind-chasing wolf. Yi Chuan snorted again. Since the wind-chasing wolf is dead, you have no reason to live. With that, he gripped his knife tightly and strode toward the Beiki. Simultaneously, 11 or 12 gray wolves abandoned their assault on the duo, swiftly maneuvering to shield the Beiki in the center. Chapter 183. The reward for slaying a sea-level terrestrial creature. They exhibit quite a sense of organization. Yi Chuan was momentarily taken aback by this scene. Brother Chuan. While their individual combat strength is lacking, they excel in teamwork. The duo, now back at Yi Chuan's side, reported in hushed tones. Do you see that hideous creature in the middle? Our primary target is to eliminate it, Yi Chuan declared, already taking the initiative to attack. With a sudden roar, the trio charged forward, forming a triangle, while the pack of wolves howled incessantly, engaging in a fierce battle with Yi Chuan and his companions. In the midst of the chaos, a larger gray wolf crouched low. As the cunning creature scrambled onto its back, it swiftly turned and dashed into the woods. We cannot allow it to escape, Yi Chuan shouted. The 3 young ones dove forward simultaneously toward the gray wolf. Despite facing some resistance, Wang Kai managed to seize the cunning creature with a powerful paw, lifting it skyward. Below, the enraged gray wolf leapt to bite Wang Kai's foot in an attempt to rescue its comrade, but Wang Yin followed closely behind, snatching it into the air as well. The wolves, now leaderless, were swiftly slaughtered, and the larger gray wolf along with the cunning creature plummeted from a height of 100 meters, crashing down into a mushy heap. Humph, daring to act recklessly on my territory. Yi Chuan snorted disdainfully. Congratulations, host, on your first kill of a D-grade terrestrial creature. You have been awarded a lucky gift package. Would you like to open it? Congratulations, host, on your first kill of a C-grade terrestrial creature. You have been awarded a lucky gift package. Would you like to open it? This was an unexpected delight for Yi Chuan. Initially, he had only intended to eliminate the threats lurking in the woods, but he stumbled upon 2 formidable creatures. Moreover, he was rewarded for their demise. Could anything be more exhilarating? With excitement, Yichuan snapped his fingers and declared, "Open." Successfully opened. Congratulations, host. You have received 100 kilograms of fertile black soil, 6 A-grade bananas, and 1 super locator. Successfully opened. Congratulations, host. You have received 100 kilograms of fertile black soil, 1 small cannon blueprint, and 1 attack-type medium sailboat blueprint. A small cannon blueprint. Yichuan's expression shifted. Atop the island's highest point, there was already a small cannon, and now with this blueprint, did it mean he could upgrade it? Contemplating this, Yichuan promptly inquired with the system, which responded, requirements for upgrade. 1 small cannon blueprint, 1 small cannon, 200 metal sheets, 20 pieces of cloth, and 4 stones. After the upgrade, it would transform into a medium cannon with a range of 800 meters, tremendous power, an explosive radius of 60 meters, a targeting mechanism, the ability to rotate 360 degrees, and the capability to fire 3 consecutive projectiles, with further upgrade potential. The range increased by 300 meters compared to the small cannon, and the explosive radius expanded by 30 meters, along with the ability to fire 3 projectiles in succession. Impressive indeed. Brother, look what we have found. Before Yichuan could fully relish his joy, the little dragon hurried over, holding up some mushrooms. Lychee mushrooms? Yichuan's expression brightened. Brother, I have savored the delicacy of lychee mushrooms. They are truly the king of fungi. The little dragon laughed heartily. Does this mean we have dinner sorted for tonight? Of course. Yichuan chuckled as the trio gathered all the gray wolves together, triumphant in their return. Brother Chuan, so many gray wolves? Saturday asked in astonishment. Take care of these wolves, Yichuan advised with a smile. Brother Chuan, the meat of wolves is rather coarse, even when stewed to tenderness. The flavor is not particularly appealing, Saturday reminded. I think it would be better to sell the wolf meat outright. Then let us keep the pelts and sell everything else. With an abundance of food now, Yichuan was no longer concerned about provisions. Recently, the surviving islanders had not only increased their catch of resource boxes, but also enjoyed a higher probability of retrieving food and water. They were hardly lacking in sustenance. For every 500 grams, one could exchange for a unit of resources. Surely some islanders would be eager to trade for a taste. All right, I'll handle it with Saturday and list it, the little dragon promptly agreed. Hey, you come here, Yichuan called, carrying a small bucket filled with blueberry jam to the sheep pen. From now on, I will entrust you with the task of feeding the sheep. Additionally, I'll show you how to milk them. You can also take care of that daily. What do you think? Yichuan inquired. That sounds fantastic. I was just wondering how I could help you. Blueberry Jam nodded enthusiastically, grinning. At that moment, Yichuan meticulously taught Blueberry Jam the technique of milking the sheep. To his delight, she grasped the skill rather quickly, mastering it in just over half an hour before attempting it on her own. Once Blueberry Jam had nearly completed her task, Yichuan ascended to the mountaintop to upgrade the small cannon to a medium-sized one. Unfortunately, he lacked ammunition, otherwise, he would have been eager to test its power. Yes, I have already arranged with the foreign islanders to deliver sulfur and saltpeter in 3 days. I wonder how that will unfold. For now, he decided not to rush the matter and would wait until the following afternoon to inquire further. As evening fell, Saturday prepared steamed lychee mushrooms and minced meat soup, a culinary delight that left everyone relishing their meal, even Zhao Feiyu momentarily setting aside his vigilance for the delectable dish. After watching several music videos by Jay Chou and Xue Xiaoqian, Yichuan returned to his new room, which also featured a private bathroom. After freshening up, sitting on the bed, the soft mattress filled him with joy. He then opened the public chat room to share his excitement. I'm so thrilled. Today I caught several sea fish and retrieved 3 resource boxes. As a girl, I've truly become a strong woman. I have numerous crafting blueprints. Though many require substantial resources, I plan to sell a few rare ones to acquire materials, so act quickly if you wish to purchase. Currently, everyone possesses valuable items, so there is no need to acquire your blueprints. Focus on gathering more resource boxes. You can craft once you have ample materials. That is easy for you to say. While you may have plenty of valuable items, others may not. Perhaps some brothers have abundant resources, but few blueprints. If you don't want to trade, then stop babbling. Do you really wish to contest me? I could easily use a super locator to pinpoint your location and deal with you. Let us keep the peace. Our common enemy lies with the foreign regions. Indeed, they all exude the airs of nouveau riche. Yichuan had initially intended to inquire about the manufacturing blueprints in that fellow's possession, when suddenly, Lu Yi sent a message. Yichuan, do you have any weapons? Chapter 184. Lu Yi seeks assistance. Bargaining why the sudden demand for weapons? What could have transpired? Yichuan furrowed his brow. Lu Yi had not communicated with him for the past few days, and now, upon reaching out, she was asking for weapons, which inevitably caused him some concern. Not exactly, she replied, but for the past couple of nights, a strange sound has been echoing through the woods. Tonight, the noise is noticeably louder than last night, as if that entity is gradually approaching me. I want something for self-defense. This revelation tightened Yichuan's chest as well. After all, he had just encountered an unsettling scene in the woods. If there were indeed peculiar sounds, it might indicate the presence of leveled terrestrial creatures. Even a D-class terrestrial creature would be beyond Lu Yi's capability to handle. After pondering for a moment, Yichuan responded directly, "Nothing will happen tonight. I will have someone add you as a friend, and once I ascertain your location, I will come to fetch you. Will I be disturbing you?" Lu Yi asked hesitantly. In truth, she had longed for Yichuan to come and take her away, but after previously declining his offer, she felt embarrassed to bring it up again. Now that Yichuan had taken the initiative, she was elated. Not at all, Yichuan assured her. Immediately contacting Zhao Feiyu while placing the super locator in the trading panel. "I will provide you with a coordinate. Please assist in bringing my friend here." Of course, Zhao Feiyu responded promptly, quickly using the super locator to pinpoint Lu Yi's location. "I am currently over 700 nautical miles away from her. I can reach her in 2 days, as it is somewhat on my route, situated in the 10 o'clock direction from me. Thank you, she is my schoolmate." Yichuan sent a handshake emoji. Zhao Feiyu then proceeded to add Lu Yi as a friend. And Yichuan finally reached out to the novice island master selling manufacturing blueprints. "Brother, what manufacturing blueprints do you possess?" "We have a variety, large and small, depending on your purchasing power," the other party replied with impressive bravado. "What is the largest item you have?" Yichuan asked, somewhat astonished. "A blueprint for a large sailing ship." "Interested?" The other party sent a smug expression. Yichuan had initially considered acquiring it, but upon reflection, he realized he already possessed a small submarine and several attack-capable medium sailing ships. Given that the mobile Turtle Island was essentially an oversized vessel, he no longer required a large sailing ship. Considering this, Yichuan promptly declined. "I actually have no need for that." "Do you have anything that might pique the interest of most island masters?" "A small cannon blueprint. That should intrigue you, right?" The other party replied once more. "Wow, such a thing exists? If I utilize it, wouldn't I be able to directly upgrade to medium artillery?" At this moment, the system unexpectedly interjected. "Please note that upgrading to a medium cannon requires the synthesis of 2 small cannon blueprints into 1 medium cannon blueprint." This was indeed a valuable insight. Without that blueprint, the medium cannon would remain unupgraded. Contemplating this, Yichuan promptly inquired, "I am genuinely interested. What price do you propose?" The reply came swiftly, "All resources at 1,000 units each." Yichuan furrowed his brow and retorted, "My friend, this is a blueprint for an offensive small cannon." The other party paused, taken aback by his firmness. "You still have 7S. I also possess an island area expansion card. I can offer that as well." Seeing Yichuan's unwavering stance, the other party, somewhat anxious, hastily placed both the small cannon blueprint and the island area expansion card in the trade window. Yichuan smirked dismissively, offering a mere 600 units. "I will give you 600 units. That is my final offer. Take it or leave it." Recognizing that Yichuan was unwilling to concede and that 600 units was still a significant amount, the other party ultimately agreed to the transaction. Currently, Yichuan had accumulated 7 or 8 island area expansion cards, which allowed for an expansion of 4,000 square meters. However, he did not intend to use or sell them, as perhaps one day they might prove useful. Glancing at the public chat room revealed no pertinent information, so Yichuan reclined on his soft mattress, swiftly drifting into slumber. He slept soundly until dawn, awakening only when the sun's rays graced his face. The comfort of the mattress had allowed him to enjoy an indulgent 10 hours of sleep, which was truly delightful. "Time to sign in." He yawned lazily. "Sign in successful. Congratulations, host. You have gained 1,000 evolution points and a crossbow arrow blueprint." Yichuan's eyes sparkled with excitement. This crossbow arrow was precisely what he needed. He quickly examined the details. Crossbow arrow, weighing 5 pounds. Capable of holding 12 arrows and firing 4 at a time, with power rivaling that of the rotating crossbow arrow he had upgraded previously. Lu Yi had consumed ample A-grade liquids, and his physique had already undergone transformation, making the 5-pound crossbow arrow easy to handle. Yichuan promptly crafted the crossbow arrow and traded it to Lu Yi, perfect for self-defense. Meanwhile, over 1,000 nautical miles away, a large ship was sailing swiftly. The captain was none other than Wang Sanrui, leading 3 subordinate island lords towards Yichuan's Turtle Island. Along the way, they salvaged numerous supply crates and fortuitously uncovered a blueprint for a large, attack-capable sailboat. Consequently, Wang Sanrui utilized all available resources to construct the vessel, which not only provided greater safety, but also increased their speed by 5 nautical miles per hour. Captain, I have noticed that the island of Yechuan seems to be moving slowly. The assistant island master, unable to contain his curiosity after sensing something amiss, inquired. That must mean that he has abandoned the island and is now aboard a ship. Wang Sanrui speculated calmly. Captain, if he possesses a ship identical to ours, does that not imply we have lost our advantage? The assistant island master was taken aback. What is there to fear? Let us not forget we are 4 in total, and our ship is armed with 8 cannons, while we also possess 16 cannonballs. Wang Sanrui replied confidently. Surely that is sufficient to defeat Yechuan, who is but one individual. That is indeed a possibility. After all, we are the ones planning a surprise attack, and he is likely unaware of our numbers, the assistant island master thought, immediately giving Wang Sanrui a thumbs up. Captain, your foresight is truly commendable. Humph, in just 2 days, we shall locate Yechuan. Wang Sanrui smiled. At that time, everything he possesses will belong to us. Laughter erupted among the group. Chapter 185. Trade Business, Creating Torpedo Missiles. On Saturday morning, using A-grade bananas, goat's milk, strawberries, and peaches, a milkshake was prepared that left everyone feeling excessively full after merely consuming it. Blueberry Jam and Little Flying Dragon had no other business at hand and decided to go fishing at the tail of the sea turtle. Yechuan, meanwhile, checked the public chatroom for any new updates. Today, I opened a supply box and miraculously received a C-grade apple, which is exceptionally delicious, even surpassing any apple one have tasted on Blue Star. Not only that, but I also obtained a B-grade banana, which has allowed me to lift stones that I previously could not. It seems that items with levels can significantly enhance our physical abilities. The more we consume, the stronger we become. Is it only C and B-grade items? Has anyone managed to obtain an A-grade? It appears not. I have opened 3 B-grade items myself, but have yet to find an A-grade, which is particularly rare. The group was engrossed in this discussion, unaware of the temperature fluctuations. Does anyone else feel that our cotton clothes are too warm? Yet without them, it becomes too cold. Indeed, fortunately, I encountered a frozen hyena and fashioned a garment from its hide. It is slightly cooler than the cotton clothing and fits perfectly now. Yechuan's expression shifted, and he immediately rushed to utilize the cotton to weave fabric, producing approximately 600 pieces. He then crafted them into matching sweatshirts suitable for slightly warmer conditions. In total, nearly 2,000 pieces were made and promptly listed, 50 units of various resource sweatshirt sets. Barely had Yechuan listed the items when astonishment spread among the others. Wait, is this for real? We just complained about the cotton clothing being too warm, and now someone is selling sweatshirt sets? Although the price seems steep, given our recent abundance of resources, it doesn't appear to be too exorbitant, does it? You continue to deliberate while I have already procured a splendid garment, remarkably soft, which I shall don by tomorrow. How delightful. Shall I then acquire another tomorrow? With an abundance of wolves and scant prey, waiting until tomorrow is not an option. Yechuan pondered whether the prices might be set too high, yet within mere minutes, over 1,000 hoodies had been snatched up, causing Yechuan to raise an eyebrow. It appears this venture holds significant promise. Murmuring to himself, Yechuan dispatched a message in the public chatroom. 5 units of various supplies, seeking to purchase cotton jackets, strictly 1,000 pieces. Seize the opportunity before it slips away. Oh dear, another prominent figure is acquiring cotton jackets. Is it not a tad chilly to remove one? Regardless, I am already equipped with a hoodie, and wearing a cotton jacket would indeed be too warm. Even retrieving a supply box is sweltering, and I have initiated a trade. I too have commenced a trade. Presenting a garment crafted from scraps, though it may not be aesthetically pleasing, it suffices. I shall have no further need for the cotton jacket. Should I sell it or discard it? Yes, indeed, sell it. In no time, the public chatroom buzzed with activity once more. Observing the flurry of trade requests, Yechuan summoned Xiao Feilong to exchange various resources in succession, as only 5 units were to be released, and there was no rush. A gradual trading process would suffice. Once completed, all cotton jackets would be discarded into the recycling apparatus outside. Xiao Feilong promptly set to work, while Yechuan took over his position, casting his line in hopes of a bountiful catch. By midday, after a hearty meal, Xiao Feilong had completed all tasks, amassing over 500 pieces of fabric. Yechuan immediately transformed the fabric into hoodies, continuing to sell them at a rate of 50 units per set, reveling in the profits thus accrued. Once all items were sold, glancing at the clock, which now approached 4 in the afternoon, Yechuan opened the submarine to review the chat history on the super tablet. To his astonishment, one individual had initiated a trade with him, offering a total of 1,000 kg of sulfur and 1,000 kg of saltpeter, which filled Yichuan with exhilaration. My brethren, what generosity! My subordinate island lords have been laboring tirelessly, and this is the extent of our current yield. The counterpart replied, as you know, our main base requires materials for ammunition production, so I shall provide you with 1 ton of each for now, with more to follow as we extract further. Absolutely. Yichuan responded with an approving emoji. With these resources, I can discreetly neutralize those formidable adversaries. As they possess no submarines or similar weaponry in the Jiuzhou region, they are merely awaiting their demise. Your efforts are appreciated. Once we conquer the Jiuzhou region, we shall certainly host a grand celebration in your honor, and we shall not depart inebriated. The counterpart replied with a series of hearty laughter emojis. Yichuan reciprocated with an approving emoji, then exited the conversation, his heart soaring at the sight of these 2 resources. He promptly organized all charcoal, stones, metal scraps, and plastic. For black powder, 1 kilogram requires 400 g of sulfur, 400 g of saltpeter, 100 g of stones, and 100 g of charcoal. This is a whimsical concoction. Please do not take it seriously. Thus, Yichuan directly produced 30 torpedoes and 30 missiles, leaving him with 100 kilograms of black powder, which he intended to fashion into cannonballs for a medium-sized artillery piece. After meticulous calculations, Yichuan successfully crafted 21 cannonballs, a commendable achievement that allowed for a minimum of 7 consecutive firings. However, his curiosity got the better of him, and he decided to test the artillery's might immediately. He rushed up the hill, loaded 3 cannonballs into the barrel, activated the button, and fired. Boom, boom, boom. The resounding blasts echoed as the 3 cannonballs were launched. Soaring over 800 meters away, with a thunderous roar, a colossal plume of water erupted nearly 100 meters into the air, the explosion's diameter reaching an impressive 60 meters, while the resulting splash surged outward approximately 200 meters. Wow, that's incredible, exclaimed Blueberry Jam, startled yet exhilarated. She clapped her hands in excitement. Brother, I told you that you are the best. Just average, 3rd in the world, Yichuan replied, grinning as he rubbed his thumb against his nose. At the command headquarters of the ocean world in Jiuzhou, a man with a square face continued to observe the novice area, though the screen before him displayed nothing but emptiness, until the 6-month novice period concluded. Even the command center could not discern what transpired in this zone. Just then, a woman entered, her expression serious. Commander, we have received news from the outer seas. Outer seas? The man with the square face furrowed his brow. Could the news from the outer seas be more crucial than that from the novice area? The woman pursed her lips, seemingly reluctant to reveal the truth. Chapter 186. Lu Yi's Night of Terror. Previously, due to a fissure in the novice area, a subordinate of Zhao Taifeng had pursued a group of merfolk into the novice zone aboard a submarine. Uncovering a monumental secret, the novice area had always been divided between the Jiuzhou region and the foreign region. This unexpected incident caused the barriers separating the foreign and Jiuzhou regions to fracture, tipping the scales in favor of the foreign region, which had even gained access to miniature submarines, while Jiuzhou's forces were limited to merely attack-capable medium sailing vessels. The woman bowed her head, responding sorrowfully. What? The square-faced man's expression shifted dramatically. There were 2 major regions, and the foreign region had developed so robustly. At that moment, he recalled that in previous iterations of Novice Island Masters, the first 4 months were periods of independent development, after which the foreign region would begin a full-scale assault on Jiuzhou, with both sides experiencing victories and losses. He had never understood why there was a 4-month limit. It seemed that the barriers between the 2 regions would dissipate only after 4 months. Given the stark disparity in development between the 2 regions, was it not clear that Jiuzhou was being led to its own demise? Let Zhao Taifeng breach the novice area's barrier and rescue the people of Jiuzhou, he exclaimed loudly after a few seconds of contemplation. Commander, the woman said with a hint of frustration, you are well aware that if we could breach the novice area, we would have done so long ago. Moreover, that subordinate took advantage of the imminent healing of the fissure to emerge. Finding the novice zone again will be quite the challenge. How infuriating, she exclaimed, slamming her fist onto the table. What a promising opportunity for survival in the ocean. And yet it has come to this. Those scoundrels, why did they provoke that colossal octopus at such a critical moment? An SS-level marine creature is not easily vanquished. At this point, we can only pray that the children in the Jiuzhou region can fend for themselves, she sighed, expressing her helplessness. During dinner, everyone enjoyed a delightful meal of braised pork accompanied by monkey wine, reveling in the moment. Only Lu Yi refrained from indulging, fearful of the peculiar sound re-emerging. She consumed only the braised pork and abstained from the wine. Despite her efforts to evade it, the strange cry returned around 9 in the evening, and this time, it was clearer, seemingly emanating from just outside the tent. Lu Yi's heart raced. She instinctively placed her crossbow against her chest and gazed anxiously outside. The eerie sound drew closer, and suddenly, the tent was thrust open. A creature, over a meter in length and 30 centimeters tall, with grayish-white fur and glowing eyes akin to a wildcat, nearly half its body intruded into the tent. In that instant, Lu Yi felt as though her heart might cease. The creature bore a striking resemblance to a steppe cat, yet even the largest of its kind would be dwarfed by this beast. It was far too large, and Lu Yi sensed that it was testing her, gauging her capabilities. Should it discern her weakness, it might very well attack her, or worse, consume her. Without a moment's hesitation, she pulled the trigger. The crossbow bolts flew like lightning toward the gigantic feline. The creature's reflexes were astonishing. It swiftly retreated, twisting its body to vanish into the dense thicket. Only then did Lu Yi exhale deeply, tears streaming down her face. It was in that moment that she fully comprehended the terrifying nature of the oceanic world. One misstep could lead to death. Minutes passed, and the strange cries ceased. Summoning her courage, Lu Yi ventured outside to investigate. Bathed in moonlight, she discovered an unidentified liquid a few meters from the tent. When she touched it and glanced at her fingers, a chill ran down her spine. Blood? Realization struck her. Her crossbow bolt must have struck the creature, causing it to flee. Perhaps it would not return tonight. Nonetheless, Lu Yi spent the night clutching her crossbow tightly, fearful that the beast might seek vengeance. The night passed in silence, and soon it was morning. As Yichuan awoke from slumber, he was greeted by a barrage of messages from Lu Yi. Yichuan, you won't believe it. Last night, that enormous rabbit cat actually came to devour me. Thankfully, your crossbow arrows drove it away while it was completely unprepared. I was too scared to sleep, fearing it might launch a counterattack, which would certainly spell disaster for me. The ocean world is too perilous. I am utterly terrified. Upon glancing at the timestamps, Yichuan noted that the last message had been sent at 4 in the morning, just 2 hours ago. It was evident that this girl was genuinely frightened and had spent the entire night awake. Yichuan promptly replied, "Do not fear. My friend will arrive at your place this afternoon, and you will be able to enjoy a good sleep then." Lu Yi, surprisingly still awake, responded almost instantaneously. In the middle of the night, that large rabbit cat emitted several eerie calls, but it was quite distant. I wonder if it was attempting to provoke me. That is hard to ascertain. However, I suggest you venture out shortly, displaying a cheerful demeanor to demonstrate that you are not intimidated. This may deter it from pursuing you further, Yichuan advised. He sent a smiling emoji and added, "Shortly, I will provide you with 500 milliliters of goat's milk. Once you consume it, your fatigue and drowsiness will dissipate significantly." Okay. Lu Yi replied instantly. Yichuan chuckled and then declared, "Sign in. Sign in successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 1,000 evolution points and a fragmentary treasure map." A fragmentary treasure map? Yichuan examined it. It appeared to be merely a tenth of a complete treasure map. However, he already possessed a full one, which diminished his interest in this incomplete version. Well, my evolution points have now reached 15,500. It's time to upgrade the 3 little ones. Yet, Yichuan did not rush. Instead, heading towards the sea turtle's head and opting to open the 20 or so supply boxes. The results yielded 21 metal sheets, 7 stones, 3 sugar canes, 19 plastics, 10 glasses, and 5 bottles of mineral water. The sudden influx of supplies was quite profitable, though nothing particularly rare emerged. Perhaps the sheer volume of supply boxes had resulted in a more commonplace assortment. Perhaps I should try opening 5 in the morning and 5 at night in hopes of unexpected rewards, he mused. Brother Chuan, an island has appeared ahead. At that moment, Friday interrupted with a notification. Is it a natural island or one belonging to an island master? Yichuan inquired immediately. It does not resemble a natural island, and it is rather small, Friday reported. Moreover, a medium-sized sailboat is anchored nearby. That indicates the presence of an island master. Yichuan nodded in understanding. Should we go take a look? Friday inquired further. Absolutely. We must ascertain their intentions, Yichuan replied with a hearty laugh, promptly instructing the sea turtle to head toward that location, and they soon arrived beside the island. At this moment, the island master was engaged in the retrieval of supply crates when he caught sight of a massive island slowly approaching him, prompting an involuntary gasp of astonishment. Good heavens! Such a colossal island! How frightening! Could it be that a foreign region is launching an early attack? He pondered anxiously. As he mused, the turtle island had already docked with the smaller island. Accompanied by the little dragon, Yichuan leaped onto the smaller island. The island master's expression shifted dramatically as he swiftly aimed a crossbow at Yichuan. What do you intend to do? Why have you trespassed upon my island? Brother, it seems that every island master in the novice zone is equipped with basic weaponry, the little dragon remarked. Observing that the small island was only about 800 square meters, yet was armed with a crossbow. Do you look down upon me? The island master glared at the little dragon, threateningly. Do you believe I cannot shoot you dead? I do not believe it, the little dragon replied, shaking his head. The island master, undeterred, immediately pulled the trigger. In an instant, a crossbow bolt shot toward the little dragon like a flash of lightning. Taken aback, the little dragon was caught off guard, but Yi Chuan sprang forward, catching the bolt in his hand when it was less than 30 centimeters away. The island master's face paled in disbelief. Even in the 9 provinces, he had never seen anyone catch a crossbow bolt with their bare hands. The speed, strength, and agility required were extraordinary. Was he a monster? In a state of shock, the little dragon's expression changed drastically as he charged forward, delivering a powerful kick that sent the island master sprawling to the ground, followed by a flurry of punches and kicks. I will teach you not to shoot at me, nor to contemplate killing me. Enough. After more than a minute, Yi Chuan finally called out. The island master, now battered and bruised, looked like a swollen mess, his eyes brimming with tears. We are all from the 9 provinces. How could you inflict such cruelty upon your own kin? You are inhuman. When you shot at me, did you consider that you were a man of the 9 provinces? The little dragon scoffed. A person like you would undoubtedly become a traitor if foreign forces ever invaded the 9 provinces. I must ask, how have you managed to thrive without assistance? Yi Chuan queried, scrutinizing the island master. The island master, unable to feign bravado before Yi Chuan, quickly responded, it was difficult until recently. Only after the ice melted did things improve. The crossbow and the boat were salvaged just the day before yesterday. Yi Chuan nodded thoughtfully. Clearly, the balance of power in the oceanic realm had tilted in favor of the 9 provinces, and he believed that when foreign regions attacked, the 9 provinces would possess the strength to resist. Are you not plotting to kill me? Unable to contain himself, the island master whispered, sensing Yi Chuan's silence. I will. The two exchanged a glance, and the little dragon, summoning all his strength, delivered a crushing blow to the island master's cheek, rendering him unconscious before he could comprehend the situation. Brother, should we not confiscate all his equipment and belongings? The little dragon surveyed the surroundings and inquired. Yi Chuan gently shook his head, stating, at this moment, our adversary is the foreign regions. Although this fellow may lack prowess, in 3 weeks, he could very well be equipped with formidable gear, becoming a pivotal force against the foreign territories. This notion appeared to hold merit. Xiao Feilong stroked his chin thoughtfully, nodding in deep agreement. Without lingering further, the two promptly returned to Turtle Island, embarking once again on their journey. After a lunch repast, the trio of small creatures, who had been soaring about, suddenly returned, incessantly calling out to Yi Chuan. Startled, Yi Chuan inquired, are you suggesting that a large vessel is approaching us from the distance? Wang Kai nodded vigorously, displaying an unusually serious demeanor for a bird. Yi Chuan immediately instructed the trio to guide the dolphin, which led them 70 nautical miles away. Utilizing his shared vision technique, he indeed beheld the grand ship, a vessel nearly 100 meters long, equipped with 4 cannons on either side, quite an imposing sight. Unfortunately, the dolphin was unable to discern the situation aboard the ship. It was reasonable to assume that such a substantial vessel would not carry merely a solitary individual, and indeed, it was clearly heading in their direction. However, such a grand show of force could hardly be for amicable exchanges. The only plausible intent was to seize what belonged to them. Yi Chuan began to contemplate swiftly. Since they could locate him, they must have employed a super locator. Yet, if they were using such a device, they would undoubtedly communicate with him. There were only a handful of such vessels daring enough to seek trouble with him. And the most likely culprit was Wang Sanrui. After all, this individual had engaged in multiple transactions with him, each time leaving Yi Chuan firmly in control. In pursuit of vengeance, Wang would undoubtedly seek to create trouble for him. How foolish of you to think I am easily swayed, Yi Chuan thought with a cold smirk, dismissing the opponent outright. The torpedoes he had crafted remained untested for their might. What better target than this imposing vessel? With a sneer, Yi Chuan promptly entered the submarine. However, the submarine could only scan objects within 50 nautical miles, and the maximum firing range of the torpedoes was 30 nautical miles. Seizing the opportunity, Yi Chuan began to peruse the public chatroom of the foreign region. The signs are becoming increasingly evident. Recently, both supply crates and harvested resources have dwindled considerably. Could it be that the divine has turned its back on us? Another voice replied, so what? It took us 4 months to develop to this point previously. We have achieved it in just 1 month. Even if the divine is no longer favoring us, with our current equipment, we are undoubtedly invincible. Let us not forget our sulfur and nitrate islands. The gunpowder will sustain us for at least 3 months, enabling us to finish this battle. That was indeed a valid point, and this battle was inevitable. Observing the messages, Yichuan quickly responded, I am Cole, currently situated in the Kyushu region. I have just captured an island lord from Kyushu. They too have not received the divine's favor, and their supply crates are scarce. This battle is ours to win. Chapter 188. Wang Sanrue's dream-shattered Ku'er, enduring hardships, remained in the Jiuzhou region as our internal supporter, truly a hero among us. Indeed, it is commendable to stay in such a perilous place, sacrificing further opportunities for development. He is a model for our kind. We ought to support Ku'er. Indeed, we must support Ku'er. In a fleeting moment, the resolution to aid Ku'er seemed poised to dominate discussions, yet Yichuan found himself at a loss for words, as these rascals merely shouted slogans, with not a single soul offering him any tangible deal. Truly, regardless of location, human nature is inherently selfish. Of course, Yichuan never expected to gain anything. As an hour slipped by, that grand vessel not only entered the detection range of the submarine's radar, but was also on the verge of entering the torpedo's firing range. Yichuan, without hesitation, aimed at the ship and pressed the launch button. At that moment, the 4 aboard were indulging in their drinks. Wang Sanrue had brought out all the liquor, intending to take a few sips to warm himself. For according to the superlocator, they would reach Yichuan's location in just an hour. Although lacking artillery, they still had a few crossbows. A 4-to-1 advantage would surely allow them to eliminate their target in the shortest time possible, a thrilling prospect. After a few rounds of drinks, as Wang Sanrue was about to speak, a tremendous explosion shook the vessel violently for several seconds. The effects of the alcohol faded instantly, and he was left in shock. What is happening? It seems we are under attack. The auxiliary assistant, the island master, shouted, rushing to the side of the ship, where a massive gash had appeared, and seawater was gushing in. In no time, the vessel began to sink. Damn! Wang Sanrue cursed, bolting into the cabin. At this moment, the ship was essentially one with the super platform. With the hull damaged, he could utilize the resources aboard to make repairs. However, upon entering the cabin, he was horrified to find that seawater had already inundated the super platform. He dove headfirst into the water, attempting to manipulate the platform from within it. Alas, torrents of seawater rushed into the cabin with such force that he could not approach the super platform. Ultimately, with a resounding crack, the ship split in two, slowly descending into the depths. This is the end. Any hope of repair is lost. Here lies a flaw. If the island master perishes, the super platform along with the island or its affiliated vessels will vanish. However, if the super platform is lost while the island master is on another ship or on land, he remains unharmed. Yet, from that moment forth, everything related to him in the oceanic world becomes irrelevant, and naturally, the auxiliary island master becomes unbound. In other words, even if he were to salvage resource boxes, he would be unable to open them, and any items obtained therein would be unusable. He would have to rely solely on his own skills to catch fish for sustenance. In that fleeting moment, Wang Sanrue felt as if the heavens were collapsing. The speed and scale of his development had surpassed that of many other island lords. And with this advantage, he was certain that once the novice period ended, he would undoubtedly become a formidable island master. However, the critical issue at present was that everything had been lost, leaving him to await his demise. The despair, compounded by the onslaught of the sea, caused him to roll his eyes and faint. After an indeterminate amount of time, Wang Sanrue awoke, eager to move, only to discover he was bound. Moreover, the 3 subordinate island lords were tied together, their backs pressed against one another, unable to stir. Awake? A voice resonated nearby. Wang Sanrue turned to see a tall, handsome man accompanied by a man and a woman, both of whom were smiling at him. Unable to contain his curiosity, Wang Sanrue asked in a low voice, "Who are you? Aren't you here to attack me, Wang Sanrue?" Yichuan chuckled. "How do you know it's me?" Wang Sanrue was taken aback. "You are Yichuan. What an honor." Yichuan laughed heartily, giving Wang Sanrue a thumbs up. "Impressive, kid. You didn't even bother to investigate my situation, yet you rushed to attack me. Are you still in the dark about what is happening? I truly don't understand. Clearly, I was 30 nautical miles away from you. How did I get ambushed?" Wang Sanrue said, his face darkening. "This is illogical. There are many illogical things in this world." Blueberry Jam interjected angrily. "We did not provoke you, yet you dared to attack us. Isn't our common enemy the foreign districts? Once I deal with Yichuan and acquire his resources, I can likewise contend against the foreign districts." Wang Sanrue retorted coldly. "In the end, victors and vanquished will emerge. It's pointless to discuss this further. Do as you wish with me. I'm not interested in killing you. Don't presume everyone is as cold-blooded as you. Yichuan shrugged. I intend to provide you with a small boat, along with sufficient food and water, so you can fend for yourself. You. Wang Sanrui's expression shifted dramatically. This man was indeed as treacherous as a serpent. Having lost his super tablet meant he had effectively forfeited his foundation for development. Adrift on the ocean, even a giant wave could spell his doom, ultimately leading to a torturous demise. Just grant me a swift end. Wang Sanrui gritted his teeth and exclaimed. The small boat, food, and water are all prepared. I wish you luck. Yichuan said no more, instructing Friday and Saturday to hoist them onto a small boat over 10 meters long, without loosening their bindings, and swiftly departed from them. Yichuan, you bastard. May you meet a terrible fate. Wang Sanrui trembled with rage, only to realize how vast the other island was, making his own efforts seem futile. Now let him experience the terror of death. Looking at the small boat gradually fading into a distant speck, the little dragon chuckled. I wager he won tea survive a week. Blueberry Jam chimed in cheerfully. How much supplies have we salvaged this time? Yichuan inquired with a faint smile. We have over 1,000 units of basic materials such as planks and metal sheets, in addition to a dozen unopened supply crates. Xiao Feilong immediately reported. As for the other items, they have sunk into the sea. We either already possess them or salvaging them would consume too much time, so we opted to abandon them. Yichuan shrugged slightly, acknowledging this as a harvest. On Turtle Island, it was indeed a bountiful yield. However, the situation for Lu Yi was far from optimistic. Though she had followed Yichuan's instructions during the day, the formidable rabbit lynx reappeared in the afternoon. The two had been in a standoff for over 2 hours, during which Lu Yi launched 4 crossbow bolts, all of which the rabbit lynx evaded. It now seemed to sense that the moment had come to attack Lu Yi. Chapter 189. Lu Yi's rescue and Wang Sanrui's choice. The rabbit lynx crouched, ready to charge at Lu Yi with a shriek. Ah! Lu Yi screamed in response. An instinctive reaction to the impending danger. Yet, this cry momentarily halted the rabbit lynx, which regarded her with a mix of curiosity and wariness. Lu Yi fell silent as the two adversaries entered a renewed standoff. Approximately 20 minutes passed before the rabbit lynx rose once more, intent on assaulting Lu Yi. She repeated her earlier tactic, letting out another scream, but this time, it failed to deter the rabbit lynx. Instead, it leaped towards her. In an instant, a chill surged through Lu Yi's spine, cold sweat cascading down her brow. Without hesitation, she pulled the trigger. The remaining 4 crossbow bolts flew forth. But the rabbit lynx effortlessly evaded them mid-air, landing and continuing its charge toward Lu Yi. Despair enveloped her. She could hardly fathom that her demise would come at the hands of a rabbit lynx, and she feared she would never see Yichuan again. In that moment, Lu Yi closed her eyes. Yet, pain did not come. It felt as though everything that had transpired was merely a dream. Hesitantly, she opened her eyes to find the rabbit lynx lying a meter away from her, an arrow embedded in the back of its head, lifeless. She then noticed a tall figure standing at the shoreline, bow in hand, exuding an undeniable charm, none other than the late-arriving Zhao Feiyu. My apologies for being late, beauty, Zhao Feiyu said as he strode confidently toward Lu Yi with a smile. No, it was just in time. Lu Yi shook her head vigorously. Had you been even a second later, I might have been killed. I was delayed by a few great white sharks along the way, Zhao Feiyu explained, extending his hand toward Lu Yi, who took it and stood up. Are all the supplies gathered? If so, shall we depart now? Zhao Feiyu asked once more. Lu Yi nodded repeatedly, quickly tidying up before following Zhao Feiyu into the submarine, where he was awestruck by the magnificent equipment. How exhilarating it must be to dive into the sea. It will be quite enjoyable, Zhao Feiyu remarked as he initiated the submarine's descent into the ocean. After receiving food from Yichuan, he sent a message. I have picked up Lu Yi and am now en route to your location. We should arrive in about 4 days. Having just finished his meal and watching television in the living room, Yichuan did not respond immediately. It was only after he had washed up and settled into bed that he sent Zhao Feiyu 10 torpedoes and 10 missiles, stating, use them without hesitation if you encounter any trouble. Do not hold back, I still have more. After sending the message, he drifted off to sleep. As dawn broke the next day, after relentless efforts, the restraints binding the 4 individuals were finally removed. Famished after a day without food, they attacked the provisions and water like ravenous wolves. The assistant island master, while eating, complained, Wang Sanrui, you truly are incompetent. You failed to investigate properly. Not only did you not defeat Yichuan, but now we have become refugees. What do we do now? We can only take it one step at a time. What else can we do? Wang Sanrui replied, shoving bread into his mouth irritably. You can't even manage a single peanut, scoffed the assistant island master. Becoming your aide has truly been a stroke of bad luck for me. Wang Sanrui's expression darkened at his words, observing the other two still indulging themselves. He realized that if this continued, they would soon find themselves starving. Suddenly struck by a clever idea, he leaned back and forcefully kicked the two individuals, catching them off guard and sending them tumbling out of the small boat. Wang Sanrui immediately paddled the boat several meters away. What are you doing? I can't swim, the two exclaimed, struggling in the water. Wang Sanrui, however, ignored their pleas and coldly addressed the assistant island master. I detest being blamed by others. After everything we've been through, what harm is there in me blaming you? Retorted the assistant island master, who had grown indifferent after a month of hard work only to face such a disastrous fate. If I wanted you dead, you would have been long gone. Would I still be talking to you? Wang Sanrui scoffed, tossing the paddle to the assistant island master and rowing in the opposite direction of the sun. He wasn't averse to eliminating the assistant island master, but he suddenly realized that if their food ran out without discovering an island, they would all starve. On Saturday, a knock on the door brought food placed on the coffee table, awakening Yi Chuan from his slumber. Satisfied with his rest, he immediately announced, Sign in. Sign in successful. Congratulations. Host, you have received 1,000 evolution points and a super fabric resource package. Yi Chuan's expression shifted, and he promptly opened the resource package, receiving a total of 50,000 pieces of fabric, which filled him with exuberant delight. A piece of fabric can roughly yield 2.5 sets of hoodies, totaling 50,000 pieces, which translates to an impressive 125,000 sets. When each set is equated to 50 units of resources, the entire accumulation amounts to a staggering 6.25 million units. The system has indeed outperformed previous iterations, much to my delight. After finishing breakfast, Yi Chuan promptly assigned this noble yet arduous task to Little Flying Dragon and Blueberry Jam. Blueberry Jam was tasked with the creation of the hoodie sets, while Little Flying Dragon would handle the sales. With such a considerable quantity, it would likely take several days to sell out completely. Once accomplished, he planned to acquire cotton clothing at a lower price, thereby converting resources and gradually amassing thousands of pieces of fabric to continue producing hoodies for profit. A tantalizing thought. Observing the two busying themselves, Yi Chuan stepped out of the room and summoned the three little companions. The sea turtle and the dolphin had already reached level 11, and he intended for the trio to catch up. Once they all achieved level 11, he would proceed with their upgrades sequentially, just as before. Currently, he had accumulated 15,500 evolution points, and he immediately allocated 15,000 points among the three, watching their bodies grow slightly larger. He quickly opened their information panels. Name, Albatross level, 10, mature stage, evolution points, 6,000 skills, diving talents, capable of grasping objects weighing up to 180 kilograms. Flame feather arrows, 10 units, human carrying ascension. Talents, diving, fishing, flying, long-distance navigation. Upon reaching level 10, the Albatross entered its mature stage, with the evolution points requirement increasing from 500 to 1,000. However, what intrigued Yi Chuan most was the newly acquired skill of human carrying ascension. Chapter 190, New Skill, Human Carrying Ascension. The three little companions had grown to about 1.2 to 1.3 meters in length, with a wingspan of approximately 3 meters, making them suitable for riding. Though the feasibility of the human carrying ascension skill seemed questionable, Yi Chuan decided to give it a try. Calling for Wang Kai, he promptly mounted its back. After a brief sprint of several meters, Wang Kai spread its wings and soared into the sky. Throughout the ascent, Yi Chuan felt no turbulence whatsoever. Moreover, as Wang Kai ascended, it felt as though an invisible shield was protecting him from the rushing air, a far more comfortable experience than clinging to the three little companions' talons. Even the expansive 11,000 square meters of Turtle Island dwindled into a mere speck as they ascended. After flying approximately 10 nautical miles, Yi Chuan instructed the three little companions to return. Accustomed to grand spectacles, he found his heart racing with excitement, certainly more exhilarating than a flight in an airplane. System, can anyone else besides me utilize the skills of the three little companions? Yi Chuan inquired. The system replied succinctly, currently, the skills are exclusive to the host. Other access will be available in due time. As he contemplated the possibility of sending the three little ones to fetch Lu Shuai and Lu Yuwei, it became evident that he would have to undertake the journey himself. The system's voice interrupted his thoughts, announcing, Congratulations. Your pet has reached level 10 and you have received an upgrade package. Would you like to open it? Open all. Yichuan exclaimed immediately. Congratulations. You have acquired 1,000 growth points, 32 wooden planks, 21 stones, and 2 super locators. Congratulations, you have acquired 1,000 growth points, 27 plastics, 23 glasses, and 2 island expansion cards. Congratulations, you have acquired 1,000 growth points, 22 stones, 12 metal sheets, and 10 Buddha jumps over the wall. Incredible. This time, he had received 2 super locators at once. Without hesitation, Yichuan utilized one of the locators on Lu Yuwei, who was approximately 1,000 nautical miles away. After some contemplation, he turned to Zhao Feiyu and asked, "Brother, I'm going to give you a coordinate. Could you tell me how far it is from here?" He then relayed the coordinates to Zhao Feiyu. Zhao Feiyu entered the coordinates and replied promptly, 439 nautical miles, located at my 3 o'clock. Should I head to that island first? Exactly. It's also a girl, a friend of mine. Let us bring her along. Yichuan responded with a grin. Not a problem. Zhao Feiyu replied with an affirmative expression. Yichuan then inquired of Lu Shuai, "Do you know how to operate a submarine?" "I've simulated it. But I haven't operated one for real," Lu Shuai replied, his expression questioning. "Why do you ask? I have a submarine here, and I'd like you to pilot it over to meet me. The foreign region is about to invade our Jiuzhou region. In light of this, I believe it's best for us to unite," Yichuan explained. "That's no issue," Lu Shuai replied decisively. "I have a super locator. I just used it, and I'm over 800 nautical miles from you. With the submarine, I should be able to reach you in just a few days." Seeing this, Yichuan promptly offered Lu Shuai another submarine, saying, "It contains 10 torpedoes and 10 missiles. It should ensure your safe arrival here." "Great," Lu Shuai responded, astonished and momentarily at a loss for words. Although the Jiuzhou region was beginning to progress in a positive direction, he felt that his brother was advancing at an astonishing pace, especially with such a large submarine. Among the 2 regions, it seemed only his brother possessed such a marvel. As Lu Shuai pondered this, he increasingly felt he was in the company of an extraordinary individual. He quickly gathered his belongings, including the super tablet, and boarded the submarine. He recalled his previous simulations of submarine navigation and swiftly initiated the startup sequence, diving 300 meters below the surface, heading towards the Turtle Island where Yichuan awaited. At noon, on Saturday, Jinhua prepared a delightful ham and wild chicken soup, served with steamed buns, which was exquisitely delicious. After the 2 finished their simple meal, they immediately plunged into a high-intensity work session. Yichuan, observing the ever-increasing abundance of resources, could hardly contain his delight. He intended to venture into the sale of hoodies but suddenly furrowed his brow as the dolphin alerted him. Promptly employing the ability of same-pupil transmission, he witnessed a breathtaking scene beneath the waves. It appeared that there was a colossal barrier under the sea, with a layer of cloud-like substance swirling rapidly. Suddenly, with a faint sound, an immense creature burst forth from the clouds. Nearly 20 meters in length, it resembled a gigantic crocodile at first glance. However, it lacked limbs. Possessing only 2 enormous fins at the front, each approximately 3 to 4 meters in size. In comparison, the dolphin seemed diminutive. Upon spotting the dolphin, the creature swiftly pursued it. Following a sonic attack from the dolphin, it darted towards the sea turtle. At that moment, the transmission time concluded. "I, the turtle, shall now employ absolute gravity," Yichuan shouted with urgency. Obeying his command, the sea turtle began to ascend slowly, reaching nearly 1 meter when the dolphin charged straight onto Turtle Island. The turtle's entire mass crashed onto the ocean, landing directly atop the colossal crocodile. Though large, the crocodile appeared insignificant before the turtle. The impact sent it plummeting into the depths of the sea. "System, what on earth is that?" Yichuan inquired immediately. "Songlong." The system promptly replied. No wonder it seemed familiar. It was indeed that Songlong. Yichuan's realization dawned. This creature, a dominant marine predator from the Mesozoic era, should have been extinct. How could it emerge from that barrier? Yet, upon reflection, with the existence of the megalodon from the early Pleistocene, the presence of the Songlong seemed entirely plausible. Why haven't I seen that Songlong's carcass? After several seconds, that Songlong still did not reappear, leaving Yichuan perplexed. The absolute gravity from the turtle was incredibly potent. Logically, it should have slain that Songlong. If it survived, had it fled? Contemplating this, Yichuan instructed the dolphin to return to the sea. However, mere seconds after the dolphin re-entered the water, a resounding splash signaled its return to Turtle Island. Simultaneously, the enormous form of the Songlong leapt from the ocean's surface, aiming to seize the dolphin in its jaws. Chapter 191. Severely Wounded Songlong. Yet, its aim seemed slightly off, ultimately failing to catch the dolphin. Without hesitation, Yichuan launched steel spikes at the Songlong, but its skin was too thick, rendering the attack ineffective and allowing it to retreat back into the depths. Though the Songlong's size and weight, as well as its biting force, were inferior to that of the Megalodon, the latter being a cartilage-based creature with relatively weak defenses. The Songlong's tough hide and formidable defense gave it a slight edge over the Megalodon. This is indeed a creature of A-grade classification in the marine realm. Without hesitation, Yichuan activated the submarine and entered its confines, only to find that the Songlong had already detected the vessel, opening its massive jaws to launch a ferocious bite. Fortunately, the sea turtle employed its countercurrent technique, temporarily halting the Songlong's advance and allowing the submarine to evade the impending attack. Without further delay, Yichuan aimed and launched a torpedo. The torpedo surged forth, leaving a trail of dense bubbles in its wake as it sped towards the Songlong. The Songlong, possessing formidable intelligence, recognized the weapon's aggressive intent and opted not to confront it head-on, swiftly retreating to safety, its speed surpassing that of the torpedo. In a dramatic chase, after covering several nautical miles, the Songlong expertly maneuvered, causing the torpedo to collide with a massive rock, resulting in a violent explosion. Meanwhile, the Songlong successfully evaded this peril. Goodness, this creature's intellect far exceeds that of the previous great white shark, Yichuan exclaimed, astonished. Without hesitation, he readied 2 additional torpedoes and launched them simultaneously. He then activated his super tablet and sought assistance in the group chat. Brothers, I have encountered a Songlong that can evade torpedo attacks. This is unbelievable. The Songlong was once the ruler of the ocean, possessing immense combat prowess. How could I have provoked such a beast? This creature has no natural enemies and is exceedingly ferocious. If you have drawn its ire, the only outcome is a relentless struggle. My friend, you must hold on. We have only your submarine left, and if anything were to happen to you, our advantage would diminish significantly. Yichuan grimaced, realizing that he could not rely on these individuals and would have to rely on his own resourcefulness. Observing that the 2 torpedoes were insufficient against the Songlong, he resurfaced and approached the giant automated fishing gun. Upon locating his target, he promptly pressed the button, and in an instant, the 5-meter-long fishing gun shot through the water like a bolt of lightning, rapidly heading towards its mark. After evading the 2 torpedoes, the Songlong noticed the submarine resting on the surface and swiftly surged towards it. Spotting the fishing gun, it attempted to swat it away with a flick of its tail. However, this time, it miscalculated. The fishing gun, with its formidable power and sharpness, easily pierced into the Songlong's tail, locking securely in place as the barbs opened. Let us see how you escape this time, Yichuan shouted, diving back into the submarine and targeting the Songlong once more, launching another torpedo. Despite being struck in the tail, the Songlong endeavored to swim away rapidly, aiming to shake off the torpedo as it had done previously. Yet, at a critical moment, just as the Songlong prepared to evade, its body became ensnared by reinforced steel cables. Boom! The torpedo detonated against the Songlong's body, creating a gaping wound visible even to the bones within. The Songlong struggled desperately, while Yichuan watched in astonishment. The defensive prowess of the Songlong is truly astonishing. Even in its current state, it remains unharmed. At this moment, however, the Songlong made an unimaginable decision, forsaking its submarine and charging fiercely at the sea turtle, seemingly believing that the harpoon was launched from the turtle, which it deemed the architect of its injuries. The sea turtle, not one to be trifled with, immediately ascended into the air. As it descended, the Songlong collided with it, only to be forcefully thrust back into the ocean by the turtle's overwhelming gravity. Yichuan witnessed this spectacle, observing how the Songlong flipped over and slowly sank into the depths of the sea, having not been killed but rendered unconscious. He let out a sigh of relief, deciding against wasting any more torpedoes. He returned to Turtle Island to retrieve the giant automatic fishing gun, choosing to disregard the Songlong and allowing the turtle to proceed as planned. The dolphin was also returned to the sea, and this time, the Songlong refrained from launching a counterattack, seemingly having conceded. Yichuan was left speechless, lamenting the fact that he had wasted 4 torpedoes to subdue a single Songlong. Had he known, he would have employed the super automatic fishing gun from the start, avoiding all this trouble. System, be a bit more generous and grant me some rewards. Yet, the system remained silent, as expected. Dolphin, do not cause me any more trouble in the future, Yichuan remarked, instructing the dolphin not to recklessly charge into peculiar situations, lest it conjure a formidable sea overlord. The dolphin understood his words and promptly ignored him. With a resigned shake of his head, Yichuan calmed his excitement and glanced at the messages in the public chat room. Recently, I've consumed several B-grade foods. and I feel my physical condition has improved significantly. I can lift objects weighing 200 pounds now. If we were in the ordinary survival phase, we should have acquired leveled items by the second or third month. Consuming them now seems neither too early nor too late. Although I am aware, the tangible changes in my body are still quite exhilarating. Regardless, we are progressing well, and I firmly believe that in just over half a month, victory in this battle is undoubtedly ours. Putting aside thoughts of battle, which give me a headache, this is a necessary confrontation. Just then, the little flying dragon suddenly exclaimed, "Big brother, someone wants to purchase a large batch of sweatshirt sets from us." Yichuan was taken aback. He had been selling sweatshirt sets in large quantities, and at this rate, the novice area would soon be inundated with them. Why would he need to purchase them in bulk? He approached to read the message. "Friend, I don't need many, just 300 sets. 300 sets is hardly a small request." Yichuan replied incredulously. Why not ask him what he intends to do with them? You need not concern yourself with that. I don't possess such resources. How about we trade for them with an aircraft? The response was almost instantaneous. I find little utility in the flying apparatus. Do you possess anything else? Yichuan instructed the little dragon to respond. What a jest. His 3 little companions were far more comfortable than any flying machine. Even if it were a flying device, it would merely be the most rudimentary kind, utterly useless. Chapter 192. Is there really a bug? You do not desire the flying apparatus. The other party expressed disbelief. It is well known that in this petite novice zone, a flying device surpasses boats in sophistication. He truly could not fathom why someone would refuse a flying machine. Indeed, I do not want it, the little dragon replied as per Yichuan's wishes. If you have other valuable items, feel free to mention them. Otherwise, it matters not. A blueprint for a compact submarine. The other party seemed resolute, responding immediately. I believe this could certainly procure you 500 sets of hoodies. Yes? That is not an issue, yet I am curious. How did you come by both a flying apparatus and a submarine blueprint? The little dragon inquired further. That is of no concern to you. If you agree to the trade, we can proceed at once. The other party replied. If not, so be it. Let us trade. The little dragon responded promptly, placing 500 sets of hoodies into the trading slot. Once the other party contributed the submarine blueprint, the transaction was completed. Yichuan had already utilized his last super locator to pinpoint the individual S location, astonishingly situated at the 5 o'clock direction of Turtle Island, 800 nautical miles away. This marked the boundary between the Jojo region and foreign territories. Yichuan couldn't help but formulate a hypothesis, though it required the sighting of that individual for verification. The Albatross, while carrying passengers, should achieve a speed of 100 kilometers per hour. Thus, covering 800 nautical miles would necessitate nearly 9 hours of travel. 1 nautical mile equals 852 kilometers. They could only embark tonight, and it seemed he would have to slumber upon Wansai's back, accompanied by his 3 little friends. Even if that individual were fully armed, they would undoubtedly manage to handle the situation. Consequently, Yichuan resolved not to linger on the matter any longer and began assisting the little dragon in displaying the hoodies. After dinner, the 3 settled down to watch a film. At 10 o'clock that evening, Yichuan bid farewell to the 2 and, after sipping a cup of monkey wine, climbed onto Wansai's back. Accompanied by Wang Fu and Wang Yun, they soared into the sky, heading toward the coordinates of that individual. At present, the Albatross was gliding solely on air currents, moving with lightning speed. Once Yichuan found a comfortable position that suited both him and Wang Kai, he promptly drifted into slumber. Although there was no system prompt this time, Yichuan awoke around 6 in the morning. Surprisingly, he found resting on Wang Kai more comfortable than on a sealy mattress. After more than 8 hours at an altitude of 100 meters, Yichuan finally spotted a distant isle. Surely, this must be the island belonging to that individual? He signaled to Wang Kai, instructing the 3 little companions to circle above before he quietly descended onto the island. This is unexpectedly a 1-bedroom apartment made of reinforced concrete. Although it differs somewhat from my previous residence, the level of comfort should be comparable. This island, spanning over 1,000 square meters, must have utilized an island area expansion card, featuring approximately 500 square meters of lush forest. On the opposite side lies a studio apartment, an automatic fishing gun, and an offensively designed medium-sized sailboat by the shore. Yichuan surveyed his surroundings, realizing the 500 hoodies had long since vanished. Could it be that he had sold them at a high price to someone else? Almost every island owner in the Kyushu region knew they could trade a set of hoodies for 50 units of supplies. Who could he have sold them to? While Yichuan pondered this, he suddenly heard rustling sounds. He quickly concealed himself in the woods, spotting a tall man clad in animal skins emerging from the room. Stretching lazily as he gazed at the distant sun, he exclaimed, "So comfortable." After a simple meal, the man took the automatic fishing gun and boarded the offensive medium-sized sailboat, swiftly heading forward. There's a barrier ahead. Is he really going to keep going? Yichuan murmured to himself. After a moment's thought, he entered his own room, summoned the little dragon using his super tablet, and directed it to contact Zhao Feiyu to retrieve his diving suit. He promptly donned the suit and utilized air bullets for propulsion, surpassing the speed of the medium-sized sailboat. After progressing about 3 nautical miles, Yichuan finally discovered an opening over 10 meters high and 7 or 8 meters wide between the foreign region and the Kyushu region. This place was extraordinarily concealed. It was nearly impossible to detect unless one approached within 10 meters, far more discreet than any underwater fissure. It was hard to believe that such openings appeared not only beneath the sea, but also above the surface. Yichuan's expression darkened. It seemed this was not the only location of its kind, and others might exist as well. With these thoughts in mind, Yichuan immediately entered the foreign region, observing as the medium-sized sailboat eventually docked on an island spanning 3,000 to 4,000 square meters. A young man with a bushy beard greeted the arriving man with great enthusiasm, embracing him warmly. "My friend, you have finally arrived. Of course. You haven't paid me yet. How could I not come?" The man shrugged, and the two erupted into hearty laughter. They then entered a massive wooden cabin. The one-bedroom apartment in the foreign region was entirely constructed of timber, but Yichuan was uncertain whether the building plan was obtained from a supply crate or if the bearded man had crafted it by hand. If it were the latter, then this fellow was indeed remarkably skilled. Upon reaching the shore, Yichuan stealthily approached a window and overheard the bearded man saying, "My friend, I have prepared 30 kilograms of sulfur and 30 kilograms of saltpeter for you, but you will need to procure the charcoal yourself." "That is no problem," the man replied with a smile. "Charcoal is not lacking in the Kyushu region. Once I manufacture the shells, our trade will proceed more smoothly." To my astonishment, 500 sets of hoodies have been exchanged for such a multitude of items. Are the individuals from the foreign regions truly so foolish and affluent? Yichuan murmured, his mind racing as he contemplated the urgent necessity of eliminating both parties. The Kyushu region is currently undergoing rapid development. Should it be compromised at this juncture, it would undoubtedly be left vulnerable to relentless assaults. For both his own sake and the welfare of the 200,000 island owners in Kyushu, it is imperative that he acts decisively. Just then, a cacophony of barks erupted, heralding the arrival of a large black dog, which persistently barked at Yichuan. In an instant, a feathered arrow from Wang Kai descended from the heavens, embedding itself deeply into the dog's body, leaving it no time to comprehend its fate before succumbing to its demise. "Is someone there?" growled the bearded man. As both he and his companion rushed out of the wooden cabin, Yichuan had initially intended to launch a surprise attack, but the unexpected manner of their meeting elicited a chuckle from him. "Hello?" Chapter 193. Apologies, but your only option is death. "Who are you? And how did you end up here?" the man asked incredulously. The bearded man, however, aimed his crossbow at the stranger, accusing, "You betrayed me. I was the one who sold you 500 sets of hoodies yesterday, yet I never imagined you would resell them to the foreign region, to our enemies." Yichuan replied with evident disappointment. "Do you intend to become a traitor? We are merely merchants, and we harbor no desire to incite war. We simply wish to profit." The man quickly retorted, "Consider this. If we truly aimed to ignite conflict, we would have directly informed the island owners of the foreign region. The fact that we have remained silent for over a week indicates we have not received sufficient incentive." Yichuan scoffed. "If the allure of profit were substantial enough, I am certain you would not hesitate to betray the Kyushu region." "Betray you?" The bearded man continued to glare coldly at the stranger. "Easy." The man raised both hands in a gesture of peace, stating earnestly, "I did not betray you. It was this fellow who tracked me down using a super locator." In a moment of misunderstanding, the bearded man pulled the trigger, unleashing 3 crossbow bolts that struck the man's chest with lightning speed. The man gazed at the bearded man in disbelief, reaching out as if to convey something, yet ultimately fell silent, collapsing onto the ground. In the next heartbeat, the bearded man aimed his crossbow at Yichuan. Without hesitation, Yichuan dodged the bolt. It appeared the bearded man possessed only 6 bolts, for after expending them, he hurled the crossbow at Yichuan and swiftly retreated into the wooden cabin. "This is quite perilous," Yichuan grimaced, wasting no time as he followed him into the cabin. Given the current circumstances, threats were no longer viable. Uncertainty loomed about whether the adversary would delay, and should the situation be communicated to other foreign island owners, it would spell significant trouble. Upon entering the wooden cabin, a burly man with a thick beard approached menacingly, wielding a cross-shaped sword reminiscent of those used by the knights of the church. He swung it fiercely towards Yichuan, who promptly evaded the strike. The sword cleaved through the wooden door, splitting it cleanly in two. Are you one of the church's people? Yichuan furrowed his brow. The church, a prominent foreign institution, boasts millions of followers, and its subordinate, the Holy Light Tribunal, dispatches hundreds of knights to the novice zones of the oceanic world every 3 years. This man was likely one of those knights. I merely seek to earn a living, yet you insist on condemning me to death. Thus, I must demonstrate my loyalty to the Almighty. The burly man bellowed. Alas, we are on opposing sides. Our true prowess shall be revealed in combat. Yichuan sighed, shaking his head in resignation before beckoning the man with a gesture. The burly man was fully prepared for battle, and he launched a horizontal slash toward Yichuan. A sharp clang resonated as Yichuan drew a formidable blade, its tremendous force sending the burly man sprawling 7 or 8 meters away, collapsing to the ground. In that fleeting moment, the man realized his sword arm had gone numb, and upon glancing down, he saw blood seeping from his palm. He was utterly astonished. After all, he had consumed 7 or 8 A-grade fruits, granting him strength 3 to 4 times that of an ordinary person. Yet, the opponent's might was as terrifying as that of a colossal whale. The disparity between them was glaringly evident. My friend, if you choose not to strike again, then I shall be the one to initiate the attack, Yichuan murmured. As a warrior, dying in battle is an honor in itself. With those words, Yichuan strode forward, taking the initiative. Despite being severely weakened by Yichuan's earlier blow, the burly man rose for the glory of his lord, gripping his sword tightly. With a roar, he engaged Yichuan once more. This time, Yichuan did not wield his sword. Instead, he closed the distance, launching a relentless barrage of strikes against the man's body. The burly man found himself utterly defenseless and, while lying on the ground, felt every bone in his body shatter. Initially, Yichuan had intended to slay the man outright, but he noticed that the man's attack ship remained afloat, indicating he was not yet dead. Thus, he decided to scavenge for as much as he could. After pouring a measure of monkey wine down the man's throat to ensure he would not perish immediately, Yichuan promptly entered the cabin, searching every nook and cranny. Aside from 30 kilograms of sulfur and 30 kilograms of saltpeter, he found nothing, leaving him puzzled. Could this be all he possessed? After a thorough search, he confirmed it was indeed all he had. However, as he passed a certain spot, he noticed that the sound of his footsteps was different, hollow. Yichuan immediately stomped down, and in a concealed corner, he discovered a thin wire. Grasping it, he yanked it forcefully, revealing a square wooden panel that opened to a hidden world below. The entire underground chamber was surprisingly constructed from steel plates, exhibiting an exceptionally smooth and even surface, rendering it implausible that it could have been excavated by human effort. Was there perhaps a design blueprint for the subterranean chamber hidden within the supply crates? Inside, an assortment of provisions awaited, including canned pork, beef, and ham. Alongside a substantial cache of essential materials, blueprints for the construction of miniature submarines and large sailing vessels, a fragmented treasure map, and even 2 rare artifacts, all of which left Yichuan astounded. It seemed he had stumbled upon a treasure trove. With a hearty laugh, Yichuan transferred all the items onto the attack-capable medium-sized sailing vessel, subsequently binding the bearded man securely before returning with him to the man's island. As long as he could swiftly trade all the supplies to Little Flying Dragon, the demise of either the superflat or the bearded man would no longer concern him. Fortunately, Little Flying Dragon was engaged in a sweatshirt trade and promptly acquired all the supplies, including the man himself. He then beamed at the man, saying, "Brother, do not blame me. Blame your collusion with the foreign island lord. I send you on your way for the greater good of the entire Kyushu region." Regrettably, the man had already exhaled more than he inhaled, and even if he wished to protest, no words escaped his lips. With a swift motion, Yichuan ended their lives and called upon the 3 little ones, specifically Wang Yun, who descended from the heavens to lift Yichuan once more, soaring towards Turtle Island. He could only hope that the entrance would remain undiscovered. However, with 2 nearby islands already submerged, he believed it unlikely anyone would notice. Just as Yichuan began to calm his thoughts and prepare to savor the splendid scenery below, he heard a warning from Wang Kai. In the distance, several dark figures were hastening towards them at an alarming speed. Chapter 194, Aerial Creatures with Levels. What are those things? Yichuan furrowed his brow, musing with mild confusion. As the dark figures approached, they revealed themselves to be a deep brown, with white heads, necks, and tails, bald eagles. This was the national bird of the United States. How could it possibly appear here? And it was evidently heading straight for him. 5 in total. They showed no signs of warning before launching themselves at the 3 little ones. Wang Kai and Wang Fu immediately unleashed fiery feathered arrows towards the 5 bald eagles. The first 3 eagles bore the brunt of the assault, struck directly in their hearts and necks, plummeting to the ground in a freefall. The remaining 2, displaying remarkable agility, deftly evaded the arrow attack, their sharp and elongated talons aiming fiercely at the central Wang Yun. Yi Chuan conjured air blasts with one hand and launched steel spikes with the other, only to discover that these 2 bald eagles were no ordinary birds. They effortlessly dodged both attacks. Nevertheless, Wang Yun was not to be trifled with, having already targeted one of the bald eagles. He released his feathered arrow just as the eagle dodged, striking true and embedding itself within the creature's body. Although the strike did not find its mark, Yi Chuan was astonished to discover that the majestic bald eagle had ignited in crimson flames. Within mere seconds, its once magnificent feathers were reduced to ashes, and the eagle plummeted into the ocean. The last remaining eagle was engaged in a fierce struggle with Wang Kai and Wang Fu, seemingly the most formidable of the 5. Even in a 2-on-1 scenario, it remained undaunted, displaying an ever-growing ferocity. How could this creature be so powerful? Yi Chuan pondered in disbelief. After all, the first 4 had been relatively easy to dispatch, yet this one, despite Wang Kai and Wang Fu launching feathered arrows, remained impervious, its plumage as resilient as iron. Wang Yun, allow me to take action. Be ready to follow my lead. Yi Chuan bellowed, drawing his great sword. With a powerful leap off Wang Yun's back, he swung the sword down at the bald eagle. The eagle, possessing remarkable agility, effortlessly evaded Yi Chuan's attack, its sharp claws aiming for him, threatening to bring him to a bitter end. Failing his initial strike, Yi Chuan spun midair and slashed at the claws. Clang! Perhaps overly confident in its own talents, the eagle's claw collided with the sword, only then realizing the weapon's formidable weight, as one of its hardened claws was severed. Enraged, the eagle retaliated with its other claw, both talons now poised to deliver a lethal blow to Yi Chuan. This time, he chose not to engage further and instead descended freely, landing safely in Wang Yun's embrace. Meanwhile, Wang Fu and Wang Kai resumed their struggle against the eagle. Yi Chuan, filled with suspicion, inquired of the system, "What is the situation with this bald eagle? Its combat prowess is astonishing." Bald eagle, a C-grade aerial creature. As its avatars were eliminated, its essence absorbed their combat power, thus becoming as formidable as a C-grade being. The system promptly responded, "Incredible. Aerial creatures have ranks as well." Yi Chuan exclaimed incredulously, then shouted, "System, this is unjust. There are rewards for defeating ranked marine creatures. There should be rewards for slaying ranked terrestrial and aerial beings too. I demand a reasonable explanation. Host must understand. This is ocean survival, not terrestrial survival, nor aerial survival." The system explained. Was it reasonable? Quite so. Yi Chuan smirked slightly. Though somewhat resigned, there was little he could do, for this was indeed a matter of survival at sea. Watching the bald eagle continue its struggle with the 2 smaller creatures, he recalled the system's words and felt a surge of frustration. He urged Wang Yun to soar skyward, leaping off to land on the eagle's back. Bang! The bald eagle hardly regarded Yi Chuan, who, with a mere sword and weighing no more than a few hundred pounds, would surely be crushed by such a fall from such heights. Even if he could not be killed by the fall, and even with the blade striking against his own body, he could not harm himself with his formidable iron feathers. The bald eagle had once engaged in such an act, soaring high to 100 meters, only to release its grip, allowing a person to plummet to a gruesome fate below. Just as this thought crossed his mind, Yi Chuan collided with the back of the bald eagle, which felt as though several hundred tons of iron had struck it, sending it plummeting downwards. This was the absolute gravity bestowed upon Yi Chuan by the sea turtle. Though it possessed only half its power, it still wielded a force akin to 100 tons. Even a C-class bald eagle could merely endure the onslaught. Seeing this, Wang Kai and Wang Yun immediately followed suit, crashing into the bald eagle the moment it hit the water, dragging it down into the depths. The bald eagle could swim for a short time, but it could not dive. Now, being pulled into the deep by 2 diving albatrosses, it struggled desperately, but to no avail. After several minutes, the 2 small birds finally emerged from the water, flapping their wings and soaring several meters before taking flight once more, with Wang Yun in tow. Embarking on their return journey, it was only by afternoon that Yi Chuan finally returned to Turtle Island. The 3 little ones immediately rushed back to their nest to rest. Having flown nearly 20 hours without a break, they were utterly exhausted. "Brother, did you really take care of that guy who was trying to buy our 500 hoodies?" The little dragon asked incredulously. "Otherwise," Yi Chuan shrugged. "Impressive." The little dragon laughed heartily. "But that's one way to do it. Just see someone wealthy and go rob them. What a thrill. This plan was indeed viable, but it came after confronting the foreign district. Yichuan stated seriously. If this guy hadn't been secretly trading with foreigners, I wouldn't have killed him for fear they might leak the entrance. You entered the foreign district? Blueberry Jam asked curiously. Of course, Yichuan nodded. The foreign district is just like our Jojo district. Perhaps the only difference lies in skin color. Once the barrier disappears, we'll directly invade the foreign district. The little dragon declared boldly. Let them see just how powerful our Jojo district truly is. Before that, I should ask Saturday to prepare a meal for me. I haven't eaten since being on Wang Yun's back, Yichuan remarked, intending to call out for Saturday. The little dragon, however, smiled mysteriously. No need for that. I have something you wouldn't expect. Care to try? What could possibly be so special? Yichuan replied, slightly annoyed. After all, in the oceanic world, he had already tasted everything there was to offer. What could he possibly not have tried? Forget it. You taste it first, and then guess. The little dragon chuckled, presenting a platter of meat. It's not rat meat, is it? Yichuan questioned suspiciously. Impossible. The blueberry jam suddenly exclaimed. Yichuan took a taste. The texture was somewhat tough, yet exceedingly delicious, though it bore little resemblance to any meat he had ever encountered. He couldn't help but cast a surprised glance at the little dragon. Remarkable. I truly cannot discern what kind of meat this is. This is the meat of an eagle. Ha ha ha. The little dragon burst into hearty laughter. An eagle? Yichuan looked at the little dragon with skepticism. 2 eagles came to disturb us, and on Friday, he shot them down. Blueberry Jam explained. Saturday said that the meat of this golden eagle, once cooked, would be quite delectable, so we stewed them. As for the culinary skills, there is indeed nothing to critique. Yichuan nodded in agreement. However, he couldn't shake off a sense of unease. After all, he had encountered aerial creatures with levels, and 2 golden eagles had intruded on Turtle Island, which was not an auspicious sign. Yet for now, it remained mere speculation. He would have to wait and see. Check-in. Yichuan then announced. Check-in successful. Congratulations to the host for receiving 1,000 evolution points. High-altitude repeating crossbow arrow manufacturing diagram 1. A high-altitude repeating crossbow arrow manufacturing diagram. The name left Yichuan somewhat perplexed. He was uncertain why the system granted him such an item, but since it had been bestowed, there must be a reason behind it. Without further hesitation, he immediately manufactured the repeating crossbow arrows. The stand was 1.5 meters tall, capable of vertical launch at maximum angle and parallel to the sea surface at minimum. It could hold 100 arrows, each the thickness of a finger and 30 centimeters long, with the ability to fire up to 10 arrows in rapid succession. Reaching a height of 100 meters, boasting formidable power, Yichuan promptly placed the high-altitude repeating crossbow on the summit of the hill and loaded it with arrows. Brother, why are you setting this contraption here? The little dragon inquired suspiciously. Do you expect the island master to pass overhead? Just in case, after all, the island master does sell flying machines, doesn't he? Yichuan replied nonchalantly. Aren't you working today? I did, but after 2 consecutive days. I'm quite exhausted and need a break, the little dragon chuckled. All right then, this is not something that can be accomplished in a day. Let us rest for now and tackle it tomorrow. Yichuan nodded, suggesting they watch a movie. He too needed some rest. Thus, the 3 enjoyed a delightful afternoon. After washing up in the evening, Yichuan sat on his bed, finally having the opportunity to check the public chatroom messages. Damn, I really don't want to say this. But today I was pecked by a huge bird. What is there to be reluctant about? 2 old eagles destroyed my newly sprouted tomato seedlings today. I'm nearly driven mad. Isn't that the truth? 5 or 6 large birds flew over me and dropped excrement all over. Do you know what that feels like? Regardless of the circumstances, this was undoubtedly not a good omen. The novice area was besieged by so many birds. Where did these birds come from? Has anyone pondered this? I hope this is merely a minor episode. We can no longer afford to wait, and we must advance swiftly to have a chance against the foreign territories. It appears that everyone has been disturbed by the birds, suggesting that this is not a simple incident of avian attacks. Nevertheless, I hope this matter will pass without further incident. The sky is not like the sea. It lacks effective means of assault. Should these birds go berserk, countless lives may be at stake. However, Yichuan refrained from making rash speculations and decided to take it one step at a time. Realizing the hour was late, he ceased his concerns and slipped into slumber. Host has not yet checked in. Would you like to check in? The following morning, Yichuan awoke to the system's prompt. Without opening his eyes, he declared, Check in. Check-in successful. Congratulations, host. You have gained 1,000 evolution points and the blueprint for the aerial repeating crossbow. Why is it yet again the blueprint for the aerial repeating crossbow? Yichuan finally opened his eyes, sitting up with a pale expression, for through the window, he beheld a dense swarm of birds circling ominously above. Without further hesitation, he rushed outside to craft another aerial repeating crossbow along with thousands of crossbow bolts, shouting, "Little flying dragon, big brother." The little flying dragon dashed out, having also noticed the multitude of birds above, and inquired with great bewilderment, "Why are there so many birds in the sky? It looks like the apocalypse." Immediately go to the repeating crossbow on the mountain. If they show any inclination to dive down, shoot at once. Yichuan commanded decisively. Understood. The little flying dragon nodded vigorously and sped towards the mountain peak. Yichuan then instructed Blueberry not to leave the house, ensuring that the three little ones remained safe. For he deemed their involvement in the battle unnecessary at this moment. Everything would be addressed if they could no longer withstand the onslaught. The swarm of birds circled in the air for over 10 minutes before rapidly descending towards Turtle Island, creating a breathtaking spectacle as they swooped down en masse. Yichuan snorted softly and immediately pulled the trigger, unleashing a barrage of crossbow bolts into the sky. The sheer power was such that a single bolt could fell several large birds before losing its efficacy. Working in tandem, the little flying dragon and Yichuan rained down bolts upon the avian horde, with birds plummeting from the sky like a torrential downpour. After expending 2 rounds of bolts, at least 3,000 to 4,000 bird carcasses lay strewn across the ground. The initial assault was quelled, thanks to their concentrated firepower. Yet, thousands of birds continued to circle above, and the duo could not afford to dawdle. They promptly began reloading. Even Friday and Saturday joined in to assist them. "Brother Chuan, these birds are rather peculiar," Friday remarked quietly after helping Yichuan reload the crossbow bolts. Once they hit the ground, they all vanished. "Really?" Yichuan was taken aback. He suddenly recalled the white-tailed eagle encounter from the previous day. Perhaps these corpses were mere illusions, and the true birds were few in number. Possibly even just a solitary one. If that were truly the case, it would be disastrous. What level of aerial creature is this? It is simply astounding. "Brother Chuan, here it comes again." At that moment, Friday exclaimed once more. Before their eyes, the birds had become remarkably clever, as thousands of large birds formed a cone shape, each fiercely charging towards Yichuan and the little dragon. Chapter 196, The Great Battle with the Black Monster Bird. What on earth is happening? Witnessing this scene, Yichuan found himself momentarily bewildered. Yet, without hesitation, he immediately directed his firepower towards the cone. However, once these large birds had arranged themselves in such a configuration, their defensive capabilities surged several levels. 100 crossbow bolts struck the cone. But aside from the death of a few hundred birds at the forefront, there was little change overall. Damn it! Yichuan gritted his teeth. With the cone still over 20 meters away, he had no choice but to abandon the aerial crossbow bolts and sprint towards a specific point. Almost in that instant, the 3 little ones sprang into action. Wang Kai unleashed several feathered arrows towards the cone, all of which penetrated its interior. In less than a second, flames erupted within the cone, and as it collided with the high-altitude crossbow bolts, the massive body exploded instantly. Almost all the birds were reduced to ashes in mere seconds. The little dragon was equally startled, its heart pounding rapidly. "Big brother, this is incredibly thrilling. Don't celebrate too early," Yichuan replied solemnly. "Big brother, all the birds in our vicinity have been exterminated. Why are you still so anxious?" The little dragon questioned, puzzled. "Don't you find it peculiar that these birds vanished so mysteriously?" Yichuan continued gravely. "Have you not noticed that there isn't a single bird carcass on the ground?" It does seem that way. The little dragon finally recognized the oddity. Suddenly, a resounding howl echoed through the skies, revealing a colossal black bird, measuring 5 to 6 meters in length, with wings stretching 12 to 13 meters wide. This giant bird appeared to be hovering in the air, coldly fixing its gaze upon Yichuan and the little dragon. Its colorful tail contrasted sharply with its black body. Yet the terrifying aura was enough to intimidate even the battle-hardened Yichuan. "You should return to the room. Big brother, in such a situation, you want me to be a coward?" The little dragon protested loudly. "You are no match for it. Remaining here might become a liability for me." Yichuan shook his head, urging, "You must return to the room. There is a chance to operate the giant automatic fishing gun and aim it skyward. It may be able to attack it." "No problem." The little dragon understood and ceased further protest, promptly turning to dash back to the room. Friday, Saturday. "You will likely need to lend me your assistance this time." Yichuan turned to Saturday. "Brother Chuan, my role is to cook. I cannot fight." Saturday replied, looking bewildered. "Can I cheer for you from below?" "Brother Chuan, Alu is not like me. She truly cannot do anything besides cook." Friday earnestly explained on behalf of Saturday. "May we, together, triumph over this adversary." Yichuan's lips curled slightly, realizing that it was either its demise or ours. With that, the two were swiftly lifted into the skies by Wang Kai and Wang Yun, heading directly toward the ominous black bird. The creature shrieked, its wings flapping vigorously, creating a formidable resistance. Yichuan immediately invoked his reverse flow technique, generating a current of air that significantly mitigated the blackbird's resistance, allowing the three small companions to approach within 5 meters of it. In a swift motion, Yichuan unsheathed his great sword and leaped high, aiming a strike at the body of the blackbird. To his astonishment, the bird extended a wing to meet the blow head-on. Yichuan recalled the white-headed sea eagle from yesterday, a C-class aerial creature that withstood the sword's assault. This creature was likely of a higher caliber. In an instant, he sheathed his sword and unleashed absolute gravity, crashing into the black bird's wing with tremendous force. Caught off guard, the black bird was momentarily spun in the air. Seizing the opportunity, Friday leapt up, fists clenched, and struck down upon the black bird's other wing. The impact was formidable, weighing over 200 pounds. Friday unleashed his full strength, rivaling Yichuan's absolute gravity. The black bird emitted a piercing cry, its body wobbling precariously in the air before it managed to regain its balance and fiercely flapped its wings at the two and their small companions. A flurry of feathered arrows was unleashed, forcing them into a free fall to narrowly evade the onslaught. Undeterred by this setback, the black bird descended rapidly, pursuing them relentlessly. The three small companions, undaunted, ascended from above, their claws firmly gripping the black bird's back. Together, their strength could rival 1,000 pounds, momentarily halting the creature's flight. In that brief interlude, Wang Kai and Wang Yun hoisted the two upward once more, re-engaging in battle with the black bird. On Turtle Island, the little dragon had positioned the massive automatic fishing gun, tracking the black bird with keen precision. Eager to press the launch button, he hesitated, fearing a misfire might alert the beast. Observing Yichuan and Friday struggling against the creature, the little dragon finally steeled himself and pressed the button. The 5-meter-long fishing spear shot forth like lightning, yet the black bird, with its acute awareness, evaded the projectile and charged at Yichuan. It had fixated on him. Recognizing him as the commander, eliminating him would conclude the battle. Unbeknownst to the black bird, the spear, having missed its target, made a swift return, striking at the creature's back just as it was distracted by Wang Fu's interference, ultimately piercing through its very form. The little dragon pressed the button once more, causing the barbed hook to appear and swiftly retract. The large black bird flapped its wings with great effort, attempting to escape. But the reinforced steel wire was simply too resilient for it to break free. Come! From high above, Yichuan shouted loudly, leaping downwards directly towards the black bird. The little dragon adeptly retracted the hook, and as the fishing spear was drawn back into its body, the black bird finally sensed its moment of freedom and was about to flee. However, Yichuan had already descended with absolute gravity, crashing forcefully into it. In an instant, blood spattered, and the black bird fell helplessly to the ground, lifeless. Let us see if you truly perish this time, Yichuan remarked coldly as he and Friday landed safely. Congratulations, host, on your first kill of a B-grade aerial creature. Reward, lucky gift pack. Would you like to open it? At that moment, the system's voice filled Yichuan with both confusion and delight. Wow! Yichuan couldn't contain his excitement, exclaiming loudly. After all, the previous kills of D-grade and C-grade terrestrial and aerial creatures had yielded no rewards, yet this time, he was granted a reward. A lucky gift pack, no less. System, could you provide me with a reasonable explanation? Despite his exhilaration, Yichuan inquired, contemplating whether he could also claim rewards for the prior 3 kills. Killing D-grade and C-grade terrestrial and aerial creatures does not merit a reward. Only B-grade and above terrestrial and aerial creatures qualify, the system explained directly, encouraging the host to continue striving. In response, Yichuan was momentarily at a loss for words. Opening successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 200 kilograms of fertile black soil, 10 A-grade pomegranates, 1 blueprint for a small aircraft, and 500 coffee beans, along with 1 coffee grinder blueprint. Could I actually brew coffee now? Yichuan's expression shifted with intrigue. Currently, he possessed milk and sugar. With the addition of brewed coffee, it would be an absolute delight. Glancing at the blueprint for the small aircraft, which resembled a drone and featured a display screen for tracking and surveillance, he thought it might not be immediately useful. However, upon reading the description, Yichuan's expression brightened. It came equipped with a super battery that could last for 5,000 nautical miles or 72 hours. Could he send it through that opening to explore how things were developing in the foreign region? With that thought, Yechuan promptly manufactured the small aircraft and deftly directed it toward the designated location. This device could reach speeds of up to 100 nautical miles per hour, enabling it to arrive at the opening by this afternoon and venture into the foreign region for some reckless flying. The system had shown some consideration by providing Yechuan with the coordinates of the opening, and after setting it up, it momentarily ceased further communication. "Hey, are you alright?" The little dragon approached and asked. "Of course, I'm perfectly fine," Yechuan replied. Yechuan shook his head and then turned his gaze towards Saturday. At that moment, Saturday had already grasped the large black bird. "Brother Chuan, this bird is infused with a formidable energy. Consuming it will bring us significant benefits. I leave the preparation to you," Yechuan decisively stated. "Let us do it in the afternoon," Saturday replied. "After we eat, we can absorb its essence throughout the night, which is far superior to consuming it at noon." "All right, you manage it as you see fit," Yechuan said, patting Saturday on the shoulder. 2 high-altitude crossbows had been destroyed. The little dragon expressed its disbelief, saying, "We just created them, and now they're ruined." Yet, they had each demonstrated their value. Yechuan chuckled and remarked, "No worries, we can always craft more in the future. After this incident, I doubt any birds will dare to attack us for a while." "That is true," the little dragon nodded thoughtfully. Half an hour later, Saturday completed the Buddha jumps over the wall dish. Yechuan traded a portion to a few others, and Lu Yi immediately inquired, "I saw in the public chat room that they reported attacks from unidentified birds. Are you alright? This morning, we too faced an avian assault. But thanks to the relentless efforts of a brother and my pet, we managed to eliminate them all," Yechuan promptly replied. "Though it was perilous, we emerged unscathed. That is a relief." Lu Yi exhaled. "Brother Fei, you mentioned that we should arrive in about 3 days. Yechuan quickly responded with an OK emoji and then looked at Liang Hongying's message, which was similar to Lu Yi's greeting, while also asking, "How much longer until you arrive?" "Barring any unforeseen circumstances, tonight or early tomorrow morning," Liang Hongying estimated. Yechuan replied, "Just be ready." "Since the last time I bathed at your place, I haven't had a wash in nearly a month," Liang Hongying added. "Don't misunderstand, I meant no offense. I simply wish to take a hot shower as soon as possible." Upon reading her message, Yechuan responded with a laughing emoji and then switched to the public chat room. "I'm about to lose my mind. Does anyone have iodine or alcohol? I was just attacked by several old eagles, and I have a nasty gash on my head that is killing me. Haha, serves you right. I've only had a few seagulls attack, which I dispatched effortlessly with my crossbows. It was a breeze. Brothers, farewell. I can no longer join you in the battle against the foreign region. I was just blinded in one eye by a large bird, and a major artery was severed. I'm seeing black now, and am on the verge of bleeding to death. Wow, is it that serious? You couldn't even handle a bird? That's pathetic. Don't make light of the situation. Right now, we must confront the foreign region as allies." Observing these messages, Yechuan couldn't help but shake his head slightly. It seemed that this avian assault had indeed caused substantial harm, likely leaving thousands of island masters lamenting in the northwest. Truly, only absolute strength can allow one to navigate the oceanic realm. Otherwise, one would be rendered utterly powerless. To Yechuan, this matter was merely a minor episode. After a brief period of rest, he assisted Xiao Feilong in arranging the hooded sweatshirt sets until evening. As the clock approached 9, Yechuan finally went to freshen up, preparing for sleep. Meanwhile, on a small island 200 nautical miles away, Liang Hongying had extinguished the candles in her wooden cabin well before, armed with a machete. She concealed herself in a corner outside. Earlier that day, she had noticed 2 small boats circling the island in the distance before departing. However, she sensed that this was not merely coincidental. The boats seemed to be surveying the area, and she anticipated their intentions to act that night, uncertain of the timing. It was wise to prepare in advance to avoid chaos during an assault. Time passed, and the moon hung high in the sky, with wisps of gossamer clouds drifting by, enhancing the night's allure. A medium-sized sailboat approached within 100 meters of the island, and 5 or 6 men boarded a smaller vessel, slowly making their way towards the shore. Among them, one expressed his concerns. "I wonder about that fellow's strength. We certainly can't afford to fail." "Why fear? There's just a single woman on that island," scoffed a burly man beside him. "You don't seriously think you can't handle a mere girl, do you?" "Indeed. Dong Xiaosa, your cowardice is quite shameful." Another chimed in with laughter. "If you were braver, you wouldn't be in such a dire position." With a smirk, he added, "This time, we've secured something valuable, and you'll only get a meager 10%. I doubt you'll even receive that. You're already backing out before we've even begun, which is simply demoralizing." The others teased him. Yet, Dong Xiaosa retorted coldly, "I just feel that as we prepare to confront the foreign regions, it seems rather inappropriate to rob and kill our own kind. What do you know? It's precisely because a battle looms that we must plunder others to fortify ourselves. The burly man snapped. Would you prefer everyone to be weak and fall victim? Or for us to grow strong and eliminate the island masters of foreign territories? Seems like it would be better for us to grow strong, Dong Xiaosha replied meekly. Understanding that principle is enough, let us proceed as planned. The burly man huffed as the group quietly approached the island, armed with upgraded crossbows. They aimed at the wooden cabin and began to unleash a barrage of bolts, sending 60 to 70 projectiles into the dwelling. They then rushed forward, with the burly man kicking open the door, brandishing a dagger, aiming directly at the bed. Yet, the bed was only adorned with blankets and pillows. There was no one there. Where is she? The men's expressions changed dramatically. Uffed. At that moment, a faint sound caught everyone's attention, and they turned to see Dong Xiaosha at the back, an arrow protruding from his forehead, having been pierced by a bow shot. How infuriating. She had discovered our presence long ago. The big man's expression changed drastically as more arrows flew in from the shadows. He quickly pulled the person at the entrance inside and shut the door promptly. Thud. Another sharp sound echoed as an arrow pierced through the wooden door, its tip appearing within. How could this woman possess such incredible strength? One person incredulously inquired. It was known that the arrow's ability to penetrate the wooden wall was entirely due to the immense power of the crossbow, a feat incomparable to that of human strength. Not to mention, this woman certainly had astonishing arm strength. Damn it, we intended to catch her off guard. Yet here we are, trapped like turtles in a jar. The big man, filled with shame and anger, glanced around and gritted his teeth. Moreover, she had brought her formidable tablet outside the wooden house. It was evident she intended to eliminate us. If we could push open the wooden door unexpectedly, we would surely evade her attack. One person spoke in a hushed tone, asserting that once we exited the wooden house, it would be her demise. As he stepped forward to open the door, an arrow shot towards him. Had he not dodged in time, he would have met a grim fate. She lurks in the shadows while we are exposed in the light. We can simply wait until dawn. The big man contemplated several strategies, all seeming unfeasible, and coldly remarked. At that moment, Liang Hongying revealed a chilling smile, brandishing a flaming arrow aimed at the wooden door, swiftly following it with a second and then a third. After several seconds, the occupants of the wooden house finally caught the scent of smoke, and the big man's expression shifted dramatically. This is bad. She has set the wooden house ablaze. That madwoman. One person shouted in anger, seizing Dong Xiaosha's corpse as a makeshift shield and charging out of the wooden house. Damn it. The big man squinted, a flicker of indifference crossing his face as he grabbed another person, using him as a shield to rush out as well. The two exchanged glances, wary of one another, neither daring to use the other as a living target. Ultimately, they sought cover and charged out sequentially, resulting in one casualty, leaving only 3 survivors who hid behind a large rock. You wretched witch, what skill lies in hiding in the shadows and shooting arrows? Have the courage to face me in a duel. The big man could no longer contain his fury and roared, declaring that if she could defeat him, he would concede. Upon hearing this, Liang Hongying scoffed disdainfully, slowly emerging from the shadows, her mountain-cutting knife lightly tapping against the stone, producing a crisp sound that harmonized with the roaring flames. Reminiscent of a bloodthirsty madwoman. I can't shake the feeling that you cannot defeat her, one person murmured, swallowing hard. How dare you bolster another's confidence while undermining your own? When this matter concludes, you shall witness my wrath. The big man glared fiercely at him, gripping his dagger tightly as he strode forward. My dear, although I harbor no intention of harming women, your provocation leaves me with no choice but to send you on your way. The burly man declared, gripping his dagger tightly, and charged towards Liang Hongying, determined to strike her down. Yet, Liang Hongying remained unfazed, her expression dripping with disdain as she swiftly launched her attack. Moving with a speed that was nearly imperceptible to the naked eye, relying solely on instinct and combat experience, the man instinctively crossed his dagger before his chest. Clang! The imposing blade collided with the dagger. The force was so tremendous that even the sturdy man found himself staggering back a step, his arm tingling from the impact. In his astonishment, he quickly pivoted, aiming a powerful punch at a target, only to discover that Liang Hongying seemed to be anticipating his move, responding with a punch of her own that met his with a resounding force. In that moment, the man felt the bone in his hand nearly shatter. A searing pain coursed through him, and cold sweat began to bead on his brow. Is that all you've got? Liang Hongying taunted. Initially, she had harbored doubts about her own capabilities. Having trained in martial arts since childhood, she had always been rather proficient. But after her defeat at the hands of Yi Chuan, she began to question her strength. However, After being nourished with numerous A-grade and even S-grade bodily fluids and fruits by Yi Chuan, she sensed a qualitative leap in her power. This encounter with the burly man served to validate her suspicions. With the enhancements from those grade-infused liquids and fruits, her strength had surged, doubling at the very least. Damn it! The man gritted his teeth in frustration. At that moment, one of his arms felt numb and his other fist was broken, rendering his hands incapable of further combat. In desperation, he discarded the dagger and lunged forward, using his body as a weapon to engage Liang Hongying in hand-to-hand combat. Liang Hongying, still dismissive, sheathed her blade and engaged him in close quarters. This was merely a living target to test her abilities, and she intended to explore her prowess thoroughly. Should we lend him a hand? Behind a boulder, two individuals observed the unfolding battle, voicing their concerns. If he perishes, we might not survive either. That makes sense. The other nodded in agreement. They swiftly produced their crossbows, loaded their bolts, and aimed at Liang Hongying. Chapter 199. Liang Hongying, to the island. Exchanging a glance and nodding in unison, they simultaneously pulled the triggers aimed at Liang Hongying. Whoosh! The faint sound of arrows slicing through the air resonated, and Liang Hongying, having already sensed the threat, swiftly evaded, grasping the burly man by his collar and flinging him aside. Thud! Moments later, the man's pupils constricted as two bolts struck him squarely in the backside, eliciting a pained scream as he leaped into the air, angrily bellowing. Can you not aim any better? My apologies, we simply failed to notice. The two hurriedly offered their apologies. Goodness, how could you be so inaccurate? One lamented, clearly perplexed by the turn of events. The matter of precision is irrelevant. It was that wretched individual who moved with such swiftness and utilized him as a shield. One of the men retorted with irritation, truly believing we had made an error. As this discussion unfolded, the burly man found himself once again engaged in a skirmish with Liang Hongying. The brute was never a match for her, and after enduring a couple of blows to his rear, his face became a contorted mess, an indescribable sensation. Bang! Ultimately, with a swift sidekick, Liang Hongying struck the burly man's cheek, propelling him into the air, where he spun thrice before crashing to the ground, unconscious. Liang Hongying then redirected her gaze towards the two men. They swallowed hard, immediately discarding their crossbows and raising their hands, shouting, "We surrender, do not kill us." Who are you? Liang Hongying inquired coldly. We are merely a small group. Since entering this oceanic realm over a month ago, we have gradually formed connections, uniting before the seas froze. One man promptly responded, explaining that they had been aimlessly wandering, robbing any island they discovered after scouting. So, this is how you fell into misfortune? Liang Hongying pressed further. We will offer you everything, just spare our lives. The other man gritted his teeth, revealing that their possessions were aboard a medium-sized sailing vessel, merely 100 meters away. Oh, Liang Hongying nodded slightly, swiftly incapacitating the two men, then binding all three together before rowing to the medium-sized vessel. Inside the cabin, another individual, perhaps bored from waiting, had fallen asleep and was entirely unaware of Liang Hongying's arrival, only to be knocked unconscious and tossed into the sea. The entire cabin was filled with an array of supplies, nearly overtaking the ship, alongside some food and a dozen blueprints for attack-capable medium-sized vessels, likely the accumulated stock of all island lords. Without hesitation, Liang Hongying navigated the medium-sized ship to the island, trading everything through the super tablet to Yi Chuan, ensuring that the three would not escape their bonds before retreating to the ship for some well-deserved rest. The following morning, Yi Chuan awakened promptly around 6 o'clock. Upon gazing into the distance, he spotted the island and a vessel, a smile breaking upon his face. At last, we have arrived. Time to check in. Yi Chuan inhaled deeply, proceeding to the bathroom to freshen up while declaring, "Check-in successful. Congratulations to the host for receiving 1,000 evolution points and an evolution gift pack. That equates to a total of 11,000 evolution points. Quite satisfactory." As the island and the small isle connected, Yi Chuan and the little flying dragon made their way to Liang Hongying's island, only to be confronted by the chaotic scene. It appeared a fierce battle had transpired last night, with casualties and injuries, and three men bound together, who upon seeing Yi Chuan, looked as though they had encountered a divine savior. "Brothers, please help us. We have been captured by a mad woman. This is someone else's island. You come to attack, and yet you accuse them of kidnapping you." Yi Chuan jested. "We merely sought to visit the island for amicable exchanges." The burly man lamented. "Brother, you've arrived." At that moment, Liang Hongying leaped from the boat, believing you would arrive by nightfall. "I thought so too," Yi Chuan chuckled. "Are you unscathed?" "Naturally." Liang Hongying shrugged, attributing her safety to the items you provided, for without them, she would have truly been no match for them. The three despaired. Initially, they had hoped for rescue, only to realize they were all in cahoots. The burly man steeled his heart. Fine, do as you will, kill or maim, it matters not, for in 20 years, I shall be a hero once more. What do you think? Yichuan inquired of Liang Hongying. Whatever, I am indifferent, Liang Hongying replied nonchalantly. After all, we are on the brink of engaging in warfare with foreign territories. I believe it prudent to avoid unnecessary slaughter. Yichuan pondered and then suggested, let us simply trade for all their belongings. I have already included all my transactions for you. It's just that you haven't agreed yet, Liang Hongying reminded him. Ah, indeed. I overlooked the tablet's notifications. I will accept them upon our return. Yichuan laughed heartily. Are you ready? Shall we set forth? Anytime. Liang Hongying nodded, promptly bringing her super tablet and a few essentials as she followed Yichuan onto Turtle Island. We shall spare your lives. You may leave whenever you manage to free yourselves. You mad woman. Never let me encounter you again, or I shall surely kill you. The burly man raged. But his ire went unnoticed by Liang Hongying as they departed for Turtle Island. Brother, who is she? Upon seeing a woman on the island, Blueberry Jam scrutinized Liang Hongying with suspicion. This is Liang Hongying, my subordinate island master, who will also reside here. Yichuan smiled, encouraging them to introduce themselves. By the way, you will share a room from now on. I will convert your beds into bunk beds. Why? Blueberry Jam queried. ISNT, there's still extra rooms? Because in 2 days, 2 women and 2 men will arrive on the island. You ladies will share a room equipped with a private restroom, Yichuan explained. I will convert the dining area into 2 bedrooms, and the 4 of us men will occupy rooms without private restrooms. Little Flying Dragon, let us collaborate on this. All right. Little Flying Dragon eagerly agreed and rushed over. Blueberry Jam, however, glared coldly at Liang Hongying. Woman, you shall not sleep in my room. This is my space. Did you not hear how my brother addressed you? Liang Hongying asked, her expression devoid of emotion. I do not care. You cannot share a room with me. Blueberry Jam scowled, blocking the doorway. Chapter 200. The traitor Wang Sanrui, preempting the battle of 2 districts. Step aside, Liang Hongying said calmly. What if I refuse? Do you intend to fight me? Blueberry Jam rolled her eyes and questioned. Liang Hongying furrowed her brow and gently seized Blueberry Jam's arm, applying a slight force. Poor Blueberry Jam, caught unawares, plopped down onto the ground, exclaiming, ouch, my backside. Liang Hongying paid her no heed and directly pushed the door open, stepping inside. Although Yichuan noticed the unfolding scene, he refrained from inquiring further. At this moment, he and Little Flying Dragon had devised a method to partition the restaurant. The restaurant was already quite spacious, measuring over 20 square meters. Once divided, each room would still offer 12 to 13 square meters, ample for both sleeping and activities. After assisting Blueberry Jam and the others in converting their bed into a double bed, Little Flying Dragon began to remodel the restaurant with Liang Hongying's help. It was then that Yichuan seized the opportunity to glance at the screen of the aircraft. The craft had long since entered the foreign district. Although it was aimlessly flying, upon entering this area, Yichuan's predetermined objectives became ineffective, causing its speed to diminish as it circled a nearby island. Coincidentally, Yichuan spotted Wang Sanrui on the display. This fellow had actually entered the foreign district and made contact with the foreign island's lord, filling Yichuan with regret. As this matter was no trifling matter, Wang Sanrui must have discovered a significant rift to gain entry into the foreign district. If he were to inform the foreign island lord about this rift, would it not expedite the foreign district's assault on the Jiuzhou district? Regrettably, this small aircraft could only display images, not capture sounds. Otherwise, he could have overheard their conversation. After contemplating for a moment, Yichuan promptly entered the submarine and opened the public chat room for the foreign district. Attention everyone. In addition to the fissures beneath the sea, there are also some above the surface. Though not large, they are capable of accommodating a sizable offensive sailing ship. What? Is that true? This information was just obtained from a downtrodden island lord of the Jiuzhou district who had recently defected to my side, arriving in a small boat. So, brother, does this mean you are not far from the Jiuzhou district? Not too far, perhaps a little over 100 nautical miles. Then send the coordinates. We will assemble at your location and aim to complete our gathering within 7 days to launch a direct assault on the Jiuzhou district. This plan appeared highly feasible, as it was well known that the Jiuzhou district was rapidly advancing. Given time, they might surpass us. Thus, the sooner we attacked, the greater our chances of success. In the chat group, one individual addressed Yichuan. Call, have you seen the messages in the public chat room? Are they genuine? I am uncertain. I did not linger at the border, Yichuan promptly replied. I will head to the border now and send you the coordinates if I discover any rifts. No problem, came the reply, as one individual traded 1,000 kilograms of sulfur and 1,000 kilograms of saltpeter. Yichuan remained silent this time, directly producing 30 torpedoes, 30 missiles, and 21 shells, just as he had done previously. Upon returning to his room, he promptly disseminated the news. There are numerous fissures between the Kyushu region and the foreign district barrier. The foreign district is already aware of this secret and will launch an attack on the Kyushu region in 7 days. Everyone must immediately head west to intercept the foreign district at the barrier. In an instant, the public chatroom erupted. Is this true? There are still more than 2 weeks left. How has it become just 1 week? Indeed, we haven't developed sufficiently, and I don't even possess adequate weaponry. Isn't this merely a death sentence for us? Is this news reliable? Could it be a prank? Such jokes are intolerable. Friend, surely you jest, right? It's plausible. If there are fissures in the seabed, how could the surface be unscathed? I believe we should prepare ourselves early. Brother, is the news you posted genuine? Zhao Feiyu also sent a message at this moment. Naturally, one of those fools I shattered the tablet of accidentally stumbled into the foreign district. Yichuan gritted his teeth, lamenting, it's my fault for not eliminating him directly, which led to such a grave error. Brother, you must not shoulder this burden alone. Zhao Feiyu quickly replied. Even if he hadn't reported, the foreign island masters would have discovered this issue eventually. It just happened a bit sooner. If we unite our efforts, I believe we can still fend them off. Let us hope. Yichuan responded. I won't proceed further for now. After I meet up with you, we will head directly to the barrier. No problem. We should arrive within 2 days at the latest. Zhao Feiyu replied with an okay emoji. Chuan, would you care for a cup of coffee? At that moment, Saturday entered, carrying 2 liters of freshly brewed coffee. I wasn't sure of your preferences, so I made it without sugar or milk. It's the purest black coffee. Much appreciated, Yichuan smiled at Saturday, simply adding sugar and goat milk before distributing approximately 500 grams to each person. Sipping from his cup, he exited the room and immediately spotted the wondrous tree. After days of neglect, it had grown to 50 meters tall, standing remarkably straight, swaying slightly in the gentle breeze. He wondered if this truly led to the Sky City. If so, it was already swaying at 50 meters. Should it reach hundreds or even thousands of meters, how many would dare to ascend? Approaching the marvelous tree, Yichuan gazed up at the tallest plant on Turtle Island, feeling a sense of nostalgia. The apple, pear, and peach trees, which had borne fruit in a previous season, were now beginning to sprout tiny buds again. However, Friday had not watered them with nutrient solution this time, so their growth might be slower. As for the vegetable seed packets obtained last time, they had already grown to over 10 centimeters tall, and it wouldn't be long before fresh vegetables would be ready for harvest. Chuan, would you like to eat some coconuts? On Friday, holding a large coconut, he boasted. All the coconuts are ripe, the juice is rich, and the flesh is crisp and sweet. He entrusted Saturday with the task of preparing a grand coconut feast at noon. Without hesitation, Yichuan decided that, although he could cook reasonably well, he had never ventured into the realm of coconuts. It was best left to the culinary expert. After inspecting the fruits and vegetables, Yichuan made his way to the turtle's vicinity, where he beheld over 30 accumulated supply boxes and promptly chose to open them all. Chapter 201, Lu Shuai's strike provokes the blue whale. He received 35 metal sheets for avocados, 1 blueprint for a small aircraft, 23 plastics, 12 glasses, and 1 blueprint for an automatic shooter. As before, while the haul was quite substantial, Yichuan felt that the abundance of supply boxes had not yielded many rare materials. This realization solidified his resolve to open 10 boxes in the morning and another 10 in the afternoon. However, if his catches were fewer, he would opt for 5 in both sessions. What piqued Yichuan's interest was the blueprint for the automatic shooter. Particularly due to its description, the automatic shooter can be mounted on a small aircraft for long-range strikes. With Wang Sanrui having turned traitor to the 9 provinces, why couldn't he manipulate the small aircraft to take him down? With this thought, Yichuan's mind raced, and he quickly crafted the small aircraft and the automatic shooter. Fortunately, he still had several kilograms of sulfur and nitrate left, and he promptly manufactured 100 bullets for the automatic shooter, installing them all. Next, he assembled the automatic shooter with the small aircraft and, utilizing the system, pinpointed the aircraft's coordinates, directing it swiftly toward the target. The small aircraft, however, drifted aimlessly in another direction. Having completed these tasks, Yichuan returned to his room. Surveying his surroundings, he decided to call for Little Flying Dragon. Moving all his belongings to the adjacent room, which lacked a private restroom, he crafted a bunk bed, awaiting the arrival of Lu Yi and Lu Yewei so they could move in. Brother, you really don't need to be so accommodating. It's not as if girls can't stay in a room without a private restroom, Little Flying Dragon whispered. It's warm enough. They can easily go out at night. What do you know? Yichuan retorted. As boys, we should take care of the girls. Don't be so oblivious. Little Flying Dragon awkwardly stuck out his tongue, choosing not to say more. Perhaps this was why Yichuan was quite popular among the girls. Subsequently, Yichuan called upon Little Flying Dragon and Liang Hongying to start making hoodies for sale. In the deep sea, Lu Shuai had been navigating his submarine swiftly toward Turtle Island. While he encountered some challenges, overall, it had been quite favorable, as he had not faced any significant dangers. Now, through the superlocator, it appears that the submarine is merely a day's journey away from Turtle Island, estimated to arrive by noon tomorrow. This revelation gradually eased Lu Shuai's anxiety, as only a few hundred nautical miles remained. Surely, there would be no issues. Just as he was contemplating this, the radar abruptly emitted an alarming signal, causing Lu Shuai to startle and immediately glance at the radar, where he observed a small red dot flashing vigorously. Regardless of what it might be, it had already approached within 50 nautical miles of the submarine. Cursed be this situation. Lu Shuai gritted his teeth in frustration, as such an occurrence was most unwelcome right before reaching their destination. He swiftly sent a message to Yichuan. Brother, it seems we are in danger here. Do you have any weapons available? Coincidentally, Yichuan was resting and perusing the public chatroom content. Upon seeing the message, he promptly placed 10 torpedoes and 10 missiles on the trading interface. What is happening? Lu Shuai replied, I'm not entirely sure yet, but the target has entered the radar's detection range. Don't worry too much. It may just be some friendly large marine creature. Yichuan reassured him. First, install all the torpedoes and missiles. If there truly is a threatening creature, engage it immediately. Do not allow it to come too close to the submarine, or it could be perilous. Rest assured, brother, I'm well aware. Lu Shuai responded, his gaze unwaveringly fixed on the radar. As the radar continued its scanning, the red dot drew nearer to the submarine, moving at an exceedingly rapid pace, at least twice the speed of the submarine. If only I could discern what it is. Everything would be resolved, Lu Shuai murmured to himself as the entity approached the torpedo's attack range. Without further hesitation, he aimed at the target and pressed the launch button. Whatever you are, take this first. In a mere span of seconds, the torpedo struck the target, causing the red dot on the radar to freeze momentarily. Lu Shuai let out a subtle sigh of relief, believing he had neutralized the threat. However, just a few seconds later, the red dot surged back to life, seemingly moving even faster than before. What the hell is this? Lu Shuai exclaimed in disbelief, bewildered that a single torpedo could not eliminate it. Determined to fire another torpedo, he realized that the entity had already approached within a nautical mile of the submarine. Within moments, Lu Shuai was able to discern the creature. It was a massive blue whale. This blue whale, measuring over 30 meters in length, bore a visible wound on its side, from which blood flowed profusely. Consequently, the normally docile blue whale had become exceptionally agitated, charging directly towards the submarine. What on earth? Lu Shuai exclaimed, and instinctively increased the submarine's power to evade, narrowly escaping the collision, though the whale still struck the rear of the submarine. Had it not been for the submarine's formidable construction, the impact alone could have potentially crippled both propellers. Alas, I cannot be held accountable. After all, I was unaware of the entity I faced. In a bid for self-preservation, I was left with no choice but to resort to such desperate measures. Lu Shuai muttered to himself, a grimace etched upon his face. Though he harbored no desire to confront the blue whale, the situation had escalated to an unavoidable confrontation. Thus, he redirected the submarine and prepared to launch another assault on the majestic creature, perhaps having sensed the formidable power of the previous attack. The blue whale chose not to engage head-on this time. Instead, it flicked its tail and accelerated towards the horizon with even greater speed. The torpedo grazed its body, hurtling into the distance, but as a homing missile, it quickly adjusted its course to pursue the whale once more. During this interval, the blue whale consumed a considerable number of fish, and after traversing over 10 nautical miles, it abruptly turned around and opened its mouth wide towards the torpedo. A torrent of various fish erupted forth, colliding with the missile. The whale's intention was to disrupt the torpedo, but to its astonishment, the immense pressure caused the torpedo to detonate. Chapter 202. Lu Shuai's Escape. Yichuan's intent to kill Wang Sanrui. A tremendous shockwave surged outward, palpable even to the blue whale, which had previously experienced such heat. At that moment, the whale suddenly comprehended how to counter such an assault and promptly reversed course, devouring fish along the way. Initially, Lu Shuai believed the whale had retreated for good after it had dashed over 10 nautical miles, but upon witnessing the red dot reappear, he felt on the brink of despair. This time, he resolved not to let the whale escape, loading the torpedo and locking onto his target. When the blue whale was less than 200 meters from the submarine, Lu Shuai finally pressed the launch button. As the torpedo closed the distance of 30 to 40 meters to the whale, it encountered a barrage of fish expelled by the creature, which was exerting all its strength to thwart the missile. Yet, it still fell within the explosion's gravitational range, resulting in a violent detonation. In that instant, an overwhelming force surged within a 100-meter radius, finally affecting the submarine, which was thrust backward by the powerful shockwave. The entire vessel trembled violently, causing Lu Shuai to involuntarily collapse to the floor. The blue whale bore the brunt of the explosion. Although the torpedo did not strike it directly, the sheer force of the blast propelled it several dozen meters away before it came to a halt. Enraged and faced with dire consequences, the whale prepared to charge at the submarine with ferocity. However, a dozen great white sharks, drawn by the scent of blood, converged upon the vicinity of the blue whale, each intent on attacking. Already incensed by the submarine's assault, the whale found itself besieged by these predatory newcomers. Do you think I am a sickly cat? Simply because I have not roared like a tiger? It seemed to roar in its fury. In an instant, the colossal tail of the blue whale struck fiercely against the foremost great white sharks. Two of them deftly evaded the blow, while three others were violently sent tumbling several dozen meters away, flipping over and slowly rising to the surface, lifeless. Nevertheless, the great whites did not relent. Rather, they were incited to further aggression, charging once more to engage the blue whale in a fierce struggle. Witnessing this spectacle, Lu Shuai refrained from intervening, promptly activating the submarine to swiftly distance himself from the battlefield. The creature was simply too immense, its hide thick and resilient. Even a torpedo might not severely injure it. It was best to avoid provoking such a beast. Observing the radar, Lu Shuai noted that, despite being over 10 nautical miles away, the blue whale remained stationary. He then sent a message to Yi Chuan. Brother, it's a blue whale. A torpedo struck it, inflicting merely a light wound. I launched two more, but it evaded them. Fortunately, a dozen great whites surrounded it, allowing me to slip away unnoticed. After providing Lu Shuai with weaponry, Yi Chuan had not left. Awaiting updates while monitoring the public chat room. Brothers, I am currently heading westward aboard a medium-sized attack sailboat, and I fortuitously acquired a few cannonballs. I plan to ambush the foreign island lord. Impressive. I truly envy your courage. Alas, I currently possess only a medium-sized attack sailboat without cannonballs. My most formidable weapon is a repeating crossbow. I fear I may be of little assistance. How can you say you're of no help? If used skillfully, a crossbow could also slay a foreign island lord. I suspect you lack the courage to engage. Nonsense. I simply don't know how to fight. After all, I've never experienced it. War isn't merely talk, you know? Regardless, I am hastening westward with just my medium-sized sailboat and nothing else. If necessary, I shall charge headlong into them, willing to perish together. Indeed, those who offend our China shall meet their end, no matter how distant. Upon reading Lu Shuai's message, Yi Chuan furrowed his brow. Despite having encountered various A-class marine creatures, he had yet to face a blue whale. Its combat prowess was likely formidable, at least on par with A-class beings, considering that a torpedo strike had only resulted in a light injury. Its defensive capabilities surpassed even that of the megalodon. Pondering this, Yi Chuan promptly replied, Brother, your decision is exceedingly wise. You could never hope to contend with that blue whale. I am now over 10 nautical miles away, but I fear it may pursue me after dispatching those great whites. Lu Shuai responded with a tinge of pessimism. It merely brushed against the submarine, and it nearly caused significant damage. It is truly terrifying. Do not fret, Yi Chuan reassured, transferring a diving suit. If the blue whale attacks again, launch a torpedo. Then provide me with your coordinates and immediately abandon the submarine. I will come to rescue you. Understood, Lu Shuai replied without hesitation. Contemplating the potential threat of being struck by a blue whale, Lu Shuai returned 10 missiles and 5 torpedoes to Yi Chuan, retaining only 2 torpedoes for self-preservation. Once assured that Lu Shuai was temporarily out of danger, Yi Chuan began to gather winter clothing in the public chat room, calling out for Xiao Feilong to assist him in discarding each 100 or so items into the recycling unit. After enjoying a meal of coconut chicken and coconut milk pudding at noon, he plunged back into his intense work in the afternoon. During this period, Yi Chuan had amassed a staggering quantity of supplies, numbering in the hundreds of thousands. In the novice area, and indeed throughout the entire oceanic realm, he likely ranked among the top 10 ordinary island masters, surpassed only by the most formidable and established island leaders. However, despite possessing numerous blueprints for ship construction, the Turtle Island represented the pinnacle of his naval capabilities. Apart from the 2 attack-capable medium-sized sailing vessels in the system's inventory, he was disinclined to produce additional ships. Moreover, the fleet, forged from steel and iron, could only be constructed after the novice phase concluded, rendering any fleet-building endeavors impossible for the time being. Thus, he could only accumulate these resources. Fortunately, the system's inventory allowed for unlimited accumulation of identical items, ensuring that even with hundreds of thousands of units, there was ample capacity to accommodate them, a peculiar quirk of the system. Regardless, it alleviated any concerns about storage limitations. As time progressed, the night gradually enveloped the surroundings. After 11 or 12 hours of arduous travel, the small aircraft finally reached the island where Wang Tsanrui resided. Although his super tablet had been lost, he found refuge with a foreign island master, who assigned him tasks within his capabilities. The two were now seated on a stone at the entrance, enjoying meat and drink, when Wang Tsanrui inadvertently noticed a small red dot in the sky, twinkling and slowly approaching. He furrowed his brow and asked, "Friend, is that something from your foreign region?" "I'm not quite sure," the foreign island master replied, shaking his head slightly as he retrieved a crossbow and arrows. Chapter 203. The elimination of Wang Tsanrui. Observing the curiosity yet readiness of the two, Yichuan smirked and immediately pulled the trigger aimed at Wang Tsanrui. Almost instantaneously, as the automatic shooter's barrel began to rotate, Wang Tsanrui leaped to evade the bullet, swiftly making his way toward a specific direction. The foreign island master's expression changed dramatically in that moment, raising his crossbow to fire at the small aircraft. Although Yichuan aimed to eliminate Wang Tsanrui, he was equally reluctant to see the small aircraft meet its demise, quickly maneuvering it to take cover while redirecting the weapon towards the foreign island master. The 6 crossbow bolts released by the foreign island master were shattered in an instant. Yet, the foreign island master's reflexes were equally astonishing, likely enhanced by consuming numerous high-grade items, rendering him much faster than the average individual. Goodness, they all seemed to be exceptionally swift. Yichuan was momentarily taken aback, utterly unprepared for the unexpected failure of his ambush. Dismissing the foreign island lord, he redirected his firearm towards the cowering Wang Tsanrui, who was now engulfed in sheer terror. Wang could scarcely comprehend how, after having never offended anyone in the foreign region, he suddenly found himself under attack. Earlier that morning, he had noticed a small aircraft circling the area, assuming it was merely a toy of some island lord, only to discover that this newcomer intended to bring about his demise. In a whirlwind of thoughts, Wang speculated on various possibilities, each more implausible than the last. Firmly convinced that he had not made any enemies in the foreign district. Could it be Yichuan? The more he pondered, the more plausible this theory became. As among those he knew, only Yichuan possessed the capability to craft a small aircraft capable of traversing vast distances for the purpose of confronting him. "Yichuan, you scoundrel! What enmity could we possibly have? Even under these circumstances, you wish to see me dead." As he ruminated, the sound of gunfire erupted. The automated shooter had begun firing at the rock where he had taken refuge. The aircraft continued to hover, and it was only a matter of time before he would be exposed to the shooter's line of sight. Without further hesitation, Wang steeled himself and dashed forward, even as bullets struck his calf. At the last moment, he leaped into the sea. In an instant, the water was stained crimson, and the aircraft followed him into the depths, unleashing a barrage of bullets upon the surface before slowly ascending into the sky, yet it did not depart. After all, the bullets had merely grazed his calf, insufficient to be fatal. Yichuan would not be satisfied until he witnessed Wang's demise. In this moment, Yichuan berated himself anew. Henceforth, any adversary must be eradicated completely, leaving no opportunity for reprieve, lest they conjure further troubles, potentially life-threatening ones. The foreign island lord, too, wore a grim countenance. The 6 crossbow bolts had been utterly shattered by the enemy, instilling a sense of dread as he feared becoming the next target of the automated shooter. As the saying goes, misfortune often strikes unexpectedly. Just as the foreign island lord contemplated this predicament, the small aircraft had already locked onto him. Yichuan had suddenly realized that if the island lord were to perish, the island would surely sink, leaving Wang Tsanrui no sanctuary, regardless of whether he was devoured by sharks or succumbed to drowning in the ocean. The island lord, belatedly aware of the impending danger, attempted to retreat into his quarters. But Yichuan's bullets arrived first, striking him at least 3 times as he crossed the threshold. A subsequent volley of bullets indiscriminately shattered the glass, and Yichuan settled in, patiently awaiting the outcome. After a passage of several minutes, the island gradually began to sink, ultimately disappearing after releasing a few bubbles. It was only at this moment that Wang Tsanrui emerged from the water, gasping for breath while incredulously gazing at the scene before him, contemplating how the foreign island master was surprisingly outsmarted and met his demise. Although Yichuan had also noticed Wang Sanrui, he now regarded him with indifference. For the surrounding waters were desolate for 10 nautical miles. There was no possibility of survival for him. Brother Chuan, dinner is ready. Let us eat first. At that moment, Saturday entered with a crispy fish. The aroma wafted through the air, captivating Yichuan. The preparation of the crispy fish was rather intricate. It required frying to a perfect crispiness, followed by a medley of sugar, vinegar, soy sauce, and other seasonings simmered together until the sauce thickened. The timing was crucial. A moment's negligence could hinder its crispiness. Yet, Saturday's rendition of the dish was impeccable, especially when paired with monkey wine, enhancing its unique fragrance. The group savored the meal heartily, even consuming the fish head and tail. Brother, I never imagined your servant had such culinary prowess, Liang Hongying exclaimed in disbelief. I've had crispy fish at upscale hotels, and even those 5-star chefs wouldn't dare claim superiority over her. Yichuan chuckled. Saturday was born to cook. If anyone's skills could rival hers, it would indeed be a miracle. After enjoying their meal and entertainment, everyone washed up and returned to their respective rooms. Yichuan then glanced at the messages in the public chat room. I've been rowing west nonstop for a day and a night. Why haven't I reached the barrier yet? If it's over 1,000 nautical miles, it will take at least 7 to 8 days. Do you really think this is a vacation? Bro, don't overthink it. Just keep rowing. Perhaps in 7 days, you will witness a miracle. A large attack-type sailboat is far superior. Just set the course, and it will sail with the wind. I can do anything in the cabin. It's incredibly refreshing. Stop with the sarcasm. I'm still rowing. It seemed some of these island masters were rather naive, truly believing they could reach their destination without effort. Having been here for nearly 2 months, did they still not comprehend the vastness of the novice zone? Yichuan could only shake his head in resignation before drifting into slumber. Detection of host not yet signed in. Would you like to sign in? When Yichuan opened his eyes once more, the system's voice accompanied his awakening. He immediately smiled, gazing at the ceiling, stretching lazily as he replied, sign in. Chapter 204. Relentless Pursuit. Yichuan's Decision. Sign in successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 1,000 evolution points and an evolution value gift package. Another evolution value gift package? Yichuan was somewhat taken aback. Was the system intending for him to level up completely before engaging in battle with the foreign region? In the present moment, Yichuan did not hesitate. He promptly exited the room and summoned the trio of small creatures, bestowing upon them the entirety of 18,000 points of evolution value. As the trio gradually enlarged in size, Yichuan accessed their information panel. Name, Albatross level, 11, mature stage, evolution value, 7,000 skills, diving talents, capable of grasping objects weighing 210 kilograms, fiery feather arrows, 11 units, ascending with passengers. Talents, diving, fish catching, flight, long-distance sailing. Albatross evolution complete. Congratulations to the host for upgrading the pet to level 11 and receiving an upgrade gift package. Would you like to open it? Albatross evolution complete. Congratulations to the host for upgrading the pet to level 11 and receiving an upgrade gift package. Would you like to open it? Simultaneously, the system's voice chimed in, and Yichuan promptly responded, open all. Congratulations, host, for acquiring 1,000 growth points, 26 wooden planks, 17 stones, and 7 blueprints for automatic shooters. Congratulations, host, for acquiring 1,000 growth points, 22 plastics, 13 glasses, and 5 blueprints for small aircraft. Congratulations, host, for acquiring 1,000 growth points, 31 stones, 17 metal sheets, and 10 kilograms of premium pork. Yichuan could not help but smile. He had not anticipated that the upgrade package would include blueprints for small aircraft and automatic shooters. These items would prove invaluable in future battles. However, he decided to temporarily set the blueprints aside, choosing not to utilize them immediately. It would be prudent to wait until the combat commenced. After enjoying breakfast, not long after, a submarine surfaced a mere 3 to 4 meters away from Turtle Island. Lu Shuai quickly exited the submarine, calling out loudly, brother, have we arrived so soon? Yichuan's expression shifted. At that moment, a dolphin leapt from the water, signaling an alert, and Lu Shuai shouted, brother, that blue whale is pursuing us again. What? Yichuan was taken aback and swiftly stored the submarine in the system's inventory, simultaneously gesturing for the dolphin to escort Lu Shuai to the shore. Almost simultaneously, Yichuan felt a slight tremor beneath Turtle Island. He immediately employed the same eye transmission technique and beheld the enormous blue whale, which indeed measured over 30 meters in length, bearing several shallow yet noticeable wounds, exuding an air of menace. It was clear that its recent collision with the turtle had caused the tremors. A powerful impact. Yichuan commanded, then inquired, "Had you not already evaded this creature? How did it manage to track you down here? I thought I had shaken it off, but this morning it surprisingly caught up with me. Fortunately, I managed to launch my last 2 torpedoes, temporarily repelling it twice. However, it continued to follow closely, ultimately leading it here. Thankfully, you and the submarine are unharmed, which is more important than anything else. Leave this blue whale to me." As Yichuan spoke, he observed the turtle cascading down from a height of 1 meter. The blue whale, upon encountering such a colossal sea turtle for the first time, was astounded and immediately launched an attack. In the split second that the turtle collided with it, the whale retaliated with a forceful strike to the turtle's abdomen. The impact was thunderous as the 2 titans clashed, resulting in the whale being forcefully propelled back into the depths of the ocean by the turtle's immense weight. Yichuan swiftly employed the remaining 5 S-class items, initially believing that the whale would be rendered unconscious by the force of the impact. To his astonishment, the blue whale remained vibrant and vigorous, albeit with an increased flow of blood from its wounds. How resilient! Yichuan was taken aback. This was the first time he had witnessed such vitality following a devastating collision. The creature's toughness was truly remarkable. In the next instant, Yichuan recalled the giant automatic fishing gun. When confronting the Zhonglong previously, 2 torpedoes had proven ineffective, and it was the massive fishing gun that had ultimately triumphed. Resolving not to hesitate, he approached the formidable weapon and began to operate it swiftly. Upon identifying the target, he pressed the button. The 5-meter-long harpoon shot forth once more, striking true, with at least half of it embedding itself into the whale's tail, causing the barbs to extend. This was undoubtedly exacerbating the whale's injuries. Ignoring its wounds, it plunged deeper into the ocean, and after 2,000 meters, the reinforced steel cable became taut. Remarkably, the creature's immense strength seemed to tug the turtle forward until it finally regained its position by moving its limbs. "This does not bode well," the little dragon remarked solemnly, recognizing that this creature was far more terrifying than the previous Zhonglong. "We must resort to torpedoes." After contemplating briefly, Yichuan called out to the dolphin and promptly joined the little dragon and Lu Shuai in the submarine, descending rapidly into the water. As Yichuan took aim and pressed the launch button, the dolphin unleashed a sonic disruption aimed at the blue whale. In that fleeting moment, even though the whale had detected the torpedo, the sonic interference caused it to halt. It was during this critical interval that the torpedo struck the whale with a resounding impact, intensifying its thrashing and placing an even greater strain on the now straightened reinforced steel cable. With a soft pop, the cable finally snapped. "Incredible!" Yichuan exclaimed, incredulous. After all, this giant automatic fishing gun had previously proven its worth, and now it had been so easily severed. It was utterly absurd. "System, can missiles be launched underwater?" Yichuan inquired with a heavy tone. "In theory, yes, but the power of missiles exceeds that of torpedoes. Please exercise caution," the system promptly responded. "Little dragon, you too. Load a missile," Yichuan commanded without a moment's hesitation. The 2 exchanged glances and hurried to reload, while Yichuan had already locked onto his target. After confirming that the missile was ready, he pressed the launch button without hesitation. The missile surged forth, trailing a dense stream of bubbles, its speed far surpassing that of a torpedo. Despite the grievous wound inflicted by the torpedo, the blue whale, feeling cornered, was reluctant to confront the cunning humans head-on. It yearned only to recover swiftly before seeking vengeance. However, it soon sensed the approaching missile and, reverting to its earlier tactic, consumed a multitude of fish before abruptly turning to spit them towards the missile. Yet the missile remained unfazed by the fish, instead plunging directly into its gaping maw. In the next moment, a colossal explosion reverberated across a 1,000-meter radius. The immense blue whale's belly erupted, sending flesh and blood flying in a gruesome spectacle. The blast generated towering waves, soaring 100 meters high, which were soon countered by the sea turtle's application of absolute gravity, quelling the tumultuous waters. Fortunately, after launching the missile, Yichuan promptly maneuvered the submarine towards the surface. Once ashore, he immediately stowed it away. Otherwise, even with the sea turtle's absolute gravity, the submarine would likely have succumbed to destruction, for the missile's explosive power was truly terrifying. What a close call. It was only at that moment that Lu Shuai collapsed onto the ground, gasping for breath as he recalled the harrowing events of the past 2 days. Nearly moved to tears. "All dangers have now passed. On Turtle Island, we have nothing to fear," Xiao Feilong reassured him. "Allow me to introduce, this is Xiao Feilong, and this is Lu Shuai, both of whom are my subordinate island lords. Yichuan promptly facilitated introductions among the three, recognizing that they would need to work together on the same island. Indeed, teamwork. Lu Shuai nodded vigorously. Brother, we are currently in the novice phase, and the novice zone cannot connect with the outside world. Otherwise, I would directly contribute a fleet to you, as if anyone could just contribute a fleet. At that moment, Liang Hongying and another approached. This is Liang Hongying, and this is Blueberry Jam, alongside Lu Shuai. Yichuan introduced the trio once again. Beautiful lady, will you also contribute a fleet? Lu Shuai inquired politely, nodding slightly towards Liang Hongying. Believe me, without the support of our elder brother, we would likely have perished on our island, Liang Hongying remarked coolly. Contributing a fleet to our elder brother is only natural. After all, we ventured into this oceanic world in search of valuable resources to strengthen our family. Now that we have the formidable support of our elder brother, seeking resources becomes significantly easier. Unbeknownst to others, Liang Hongying had previously sustained grave injuries. Had it not been for Yichuan's S-grade freshwater, she might have long since perished. To voice such sentiments now is undoubtedly heartfelt. Lu Shuai and Xiao Feilong, their eyes gleaming with enthusiasm, nodded in agreement. Indeed, a superfleet composed solely of the three of us could gallivant across the open seas, not to mention our elder brother's colossal mobile island. As I reflected on these words, I found myself yearning for a future filled with maritime adventures. Unable to contain his excitement, Lu Shuai rubbed his hands together and chuckled. From this moment on, I feel as though we have not come to the oceanic realm merely to survive, but truly to indulge in a holiday. My friend, allow me to first show you your quarters. Xiao Feilong laughed heartily, pulling Lu Shuai along to inspect his room. At that moment, Blueberry Jam timidly interjected, Brother, while I may not be able to support your fleet, I can contribute financially towards its establishment. Once we can communicate with the outside world, I will bring live streaming equipment to the sea, enabling us to earn a considerable income daily. Do as you wish, and do not feel compelled to compete with them. Yichuan chuckled. Though Blueberry Jam often seemed somewhat ineffectual, akin to a mere ornament, the power she wielded behind the scenes was not to be underestimated. This is the strength of capital. At noon, in honor of Lu Shuai's arrival, Saturday prepared a feast of braised ribs, lychee mushroom soup, and sautéed snake meat, accompanied by monkey wine, resulting in a delightful revelry. Even Liang Hongying, typically aloof, displayed uncharacteristic exuberance, embracing Blueberry Jam and showering her with compliments about her beauty, rendering Blueberry Jam so startled that she dared not move. Indeed, when women indulge in mischief, they can be far more formidable than men. Upon awakening, the sky was nearly shrouded in darkness. Yichuan could not help but grimace. Such reckless drinking could not continue, as he had lost all awareness of his surroundings. What if enemies were to confront him at that moment? It would spell disaster. A grave misstep, indeed. Fortunately, Saturday prepared only a modest meal for dinner, merely sautéing some bird meat, and after a light repast, the group settled down to watch an action-packed film. This astonished Lu Shuai immensely. After all, with 5 rooms and 2 halls, running water, electricity, and the luxury of bathing and watching television, how did this differ from life on land? While others struggled on small islands, their elder brother had fully embraced modernity. Was this the disparity between people? As evening descended, the group began to wash up and retire to their beds. Yichuan seized the opportunity to check the messages in the public chat room. Attention, everyone. It seems a strong wind is beginning to blow, and the waves on the sea have surged. Please do not be swept away. Especially those brothers who have ventured out in small boats. My friends, are you dreaming? There is not a whisper of wind here. It could be described as utterly calm. How could there possibly be great waves? Moreover, why would I deceive you? What do you possess that is worthy of my deceit? Besides, I am warning everyone, not just you. If you do not believe it, so be it. The turbulent waves are of little concern. As long as they are not as terrifying as the initial tsunamis encountered in the novice zone, all will be well. The balance of the oceanic realm has tipped in our favor, and I firmly believe that such tumultuous storms will be less frequent. In light of this, Yichuan nodded in agreement. The last tsunami had prompted a warning from the system, yet this time it remained silent, suggesting that even if tempests arise, they shall not bear the catastrophic weight of destruction. Moreover, what was destined to come has already arrived, while the threats yet to surface remain beneath the ocean's depths, untouched and inconsequential to my concerns. At that moment, Yichuan reclined, contemplating the trajectory of the future. Since the oceanic world underwent its grand transformation and fissures became prevalent, barriers that were supposed to vanish after 4 months had already dissipated in just over 2 months. Does this imply that the interface for the novice zone's world passage will be reduced from 6 months to 3? If that is indeed the case, Then, following the conclusion of this battle, the pursuit of marine resources must take precedence. Currently, I have already discovered combustible ice, phosphorus, and high-grade iron ore with an abundance rating of 83, as well as gold ore capable of yielding 7 kilograms per ton. This is merely within the Jiuzhou region. Vast foreign territories remain unexplored. When the time comes, if I assist my companions in acquiring their own mineral resources, I shall gain a fleet and wealth, alleviating the need for laborious mining or seeking buyers. What a splendid win-win scenario. Yichuan couldn't help but smile, feeling that this plan was indeed feasible. Lost in these thoughts, he eventually drifted into slumber. Chapter 206. The Assault of the Phantom Bats. Arrival on the island. Detection indicates the host has not yet signed in. Would you like to sign in? Upon awakening, the system's voice had just concluded. Yichuan promptly replied, sign in. Sign in successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 1,000 evolution points and an evolution value gift package. To my surprise, receiving evolution value packages for 3 consecutive days indicates that the system is intent on facilitating my level up prior to battle. At this moment, if Yichuan were still oblivious, he would be quite foolish. If this holds true, it seems highly probable that tomorrow will bring yet another evolution value package. I shall focus on upgrading my turtle today and my dolphin tomorrow, collecting both upgrade packages simultaneously. How delightful that would be. With this thought, Yichuan immediately allocated 14,000 evolution points to his sea turtle and promptly accessed its information panel. Island Master. Yichuan type. Sea turtle level. 12,016,000. Skills. Water bullet. Intermediate. Reverse flow. Intermediate. Absolute gravity. 2,000 tons. Talents. Longevity. Rapid healing. Crawling. This time, the enhancement of absolute gravity by 500 tons is quite commendable. Furthermore, Yichuan harbored a strong premonition that tomorrow's upgrade package would undoubtedly contain remarkable treasures, and he eagerly anticipated what was to come. Until everything was completed, Yichuan finally pushed open the door, and a powerful gust of wind nearly swept him off his feet. It was only then that he noticed the tumultuous waves on the sea. Although they were considerably smaller than the previous tsunami, the ferocity of the accompanying hurricane made them appear quite fearsome. Fortunately, the structures such as the plants, sheepfold, and chicken coop were relatively sturdy. Otherwise, merely the force of this wind could have wreaked havoc upon them. I recall checking the public chat room last night, and I too thought that person was spouting nonsense. But it seems they were not lying at all. At this moment, the little dragon also arrived in the living room, and the wind was at least a force of 9. With conditions like this, it seemed unlikely that any tasks could be accomplished. Lu Shuai peered out, shaking his head slightly as he remarked, "It's tough. Brother Chuan, are you all awake?" At that moment, Saturday emerged from the kitchen, announcing, "I've prepared pizza, pork chops, and goat's milk with the resources at hand. It will be ready shortly." "Brother, this chef is truly considerate," Lu Shuai exclaimed, awestruck. "To be honest, I believe you might have noticed as well. I've gained at least 10 pounds since our last meeting. With brother taking care of us, it would be an affront not to gain weight." The little dragon chuckled. "Unfortunately, I am the type who can eat without gaining weight. Otherwise, I'd have put on over 10 pounds as well. Haha. Tone it down a bit. If other island owners hear you, a mere spit from each could drown you," Yichuan retorted, handing over 3 portions as he traded with Zhao Feiyu and the others, simultaneously inquiring, "How long until we arrive?" "If all goes well, we should get there by tomorrow morning," Zhao Feiyu responded. "We are currently facing a countercurrent, which has nearly halved our speed. Otherwise, we could have reached there by this evening." "That's fine. I'm not in a hurry and have been waiting for you," Yichuan replied before heading over to the coffee table to eat. Zhao Feiyu and his companions quickly finished their meal, glancing anxiously at the opposing current. "Brother Feiyu, what is going on?" "I'm not entirely sure. We seem to have encountered a warm current in the sea," Zhao Feiyu said gravely. "In this situation, we are effectively rowing upstream. Can't we circumvent it?" Lu Yue suggested. "Of course, but we do not know the width of this warm current. If we spend a long time attempting to navigate around it without success, it would be a waste of time," Zhao Feiyu patiently explained. "That does seem to be the case," the 2 women admitted, sticking out their tongues in embarrassment. "Attention!" At that moment, Zhao Feiyu suddenly called out sharply. The 2 women were taken aback, and then they saw a dense swarm of fish rushing towards them from the front, some even colliding with the submarine's glass, causing it to tremble violently. Had Zhao Feiyu not quickly grabbed the 2 women, they would have surely fallen hard to the floor. What is happening? Despite being merely palm-sized fish, their sheer number and frantic behavior instilled a sense of fear. Zhao Feiyu, with a grave expression, shook his head and promptly prepared the torpedoes and missiles, silently gazing ahead, ready to strike at a moment's notice. Soon, a A colossal fish, resembling a bat, swiftly swam towards them, startling Lu Yewei, who exclaimed, "Goodness, what an unsightly creature. That is a ghost bat, scientifically known as the double-lipped manta ray. It has a rather gentle disposition, so do not be afraid," Zhao Feiyu explained with a smile. "It must be hunting small fish." However, just as he finished speaking, the ghost bat collided forcefully with the submarine, causing it to tremble violently. The two women, who had narrowly escaped earlier, ultimately fell to the ground. "Brother Feiyu, didn't you say it was gentle? Why did it attack us?" Lu Yi asked timidly. Zhao Feiyu, feeling somewhat awkward, scratched his head and speculated. Perhaps this creature's temperament has changed due to the alterations in the novice zone. With that, he swiftly maneuvered the submarine to retreat. Meanwhile, the ghost bat curled into a tubular shape and charged at the submarine with increased speed. "It seems I have no choice but to eliminate you," Zhao Feiyu mused, shaking his head slightly as he aimed at the target and pressed the button, launching a torpedo that trailed a long line of bubbles toward the ghost bat. Despite its immense size and weight, the ghost bat was obliterated, losing half its body to the torpedo's might, and, propelled by the warm currents, it veered away from the submarine. At last, the chaotic scene ahead settled with the demise of the ghost bat. Lu Yi and her companion could not help but breathe a sigh of relief. The ocean truly holds everything. Who would have imagined such a hideous creature could exist? Zhao Feiyu remarked, chuckling heartily. The ocean is indeed far more frightening than the land. Due to the tempestuous weather, the group remained indoors that day, indulging in television, music videos, and karaoke, enjoying a well-deserved day of rest. However, after dinner, Yichuan suddenly heard the alert call of a dolphin. Why would the dolphin still be signaling at this hour? He wondered, promptly employing the same eye transmission technique to observe a large ship in the distance, hastily heading westward. It appeared to alter its course upon spotting Turtle Island, now merely 100 meters away. Indeed, a tall tree attracts the wind. Yichuan remarked helplessly, calling out, "Little Filong, Lu Shuai, there's a ship headed straight for us. We must go out and prevent them from landing on the island." Chapter 207, The Counterattack. What? Upon hearing this, the two immediately drew their crossbows and followed swiftly. Liang Hongying, upon hearing Yichuan's voice, furrowed her brow and also rushed outside. The moon shone brightly, illuminating the vast ocean, and they could see a large ship rapidly approaching, now a mere 100 meters from Turtle Island. Liang Hongying, wielding a bow, shot a crossbow bolt onto the deck of the ship. On the deck, several individuals were gazing at the colossal Turtle Island, preparing to embark upon it for inspection. Suddenly, a sound pierced the air, and upon closer inspection, they discovered an arrow. One person furrowed their brow, remarking, "It seems the inhabitants of the island are rather unfriendly. We have more than 10 of us here. Are we to fear their hostility?" Scoffed a short-haired woman. "Should they dare to attack us, we shall obliterate their island. Indeed, during our journey, we have conquered several islands. Which island's lord has not bowed to us?" Chimed in a shorter companion, nodding vigorously. "Though this island is quite large, it is ultimately just an island. What is so remarkable about it?" "Full speed ahead," responded the first individual, nodding slightly before bellowing loudly. "You have entered private territory. Cease your actions, or we shall retaliate," shouted the little dragon, his brow furrowed, towards the large vessel. "It appears these fellows are resolutely intent on landing," Yichuan said with a slight shake of his head, speaking calmly. "I shall not yield." The turtle began to rise slowly, soaring a meter higher before crashing back into the sea. In that instant, a massive wave surged forth, accompanied by tumultuous waters, crashing against the surroundings. Moments later, the sturdy ship collided with the towering waves, and despite the favorable winds, it was violently shoved backward. The vessel shook violently, drenching several individuals in the splashing waves. And one was even thrown overboard when the ship lurched unexpectedly. "Damn it, there's no way to rescue him. What on earth just happened? How could such a colossal wave appear out of nowhere?" The short-haired woman exclaimed incredulously. "That question, I fear, no one can answer," the man beside her responded solemnly. "However, I have a nagging suspicion that the island is behind this, though I cannot fathom how they conjured such a wave. Should we still proceed?" The short-haired woman inquired softly. "Of course. Now that we are here, how could we possibly refrain from landing?" The man replied, shrugging. "This island likely harbors a wealth of resources. If we can seize it, we shall prosper. What if we simply bombard them?" The short-haired woman pondered before declaring, "We possess 13 shells. Using just 3 should suffice to subdue them. Let us take action." The man considered her words, nodded decisively, and began to mobilize. Minutes later, as the ship remained still, Lu Shuai could no longer contain his curiosity. Are they contemplating a retreat? If they intended to leave, they would have departed long ago. Why would they linger? Liang Hongying replied irritably. They are likely devising a strategy to land, but have yet to finalize their plan. Suddenly, a thunderous boom resonated, and to their astonishment, the large ship pivoted, aiming its cannon at Turtle Island, and fired a shell. Wow! Exclaimed Lu Shuai, unable to contain his astonishment at the unfolding scene. At this moment, the sea turtle finally raised its head and unleashed a water projectile towards the cannonball, resulting in a spectacular collision mid-air, causing the projectile to explode like a brilliant firework blooming between a ship and an island. What is this? How could the cannonball detonate in mid-air? The short-haired woman's expression changed drastically. She had not noticed the turtle's momentary movement and assumed that the projectile had simply fallen short, contemplating urging the large ship to advance further. The sea turtle, however, raised its head once more, launching another water projectile that struck the hull of the ship directly. A thunderous roar ensued, causing the entire vessel to tremble violently, and to her horror, a large hole was blasted into one side of the ship. Fortunately, it was still a considerable distance from the water's surface, thus preventing the immediate risk of sinking. Damn it! The short-haired woman scrambled to her feet and rushed to take a look, quickly finding the captain. Brother, we are under attack. There's a massive hole in the ship. I know, he replied grimly. It seems the enemy possesses formidable weaponry. Although our ship is large, we are utterly incapable of contending with such a colossal force. I believe it would be prudent for us to retreat. Brother, are you seriously considering backing down? The short-haired woman gazed at him in disbelief. We are not without cannonballs. If we seize this island, what does it matter if we do not resist the Western District? With this island as our stronghold, even if foreign forces infiltrate the Kyushu region, we will still possess the strength to fight back. You make a valid point. The captain stroked his chin thoughtfully before resolutely deciding to utilize all 12 remaining cannonballs to secure the island. With that, he dashed off to assign tasks. Wait, it seems they still have no intention of leaving? A few observers noted the ship's steadfastness. Big brother, should I head to the mountaintop and bombard them? No need. Yichuan replied with a smile, shaking his head. The sea turtle once again swung its head, launching another water projectile that connected with the already created hole, finally reaching sea level. In an instant, water surged rapidly into the ship's cabin. The captain, still unprepared with the cannonballs, sensed the ominous descent and his face paled. Everyone, hurry, let us secure the island before the ship sinks. Accompanied by his command, 4 cannons on one side of the ship simultaneously fired their projectiles towards Turtle Island. The sea turtle sprang into action, creating tremendous waves that rose skyward, intercepting the 4 cannonballs. In the next moment, all 4 projectiles detonated amid the waves. The captain's face turned ashen as he rubbed his eyes in disbelief, exclaiming, "How is this possible? Did I just see that island float? Brother, what nonsense are you talking? Hurry and load the cannons to attack. The ship has already sunk about half a meter." The short-haired woman urged anxiously. "Rest assured, I am aware of what to do," the captain replied, once again rallying the crew. At last, the little dragon, under Yi Chuan's directive, ascended to the summit, swiftly loading the cannon and aiming it at the grand ship. Chapter 208. Sinking the great ship and unveiling a hidden mission. Commence. Observing the ship's obstinate resolve to strike once more, Yi Chuan ultimately issued the combat order. The little dragon grinned, having already zeroed in on one of the ship's cannons, and decisively pulled the trigger. In that fleeting moment, the cannonball surged forth, directly striking a cannon, resulting in a thunderous explosion. The cannon had already been loaded, triggering a chain reaction and causing yet another detonation. In an instant, the ship was left with a gaping crater measuring 5 to 6 meters. A splinter of wood, propelled by the blast, pierced the thigh of the short-haired woman, eliciting excruciating cries. "Brother, kill them! Kill them! What kind of cannonballs are they using?" The captain gazed in disbelief at Turtle Island, having completely abandoned any thoughts of capturing it. After all, his own cannonballs had proven futile, while his ship bore the scars of battle. What a disgrace! Immediately, the captain set about repairing the damage with planks and other materials, intending to distance his vessel from the island. Meanwhile, the little dragon unleashed 2 more cannonballs, this time targeting the lower hull of the ship. The freshly patched gash was once again blasted open, and with consecutive strikes, one side of the hull was utterly obliterated, causing the entire vessel to tilt precariously. Damn it! They have no intention of letting us escape. The captain's face turned ashen as he glared at the short-haired woman, akin to a man confronting a sworn enemy. How could I possibly know such a wretch as you? If you hadn't incessantly urged me to attack them, none of this would have transpired, and my ship would not be sinking. Brother, even in this dire situation, instead of protecting me, you're cursing me? The short-haired woman gazed at the captain in disbelief. I'm not your brother. Go to hell. Enraged, the captain seized the short-haired woman and hurled her overboard. Bang! 2 more resounding explosions ensued, undoubtedly exacerbating the plight of the already precarious ship. Any further attempts to repair it with planks and resources seemed utterly futile. Who could have foreseen such a turn of events? Curse it! The captain, now climbing the mast, gazed at the ship, which had already succumbed to 2/3 of the sea, tears welling up at the corners of his eyes as he looked toward the direction of the island, ultimately plunging into the depths alongside his vessel. A multitude of living souls ended thus. How lamentable! Blueberry Jam observed the unfolding scene and couldn't he help but sigh softly. Brother, why don't we save them? Have you lost your mind? Liang Hongying shot a perplexed look at Blueberry Jam. These people have attacked us time and again. My brother has given them 2 chances. They squandered them. Who can be blamed for that? But there are no buts. Those who pose a threat to us are enemies and must be eradicated. This is the law of the maritime world. Blueberry Jam had a few words to say, but was promptly rebuffed by Miss Liang Hongying, leaving Blueberry Jam's face ashen with embarrassment, prompting a hasty retreat back to her room. This Miss Liang is truly a person of strong character. Lu Shuai couldn't help but give Liang Hongying a thumbs up. After all, such boldness and candor are rare qualities in a woman. That's enough. Everything has concluded. Let us retire for the night. Yi Chuan chuckled, instructing the dolphin not to leave any stragglers behind, before calling everyone back to their rooms. At this moment, Yi Chuan finally had the opportunity to glance at the messages in the public chat room. Brothers, has anyone been swept away by the storm? If so, give a shout. Are you foolish? If one were dead, how could they shout? Do you think you're a messenger from the underworld? I'm merely trying to lighten the mood with a joke. Why take it so seriously? I'm currently piloting a medium-sized attack sailboat heading west. I estimate it will take 3 or 4 days to arrive. I just wonder if this fierce battle with the foreign region will come to fruition. What is fated cannot be avoided. Let us adopt a more optimistic outlook. There is no useful information here. Yi Chuan decided to disregard it, turning off the lights and retiring for the night. The following morning, Yi Chuan awoke leisurely, glancing at the time and estimating that the system's notification sound had just passed. Filled with anticipation, he spoke. Sign in. Sign in successful. Congratulations, host. You have obtained 1,000 evolution points and an evolution points gift package. The system's voice followed. Indeed. Yi Chuan laughed heartily. This was the 4th consecutive day receiving an evolution points gift package. It appeared the system was becoming quite generous with the evolution points. Eagerly accepting the gift, he stepped outside and summoned the dolphin, allocating the 7,000 evolution points to it. As the dolphin grew larger, Yi Chuan immediately accessed its information panel. Name, Dolphin Friendliness, 100 level, 12 evolution points, 8,000 skills, Sonic Disruption, Intermediate, Absolute Impact, Intermediate, Synaptic Transfer, 20s. Talent, Deep Dive, 2,400 meters. Note, Absolute Impact allows the dolphin to attack with its head, with an impact strength equivalent to 3,000 pounds of force. Sonic Disruption can perform a sonic attack on all entities within a 150-meter range, disrupting their actions. Dolphin upgrade complete. Congratulations, host. Your contracted beast has leveled up to level 12 and received an upgrade gift package. Would you like to open it? Just as Yi Chuan finished reading the information panel, the system's voice chimed in again. Yi Chuan promptly replied, Open it. Upgrade gift package opening. Please wait. Congratulations, host. You have received 1,000 growth points, 20 mixed grain pancakes, 5 A-grade avocados, and 1 miniature submarine manufacturing blueprint. Another batch of avocados. And now a submarine manufacturing blueprint could be produced. The speed of the rewards indeed remained impressive. The island upgrade has been completed. Congratulations, host. Your island has been upgraded to level 12, and you have received an upgrade gift package. Would you like to open it? Following that, the upgrade gift package for Turtle Island arrived. Yi Chuan rubbed his hands together and promptly declared, Open it. Opening. Congratulations. The host has obtained 2,000 growth points, 6 A-grade avocados, 9 medium nutrient solutions, and 1 absolute defense. I knew I would receive something wonderful. I never anticipated acquiring another absolute defense. Yi Chuan snapped his fingers and burst into laughter. This effectively granted Turtle Island 2 additional lives. Delightful. A hidden task has been discovered. Would the host like to accept it? Just as Yi Chuan was reveling in his good fortune, the system's voice echoed for the 3rd time. Yi Chuan's expression shifted. Another hidden task? What kind of hidden task is this? He grinned and inquired immediately. Hidden task. The host must eliminate 30 foreign island masters within 1 week and acquire 100,000 units of various basic resources. A generous reward will be granted upon completion. Would you like to accept? 30 foreign island masters. Yichuan scoffed. I could easily take down 300. Accepted. Detection confirms that the host has accepted the hidden task. Please complete it as soon as possible. The system promptly replied, with 7 days to accomplish the task. And with Zhao Feiyu and the others arriving today, Yichuan set off westward. It would take only 3 to 4 days to reach the barrier. By then, the battle would likely have commenced. If everything goes smoothly, the hidden task could be completed in a day, right? This hidden task seems considerably simpler than the previous ones. He gazed at the distant woods, which had expanded significantly overnight, now occupying 1/3 of the island's area. Lush and verdant, it exuded an eerie ambience, resembling a vast trap, waiting for Yichuan to step in. What is this? Yichuan squinted, sensing that there were eyes lurking within the depths of the forest, watching him. Ultimately, he withdrew his gaze and glanced at the small mountain. Its length remained unchanged, but its height had increased by around 20 meters, now standing approximately 80 meters tall. Notably, the mountain spring on one side had nearly doubled in thickness. Besides the water flowing into the pipes, everything else cascaded into the sea, which made Yichuan feel a pang of regret. It seems he would need to consider whether to develop it into spring water. With the resources in hand, they could certainly fetch a high price, especially after the novice area opens. Exchanging every 50 kilograms of spring water for 500 g of S-grade freshwater to sell to the wealthy on Blue Star would surely cause money to flow into his pockets. The thought alone brought him joy. Chuan Go, it's time to eat. Just as Yichuan was daydreaming about the future, Saturday approached with a large basin of white substance. Today, I made avocado smoothie. It tastes delightful. Quite nice. It smells fragrant. Yichuan chuckled heartily, patting Saturday on the shoulder. Well done. Please divide it into 8 portions, and I'll enjoy it later. Okay, Chuan Go. Upon the conclusion of Saturday's discussions, he promptly entered the living room. Yichuan, rubbing his hands together, proceeded to open the supply box. As noon approached, accompanied by a gentle clattering sound, the submarine emerged from the depths of the water. Zhao Feiyu, accompanied by 2 enchanting ladies, ascended from the submarine and leaped onto the island. The moment they beheld the island, their mouths agape in astonishment. They realized that despite their efforts to overestimate the grandeur of Yichuan's island, they had still underestimated its vastness. It spanned over 10,000 square meters, and the environment was strikingly beautiful. One of the ladies was lounging on a beach chair, sipping coconut juice while enjoying the scenery. At last, the 3 of you have arrived. Yichuan exclaimed heartily, emerging from his room to give Zhao Feiyu a warm embrace. My brother, I knew your island was large, but I never anticipated such luxury. Zhao Feiyu remarked with admiration. This isn't merely a survival endeavor. You are here for a vacation, truly deserving of your title as the top student in the school. In comparison, we seem utterly insignificant. Louis added, taking a deep breath. Had I known you were living such a splendid life, I would have come to seek your company much sooner. Ha ha ha. It's never too late to join the fun now. Yichuan chuckled, perfect timing, as Saturday is almost ready with lunch. Now that all our friends are gathered, we shall prepare a grand feast to welcome you. Let us not make it overly complicated. Lu Yue interjected playfully, rushing over to embrace Yichuan. Thank you, big brother. Let us not be overly courteous. We are like family. Yichuan waved his hands dismissively. Since everyone has arrived on this island, we must unite for the sake of our 9 provinces, for the resources of the novice zone, and most importantly, for our future. Indeed, we must stand together. Zhao Feiyu inhaled deeply, his tone turning serious. With Brother Ye's island as our platform, our fleet shall undoubtedly dominate the entire novice zone and subsequently extend to the vast seas. Heh. The 4 of us have already decided to consolidate our fleets once the novice period concludes, Xiao Feilong chuckled. Excellent notion. I can also contribute a fleet from my end. 5 fleets combined would form a medium-sized fleet, capable of navigating the outer seas with ease. Zhao Feiyu's expression shifted with excitement. I can support with a fleet as well. Lu Yue chimed in timidly, raising her hand. Only Lu Yi appeared somewhat awkward, murmuring softly, I lack the capability, but I can lend my strength. Not a problem. Stick with Brother Chuan, and I guarantee you will enjoy the finest delicacies. Yichuan replied, bursting into laughter. It is essential to recognize that among millions of island masters, only a few 100,000 remain, and those qualified and capable of forming fleets are exceedingly rare. With the assistance of the system, he had managed to find only high-quality island masters capable of establishing fleets. 7 fleets, each comprising roughly 15 to 20 warships, equated to a formidable armada of 100 warships, complemented by a sea turtle equivalent to a super aircraft carrier. Once they reached the open seas, he would undoubtedly emerge as a powerful force. Exhilarating. After Yichuan retracted the submarine, he proceeded to allocate the rooms. Blueberry Jam shared a room with Liang Hongying, while Lu Yi roomed with Lu Yi. Yichuan and Zhao Feiyu occupied 2 separate rooms, and Lu Shuai paired with Xiao Feilong in 2 rooms adjacent to the dining area. No one voiced any objections to these arrangements. Almost immediately after the allocations, on Saturday, with Friday's assistance, the dishes began to be served, astonishing Zhao Feiyu and the others. After all, 2 robots were attending to Yichuan's every need, a level of treatment not afforded to ordinary individuals. During the welcoming banquet, everyone finally became acquainted. After a few rounds of drinks, the men embraced each other as brothers, while the women became close friends, all enjoying a harmonious atmosphere centered around Yichuan as they engaged in lively conversation. The group of 8 consumed over 10 jin of monkey wine and feasted for more than 2 hours. Fortunately, Yichuan managed to moderate his intake this time and did not overindulge. He stepped outside the fragrant grass circle, quietly observing the woods. At that moment, Zhao Feiyu approached leisurely and stood alongside Yichuan, remarking, "The forest on this island is surprisingly vast. Each time my island expands, the woods increase by 400 to 500 square meters and undergo a refreshing evolution. Last time, we encountered leveled wolves and jackals. I wonder what formidable creatures will emerge this time. Rather than speculate here, wouldn't it be wiser to venture in and see?" Zhao Feiyu proposed. "If there are B-class terrestrial creatures, they could prove quite challenging to defeat." Yichuan responded earnestly, "With the 2 of us, and those 2 brothers, why worry so much?" Zhao Feiyu chuckled. Indeed, Yichuan reflected, realizing the truth in his words. After all, they had consumed so much A-class liquid, their physical capabilities had been significantly enhanced. Could they not contend with a single beast? "Let us go," Yichuan resolved. Chapter 210, B-class terrestrial creature, the lion in an instant. Yichuan and Zhao Feiyu stepped into the forest. Lu Shuai, Xiao Feilong, and Liang Hongying followed suit, with Liang Hongying, reeking of alcohol, exclaiming, "Big brother, how could we not join in on this forest adventure? Ha ha ha, let us all go." Yichuan laughed heartily, leading the 4 into the woods. Meanwhile, Friday and the 3 small ones trailed leisurely behind. Friday remained relatively rational, recognizing that this was the first time the 5 brothers would collaborate in combat and should observe from a distance, intervening only when necessary. As the 5 advanced over 200 meters, Zhao Feiyu suddenly gestured for them to halt. The 4 immediately stopped, curious as they looked at Zhao Feiyu. Taking a deep breath, he surveyed the surroundings and whispered, "There's the scent of a fierce beast, perhaps something akin to a lion?" "A lion?" Yichuan was taken aback. Previously, neither tigers nor brown bears had been classified at this level, yet now they were faced with a lion? Strictly speaking, in terms of solitary combat, lions were somewhat inferior to tigers. Could a lion truly be classified? But this is a forest. How could a lion appear here? Lu Shuai questioned, skeptical. Here lies the ocean world, an environment that feels somewhat discordant with the outside realm. Previously, hyenas had made their appearance. "And I believe the emergence of a lion should pose no issue," commented Yichuan with a shrug. "Indeed, the ocean world cannot be measured by conventional means," Liang Hongying remarked as she brandished a machete. "Everyone be cautious. The forest is not vast, and they cannot be far from us," Zhao Feiyu cautioned, unsheathing a short blade. In an instant, the atmosphere grew grave, and their movements slowed to a deliberate pace. After advancing approximately 50 meters, Zhao Feiyu signaled for the group to halt. His gaze fixated ahead without a blink. Moments later, with a swift whoosh, a colossal male lion burst forth from the underbrush, charging fiercely towards Yichuan with the speed of an arrow released from its bow. Fortunately, it had chosen Yichuan as its target rather than another, for as the most agile among them, Yichuan adeptly tracked the lion's trajectory and swiftly evaded to the side. Simultaneously, his blade struck downwards, aiming for the lioness body. Unexpectedly, the lion demonstrated an equally quick reflex, rolling to evade Yichuan's attack and positioning itself a mere 7 to 8 meters away, glaring coldly at the group. This lion was a formidable beast, exceeding 5 meters in length and standing over a meter tall, its mane cascading down to its shoulders and chest, a fully grown male lion radiating an intimidating presence. "This lion is exceptionally strong. Remain vigilant," Yichuan advised, slightly waving his machete. Typically, lions appear in prides. It is improbable that only this solitary male roams the woods. Zhao Feiyu cautioned in a hushed tone, "Stay alert." Before he could finish, rustling noises emerged, revealing 2 female lions, slightly smaller than the male, who emerged slowly from the thicket, standing shoulder to shoulder with the male and observing the 5 with cold intensity. "Feiyu, Are you a harbinger of doom? Liang Hongying quipped, a hint of annoyance in her voice. This is the natural order. Wherever there are lions, they appear in groups, unlike tigers, which are solitary. Zhao Feiyu replied with an awkward smile. At this juncture, it was imperative for the group to unite and confront the beasts. You and Lu Shuai shall pair up, Hongying. Team with Xiao Feilong to handle the two females. I will confront the male lion. Yichuan quietly strategized, urging them to muster their strength and eliminate the threat without mercy. Rest assured, Liang Hongying grinned, her machete twirling in her hands, revealing a pair of small, adorable canines amidst her bloodthirsty demeanor. With a resounding roar, the male lion charged forward, followed closely by the two females, launching an assault on the humans. Come forth. Yichuan laughed heartily, rushing into the fray as 6 steel spikes were released, aimed at the lion's body. However, a faint metallic ring echoed as the sharp spikes failed to penetrate the lion's formidable hide, leading to a fierce confrontation between man and beast. As Yichuan's blade descended toward the lioness' head, the mighty lion extended its forelimbs, reaching over a meter in length, and struck the blade with its sharp claws, forcefully sending the 100-pound sword veering to the side. Caught off guard, Yichuan stumbled forward. Seizing the opportunity, the lion charged at him, prompting Yichuan to swiftly unleash air bullets and reverse flow techniques, disrupting the lion's line of sight and impeding its advance, thus allowing him to escape. Goodness, this lion is indeed far more formidable than the previous tiger. Yichuan retreated a few steps, unable to suppress his astonishment. System, what can you tell me about this lion? B-class terrestrial creature, bloodthirsty and brutal. If you do not eliminate it, it will consume you down to the bones. The system promptly provided its analysis. Yichuan found himself at a loss for words. Indeed, it was a B-class terrestrial creature. Yet it appeared to surpass the B-class aerial creatures by a slight margin. In a fit of rage, sensing its authority was challenged, the lion roared at Yichuan and lunged once more, engaging him in a fierce struggle. Observing Yichuan's apparent struggle, Wang Kai was ready to intervene. But Friday kicked him firmly. Wang Kai, have you lost your mind? Brother Chuan hasn't signaled for us to engage. Why would you recklessly charge in? This is Brother Chuan's battle alone. We must not interrupt his performance. Do you understand? Wang Kai glanced at Friday, seemingly comprehending, and refrained from intervening. Go, Brother Chuan. You're the greatest. Friday waved his hand, cheering loudly, which inspired the other 3 little ones to join in their uninformed encouragement. Yichuan, with a wry smile, wielded his sword against the lion in a series of exchanges, with neither party gaining the upper hand. Suddenly, he recalled the concept of absolute gravity. The sea turtle currently possessed an absolute weight of 2,000 tons. And he too could exert a force of 1,000 tons. Surely that would suffice to send this lion to its end? With a plan in mind, Yichuan sheathed his sword and directly invoked absolute gravity, coldly fixing his gaze upon the lion. Previously engaged in a back-and-forth struggle, the lion, though furious, had not exhibited excessive aggression. However, Yichuan's peculiar stance seemed to convey not a challenge, but a mockery, driving the lion into a frenzy. Its eyes turned blood red. Fur bristling, it charged forward. Yet, just as the lion was a mere meter away from Yichuan, he made his move. In a spectacular display, the force of 2,000 tons surged forth, a truly earth-shattering power. The lion, in its frenzied state, experienced a 50% increase in strength. Yet the 100 tons it wielded paled in comparison to Yichuan's might. Before it could comprehend the situation, Yichuan collided with it, sending the lion hurtling away with tremendous force. 2 opposing forces collided, causing the lion to spew blood from its mouth and nose. Ultimately, it crashed through 3 trees, each capable of being embraced by 2 people, and landed over 20 meters away. With a sigh, Yichuan exhaled a breath of fatigue and slowly approached the lion. At that moment, the lion appeared exceedingly listless, its gaze fixed on Yichuan yet exuding an aura of defeat, as if it had completely lost its fighting spirit. However, Yichuan did not allow himself to grow complacent. The cunning creature that had previously relied on intellect to attain C rank among terrestrial beings could not possibly lack wisdom itself, especially considering this beast was classified as B rank. Regrettably, he could only utilize absolute gravity once per hour. Otherwise, a second application would surely spell its demise. Gathering his resolve, Yichuan stepped before the lion, unsheathing his great sword. Just then, the lion suddenly attacked, leaping up with its gaping maw aimed at Yichuan. Indeed, Yichuan scoffed softly, deftly evading the assault and bringing his sword down forcefully upon its back. The lion, having sustained grave injuries, was now channeling the strength it had accumulated for a decisive blow. Yet it had underestimated Yichuan's foresight, He effortlessly sidestepped its attack and delivered a lethal strike. In that singular moment, the lion's spine was severed, leaving it sprawled on the ground, devoid of combat capability. With a sigh of relief, Yichuan turned his attention to the two lionesses. Compared to the male, they were significantly weaker, yet their speed and agility surpassed his. Unfortunately, under the coordinated assault of the two combatants, they had no opportunity to retaliate. Particularly, the lion engaged with Liang Hongying had already suffered a deep gash from her cleaver, blood flowing profusely from the wound, impairing its vision and drastically diminishing its fighting strength. Its defeat was merely a matter of time. On Zhao Feiyu's side, the situation was even more favorable than Liang Hongying's. Yichuan felt no concern for their ability to prevail and turned back to the barely conscious lion, whispering, "Brother Lion, nature is governed by competition and survival of the fittest. Since I have bested you, you must accept the inevitability of death. It is simply a consequence of your inferiority." With that, he delivered the final blow to the lion. "Congratulations, host, for your first kill of a B-rank terrestrial creature. You have received a lucky gift package. Would you like to open it?" The system's voice resonated in his mind. Indeed, there were no rewards for slaying C and D-rank terrestrial creatures, but upon reaching B rank, a reward was bestowed. Yichuan smiled broadly. "Open it." Opening successful. "Congratulations, host. You have received 200 kilograms of fertile black soil, 10 A-rank avocados, 1 blueprint for a giant automatic fishing gun, and 1 blueprint for an electric launcher." "Excellent." Yichuan nodded with a smile, then pondered with his chin in hand and asked, "System, although the giant automatic fishing gun I previously acquired in the blind box is broken, its components remain intact. May I use this manufacturing blueprint to upgrade the fishing gun?" The system replied affirmatively. "In theory, it is possible. That is more like it." Yichuan chuckled, shifting his gaze to the electric launcher. This device resembled a rocket launcher, yet instead of firing missiles, it unleashed a mechanism akin to a tripwire, capable of emitting a staggering 10,000 volts of electricity, incapacitating individuals while binding them simultaneously. In simpler terms, it was a tool designed for capture. Although it seemed somewhat superfluous, Yichuan resolved to craft it for potential emergencies. Roar. Just as Yichuan contemplated these matters, a female lion let out a chilling cry, marking the abrupt end of its life. Thus, a male lion and 2 females met their demise. "What a challenge!" Lu Shuai exclaimed, collapsing onto the ground and wiping the blood from his face. But it was exhilarating. With Brother Chuan around, there will be plenty of thrilling experiences ahead. Xiao Feilong laughed heartily. "This is just the beginning." "Friday," Yichuan called out with a grin. "Here I am, Brother Chuan." Friday hurriedly approached, his enthusiasm evident. "You are becoming increasingly formidable." Yichuan instructed, "Go tell Saturday to take care of the 3 lions. If they are edible, prepare them as a dish. If not, preserve their pelts and leave them for the sea turtles." "Understood, Brother Chuan." Friday nodded vigorously before scurrying off with the 3 little ones. "Let us explore other areas of the forest," Yichuan said cheerfully, resuming his search. Currently, the most formidable creatures were these 3 lions. The others were mere minor players, with the wild boar being the most impressive, one that Yichuan had previously dispatched. Given that the food supply was sufficient, he intended to nurture it for the time being. "Brother, what kind of plant is this? It grows so tall and slender." Lu Shuai couldn't help but inquire as they exited the forest. This was a question that piqued everyone's curiosity. After all, they were all from distinguished families and had seen their fair share of wonders, yet this plant was a first for them. They all turned their inquisitive gazes toward Yichuan. "I am uncertain. I have always referred to it as the miraculous tree," Yichuan replied, gazing at the tree that had reached over 50 meters in height. "I do not know its purpose or why it has grown this way." Observing the symmetrical protrusions, which resembled a ladder, Liang Hongying approached and touched one, only to scream and retreat in haste. Upon raising her hand, she discovered her fingers were bleeding. "Are there thorns?" Yichuan was taken aback, reaching out to touch the miraculous tree, remembering that it had never pricked him before. As Yichuan noted, there were indeed no thorns. In fact, it felt rather soft. "What in the world is going on?" Liang Hongying exclaimed, bewildered. "Is it reacting to people?" "It is quite simple. This magical tree is primarily governed by the Leaf Brothers." Zhao Feiyu promptly provided an explanation, suggesting that anyone other than the Leaf Brothers who dared to touch it would likely be pricked by its thorns. Without hesitation, Zhao Feiyu reached out to make contact. Just as he had surmised, his finger was indeed pierced by its sharp spines. Truly, the tree lived up to its name. It was remarkably enchanting. Liang Hongying ultimately offered a thumbs up towards the magical tree, refraining from further provocation. Chapter 212. Upgrading the fishing gun, tofu pudding. Upon returning home, Everyone busied themselves with their respective tasks. Yichuan retrieved the blueprint for the gigantic automatic fishing gun along with the damaged version of it. As anticipated, it could be upgraded, requiring 200 metal sheets, 30 pieces of glass, 20 plastics, and 10 stones. Yichuan did not hesitate and proceeded to manufacture the upgraded gigantic automatic fishing gun. Originally measuring 10 meters in length, it was now extended to 15 meters, with the fishing spear itself growing to 7 meters. The reinforced steel wire, initially 2,000 meters, was now enhanced to 3,000 meters, nearly increasing its power by half. This development filled Yichuan with delight, for the previous version of the fishing gun was already formidable, with such a significant power boost. Even if he were to encounter that blue whale again, it would likely not escape his grasp. Subsequently, Yichuan positioned the upgraded fishing gun in its previous location. Later that evening, Saturday entered the living room carrying a pot of meat. Brother Chuan, as per your instructions, I have prepared a dish using lion meat, specifically from its tenderloin. I managed to extract over 10 pounds, and it is all cooked now. Wow, it smells incredible, Blueberry Jam exclaimed, taking a deep breath in delight. This is the essence of the lion. Please enjoy. Saturday smiled at Blueberry Jam before exiting the room. In no time, the group indulged in a feast once more. Blueberry Jam then activated the television's karaoke feature and delighted everyone with a few songs. As a super internet sensation, Blueberry Jam sang daily on her live streams, captivating everyone with her beauty and voice. That evening, the group was enraptured by her melodies, savoring a splendid night together. At 10 o'clock, after completing his evening routine, Yichuan returned to his room and glanced at the messages in the public chat room. Brothers, I have now arrived at the barrier and can clearly see the enemy gathering their ships. They will likely launch an assault on our Jiuzhou region soon. Seriously? I'm currently piloting a large attack sailboat heading west. It will take me about a day to reach you. Unfortunately, I lack ammunition. Does anyone have any shells to support me? Shells are rare and hard to come by. Not many possess them. And who would lend you theirs? Then I shall simply ram the large sailboat into the enemy and meet my fate alongside them. I hope it unfolds as you predict. After all, this is a formidable battle, and if we do not handle it well, our Jiuzhou region may fall. Regarding the words spoken by the island lords, Yichuan could only express his regret. Although unity is paramount at this moment, his ammunition is limited, and each shell serves its unique purpose, leaving him unable to spare any for others. He did not dwell on it further. The sea turtle currently travels at an approximate speed of 50 nautical miles per hour. Barring any unforeseen circumstances, it should arrive by early the day after tomorrow, ensuring it is not too late. When the sea turtle reached level 8, its speed was 45 nautical miles, after which the surface began to freeze. Though the ice and snow have since melted, and the turtle has ascended to level 12, its speed has only increased to 50 nautical miles per hour. Yichuan surmised that the turtle's maximum speed must be 50 nautical miles, as this velocity already rivals that of many large cargo vessels. This was deemed satisfactory. With plans swirling in his mind, Yichuan gradually drifted into slumber. Upon awakening, the system's voice resonated in his ears. Detection indicates the host has not yet signed in. Would you like to sign in? Opening his eyes, he wondered if today's reward would again be an evolution value package. With a smile, he declared, sign in. Sign in successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 1,000 evolution points and a summer fashion manufacturing blueprint 6. The system seems intent on bestowing clothing upon me. Yichuan's expression shifted. He recalled having previously received a summer fashion manufacturing blueprint and a selection of 1 out of 6 for summer fashion, which now completed a set of 8 pieces. When had the system become so considerate? Indeed, the morning temperature hovered around 20 degrees, making it an opportune time to don summer attire. After stretching, he exited his room. The others were already awake, and the table was adorned with 8 servings of tofu pudding and fried dough sticks. This sight astonished Yichuan, prompting him to inquire. What is this? Brother, this was made on Saturday. The beans have ripened, and it was specially prepared for us to taste, explained the little dragon. However, the ingredients were scarce, so she used the leftover ingredients from the 2 Buddha jumps over the wall dishes. The fried dough sticks were also made by her, and they taste quite good. Lu Shuai chimed in. It had been a long time since Yichuan had savored fried dough sticks and tofu pudding. With a hearty laugh, he urged, everyone, don't wait for me. If the tofu pudding and fried dough sticks cool down, they won't taste as good. Hurry and eat. Right, eat. Eat. Blueberry Jam exclaimed with a grin, immediately digging into her portion. Shaking his head with a smile, Yichuan finished breakfast and promptly activated the submarine. He glanced at the public chat room of the foreign region. I have already arrived at the barrier. The person who previously sent the